Yanchun's elementary school days, well preserved and sealed within the booklet. Li Shiyan immediately spotted Xia Yanchun, the most beautiful among the children. Isn't that Shen Yin? Li Shiyan pointed to a small child perched atop a chair in the back row. Xia Yanchun leaned in closer to observe. Little Shen Yin was still as adorable as ever, a stark contrast to the current version of him. What an ugly sight. It's clearly Shen Yin, she remarked. Ugly? I think he looks quite charming. After all, he was only in elementary school, still growing into himself. Utterly hideous. Li Shiyan retorted, raising an eyebrow. She sensed a palpable hostility from Xia Yanchun towards Shen Yin, especially since they had returned home together just yesterday. What had transpired last night that made her so curious? So, you have known Shen Yin for quite some time, being classmates no less. Indeed, in our town's elementary school, there were only 2 classes per grade, so everyone was somewhat acquainted. There was an entrance exam for junior high, and Shen Yin and I scored similarly, thus ending up in the same class. Wow, childhood sweethearts. Last time, you mentioned you were merely fellow townsfolk. From elementary through high school, we were in the same class. Grew up together, lived next door, and now across the street. Before today, we always bickered, yet you claim we were just from the same town. Clearly, we are childhood sweethearts. How utterly delightful. No, there's nothing romantic about it. We're simply from the same village. Hee, your relationship is quite charming. Xia Yanchun scoffed softly, not at all. He had made it abundantly clear that he desired to encroach upon familiar grounds. What was once good could easily turn sour, lest he appear too casual. Not every neighborly affection can be easily attained. After perusing the entire booklet, Li Shiyan's eyes sparkled with joy, feeling her visit was indeed worthwhile, leaving her more satisfied than ever. It made her wish for a childhood sweetheart of her own. Yet, upon recalling the spirited fellows from her hometown, she promptly dismissed that thought. Forget about childhood sweethearts. I desire an electronic pet instead. By the way, since you live across the hall, do you often visit each other? Yes, Shen Yin has an older sister, and I share a close bond with her. Then, have you been to Shen Yin's room? Has he visited yours? Why do you ask such things? You're being rather nosy. Xia Yanchun pinched Li Shiyan's face and tugged at it playfully, mercilessly teasing the innocent girl. Shen Yin also enjoyed teasing Li Shiyan, albeit with mere words, while Xia Yanchun was far bolder, embodying and exceeding Shen Yin's antics. Such is the cunning of the tongue. Li Shiyan, however, was quite astute. If something was absent, it simply was not there, and if not directly stated, it inevitably suggested something amiss. After all, it was quite normal for childhood friends to visit each other's rooms. What could 2 close friends possibly discuss or do in the privacy of their quarters? Li Shiyan's mind began to wander, conjuring all sorts of ambiguous scenarios that were decidedly inappropriate, causing her cheeks to flush with warmth. She struggled to restrain her burgeoning fantasies, feeling herself on the brink of becoming a hopeless romantic. Alas, what a day it had been. Chapter 118. Carrying you is like transporting half a pig as a resident student. Evening study sessions were a necessity. After a lively bout of laughter, Li Shiyan dragged Xia Yanchun to purchase daily necessities and strolled through Miniso. Such places might not warrant a purchase, yet one must inevitably wander in if passing by. Shen Yin, having Li Shiyan's QQ, opened her space to discover a flurry of updates from the youthful girl. She had posted several entries, including a photo of Xia Yanchun's living room upon arriving at the community and a vibrant selfie with Xia Yanchun at the mall. The sight of such charming young ladies was always delightful. Xia Yanchun, a sweet and enchanting beauty, and Li Shiyan, a petite girl standing shy of 5 feet, brought a smile to Shen Yin's face, prompting him to like the posts. Before long, Li Shiyan was once again giving him a virtual high five on QQ. The entire afternoon, Shen Yin immersed himself in his studies, attempting a complete math and English examination from the past 2 to 3 years. He achieved a stable score of 138 in mathematics, and, after excluding listening comprehension, secured 104 out of a possible 120 in English. His academic performance had dramatically improved. Where are you, Demon King? I find myself missing you a bit. Could you perhaps reveal your prowess? Shen Yin stretched his neck, feeling discomfort from maintaining the same position for too long. Shen Yin was half asleep on the living room sofa, likely spending around 16 hours a day in slumber if she didn't have to work. It was her job that had transformed her into this state. Working was a grave sin. Shen Yin, I need you to fetch me 2 bottles of yogurt and tidy up my room and the living room. How lazy can you be? Shen Yin complied, knowing the household would fall apart without him. As evening approached, a video call suddenly came through. Why is it my Xia Yanchun? He pondered. Hadn't they agreed that she wouldn't seek him out today? He had mentally prepared himself to be a stranger for a day, yet Xia Yanchun reached out first. Just as he was ready to resist, the enemy's general surrendered. What was happening? He set aside the broom and answered the call. On the screen appeared Xia Yanchun's adorable face, her skin radiant and flushed, with a hint of redness around her eyes, as if she had just endured a slight injustice. On the verge of tears, yet valiantly holding them back, her gaze somewhat fierce. Come pick me up from the mall. Xia Yanchun pressed her lips together, her tone revealing little. This hardly resembles a pleading attitude. What troubles you? Shen Yin inquired, puzzled, observing Xia Yanchun's background. He wondered what major incident could possibly occur in a shopping mall. Nearby, Li Shiyan squeezed in, her expression tinged with urgency. Shen Yin. Xiaochun has sprained her ankle and can't walk in the store right now. Oh, I thought it was something serious. Shen Yin shrugged. A sprained ankle could be painful, yet it was not particularly alarming. For someone who frequently engaged in sports and played basketball, such sprains, provided they did not involve ligament damage, were commonplace. He recalled that it was the first time Xia Yanchun had sprained her ankle. Where are you located? I will send you a shared location. Xia Yanchun huffed, closing the video call. Moments later, a location was sent to Shen Yin's phone, still in the shoe store at the mall. informing Xinyu. He quickly donned his shoes and stepped out. The mall was conveniently close to the neighborhood, a mere 10-minute drive. Upon examining the shared location, Xinyan found the two girls resting on a bench in the mall. Xia Yanchun appeared calm, simply sitting and playing with her phone, while Li Shiyan, visibly anxious, frequently glanced at Xia Yanchun's foot, unable to remain still. What were you doing? How does one sprain an ankle on flat tile floors? Xinyan's teasing voice arrived before he did. Upon seeing Xinyan, Li Shiyan sighed in relief, pointing to the situation as she explained. I took Xiaochun to try on high heels, and she lost her balance and fell. Really? You can fall from that? Xinyan turned to Xia Yanchun, grinning. In a way, you are quite impressive. What's so funny? Everyone has clumsy moments. It was just a misstep that twisted my ankle. You once knocked your teeth out riding a bicycle as a child. Had it not been for the timing of your dental growth, you would have been smiling with gaps. Xia Yanchun huffed, not wanting to call Xinyan, already predicting he would tease her. Who hasn't had a moment of clumsiness? I had never worn high heels before. I wanted to try those sky-high ones, 11 centimeters. It's quite reasonable to twist an ankle from a misstep. Even professional athletes often injure their feet. My sprain is entirely justifiable. Bringing up black history over a disagreement, are we? Xinyan jested. Stop arguing. Her foot is already swelling. Li Shiyan was even more anxious than the two of them, watching Xia Yanchun's foot swell ominously. If I hadn't dragged her to try on those high heels, this wouldn't have happened. Xinyan, please take Xiaochun back to rest. I'll give you money to buy her some ointment, alright? Shiyan, it's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. You should head back to class. It's almost time for evening study. After a moment's hesitation, considering Xinyan's company and the approaching evening class, she nodded earnestly, carefully embracing Xia Yanchun before departing. The mall, bustling with people, felt as if it had diminished to just Xinyan and Xia Yanchun after Li Shiyan left. You can sprain an ankle just putting on shoes. I shall dub you the strongest. Xinyan chuckled, giving her a thumbs up. Stop laughing. Xia Yanchun couldn't help but roll her eyes. I didn't seek you out today. You came looking for me. Let us establish that clearly. All right, I understand. Just help me out quickly. On the way, could you stop by the pharmacy and get me some medicine to apply? Xinyan, not responding to her words, crouched before her and glanced at her left ankle, which was swelling after having removed her shoes and socks. He chuckled. Have you been crying? No, she replied. It must be that tears are welling up. The kind that makes you want to cry. So what? It hurts so much, and I can't shed a single tear. She lamented. Such a crybaby, Xinyan said, observing her swollen ankle and deciding not to tease her any further. He stuffed Xia Yanchun's socks into her white cloth shoes, lifting them with one hand before attempting to support her arm. As Xia Yanchun stood up, a sharp pang shot through her eye, drawing in a breath of cold air. Her face paling, clearly in distress. I can carry you down, Xinyan murmured. Carry? How? Like a princess, he stated, preparing to squat down. No way, Xia Yanchun exclaimed, panic-stricken. In public? How could I possibly allow that? It would be so embarrassing. Had it not been for her sprained ankle, she would have certainly stepped on Xinyan's foot. You can just give me a piggyback ride. Being carried is too awkward, she whispered hesitantly. All right. It's not me who's in pain, Xinyan responded, squatting down to offer his back. Xia Yanchun bit her lower lip, glancing around cautiously before daring to gingerly climb onto Xinyan's back, standing just over 1.6 meters tall and weighing around 100 pounds. She would have been a bit heavy for him in the past, but now he could easily carry her around twice. His daily workouts were paying off. Xinyan effortlessly rose to his feet, cradling Xia Yanchun's legs. Since she had changed into long pants and donned a coat before leaving, he wasn't concerned about any potential wardrobe malfunctions. Xia Yanchun leaned lightly on Xinyan's shoulder, carefully controlling her upper body to avoid him taking advantage. Gazing past his shoulder, she discreetly observed the reactions of bystanders. Being carried was indeed peculiar, but it was far better than being held like a princess. When surrounded by many people, she closed her eyes, opting for a blissful ignorance. Only when a warm ray of sunlight illuminated her forehead did she realize that Xinyan had already carried her out of the mall. Her heart raced as she felt his carefulness. He was taking small steps, ensuring that her foot wouldn't throb painfully with each movement. With her face lowered, she could also catch a whiff of his scent, causing her cheeks to flush and her heart to flutter. If you get tired, just set me down. We can walk slowly to where you parked, she whispered in his ear, barely audible. Xinyan tilted his face slightly. Who are you looking down on? Carrying you is as easy as carrying half a slab of pork. I just need my hands. What a comparison. Could you say something nicer? She retorted, playfully tossing her hair back. You claim to be the best in the world, yet here I am, with a sprained ankle. You laughed at me when you arrived. This doesn't seem very best in the world to me. But you seem fine, don't you? Who said I was fine? It hurts like hell. It pains me deeply. Yet you still choose to feign nonchalance before me. If I do not laugh, who will? Your ability to maintain that facade suggests you are unscathed. Were you truly in distress, your expression would betray you. I only jest when I say I laugh for your sake. In truth, I would find humor in your plight regardless. Xinyan, in his attempts, seeks to undermine her fragile self-esteem. Xia Yanchun, indignant, tugged at his ear, exclaiming that he was utterly inhuman and demanded he drive her to procure medicine swiftly. You're pinning me down, Chunbao. Chapter 119. Could there truly be such rivals? After Xinyan's reminder, Xia Yanchun fell silent, obediently resting on his back, her chest deliberately kept at a distance from him. Xinyan had always possessed a roguish demeanor. Had he known, he would have refrained from his earlier advice. The parking spot was nearby, merely a few steps away. Boarding the vehicle proved cumbersome, and Xia Yanchun exerted considerable effort to be helped by Xinyan into the back seat. Once she donned her safety helmet, he swiftly took the wheel and departed. Should we go to the hospital? This was Xia Yanxuan's first experience with a sprained ankle. She was aware of the pain but uncertain of its severity. However, considering it was merely a case of unsteady footing in high heels, it seemed to be a common sprain. If it hurts that much, you ought to visit the hospital. Just buying some ointment would suffice. Perhaps that Yunnan Baiyao, she replied. We could also obtain some anti-inflammatory medication at the hospital. There's no need. It's not that serious. Xia Yanxun insisted, shaking her head. Xin Yan, with his remarkable healing abilities, believed that whether or not they went to the hospital was of little consequence. One need not seek treatment for life-threatening ailments. Surely a sprained ankle could be addressed? If he couldn't remedy a simple sprain, it would indeed raise concerns about his competence. Upon returning to the community, Xin Yan purchased the medicine from the pharmacy downstairs and subsequently carried the pallid young woman back to her room. I feel as though you're in excruciating pain. Do you intend to clutch your foot and wail the moment I leave? He teased, poking her forehead. While the pain Xia Yanxun appeared quite endearing despite her discomfort. Not at all, she retorted, rolling up her pants to reveal her swollen ankle, which thankfully showed no signs of worsening. It is often said that the first day of a sprain is manageable, but the pain intensifies after a night's rest. She found herself contemplating taking a day off. You should lie down. Elevate your foot on a pillow while I fetch some ice for you, he suggested. Yes, do hurry, she replied. How can you be so at ease? One might think I am your subordinate. I am the elder sister, you are the younger brother, and thus, it is your duty to care for me. Your perspective is influenced by too much fiction. Real siblings engage in physical altercations. With that, Shen Yin exited the room. The sound of rushing water from the bathroom filling the air. Xia Yanxun struggled to pull a chair closer, lifting her foot gingerly, which brought her some relief. Though any sudden movement still caused tears to well in her eyes, an involuntary response to the pain. Compared to her sprained ankle, being covered in cow dung would have provoked more tears. A sprained ankle requires ice treatment, but not ice cubes directly. It is best to use an ice pack filled with ice water, applying it for 10 minutes every hour to effectively alleviate pain. Shen Yin had remembered this from his own past sprains. He hadn't anticipated it would now be applicable to Xia Yanxun. Fortunately, their refrigerator contained ice, sparing him the need to venture downstairs for ice water. Regrettably, lacking an ice pack, Shen Yin could only utilize a plastic bag to manage the situation. He returned to the young lady's chamber, carrying a basin of water, and silently acknowledged that without him, this household would be in disarray. Humph. Do you believe I could touch you and flee? In your current state, you are quite powerless against me, he teased. Do you dare? She inquired. How could I possibly be afraid? Shen Yin chuckled. Even if I dared, it would be futile. How cowardly. Xia Yanxun puffed her cheeks, feeling as though Shen Yin was teasing her, which made her want to pout. Given her predicament, it seemed lacking in compassion for Shen Yin to engage in such banter. What kind of brother acts like this? Woe is me. Yet, as she observed Shen Yin gently wetting a towel to soothe her aching foot, her desire to weep diminished. And she felt less miserable. Her heart fluttered, and she instinctively curled her toes, exerting a small effort that made her wince. What are you doing? Don't exert yourself. Let me apply the ice to alleviate the pain first. Later, I will apply the medication. After all I've done for you, you should be secretly pleased. Don't you want to ask for 2 pictures of my legs? I was just about to inquire. Ahem, if you have any sense of decency. Send me those leg photos. Shen Yin cleared his throat. Although he hadn't initially desired them, it would be disrespectful not to request them after Xia Yanxun's remark. Not just to her, but also to himself. Xia Yanxun wore an expression of knowing anticipation, lowering her eyelids. I knew it. You're just suppressing your desires. Aren't you? How outrageous. Are you fishing for compliments? She retorted. Forget the leg photos, if you truly desire them. I could find a couple of stock images for you. But thank you nonetheless. I do have some peanuts in the fridge. Shen Yin did not respond, but gently placed the plastic bag filled with ice water upon Xia Yanxun's swollen ankle, administering the cold treatment. She instinctively held her breath, feeling anxious. Thankfully, the cold was soothing, and to her surprise, the pain seemed to diminish. I carried you back and even bought medicine out of my own pocket. And all I receive in return is a couple of peanuts? Huh, Yanxun, you are quite ungrateful. What else do you expect? I'll reimburse you for the medicine, treat you to ice cream, and once your foot is well, take you out for a grand meal. Does that meet your expectations? Don't be greedy. All right. Just focus on the ice treatment, he conceded. Shen Yin indeed wandered to the refrigerator to snack on peanuts, consuming 3 in a fit of hunger in 10 minutes. The icy sensation induced a headache, yet he found it oddly exhilarating. In a curious twist, could this indulgence in ice cream, leading to a headache, be classified as a form of peculiar affection? The traditionalists may favor whips and candles, but ice cream represents a modern innovation. I strongly recommend all enthusiasts of eccentric affection to consume 5 ice creams within 10 minutes. Not only will you relish the delightful treat, but it is also far healthier than the alternatives of whips and candles. Join our innovative movement, where anyone can embrace the art of whimsical affection. Dinner consisted of takeout fast food, and Shen Yin shamelessly pilfered half of Xia Yanxun's sausage. By 8 in the evening, after changing the ice water twice, Shen Yin remained in Xia Yanxun's room, keeping her company. Occasionally, he would check his phone or play with her hair, and she didn't rush him away. When he glanced at his phone, she would lean over to see what he was viewing. As time passed, Xia Yanxun would often groan and lie back. And when Shen Yin felt inclined to lie down as well, she would abruptly sit up, leaving him bemused. A delicate fragrance wafted from the tip of her nose as Shen Yin's Adam's apple bobbed up and down. He freed one hand to tuck a strand of hair behind Xia Yanxun's ear, seizing the moment to gently pinch her earlobe. After a while, she would retaliate by nudging him with her forehead. Such an obedient demeanor stirred Shen Yin's heart, igniting a desire to embrace her tightly. wishing to transform her into the finest treasure in the world. Observing Xia Yanchun's pale face gradually regain its color, Shen Yan chuckled. Is it not as painful now? Almost. She replied. Shen Yan rose, saying, come, let me apply some medicine for you. No, I can do it myself. I will finish it quickly, she insisted. However, as Shen Yan crouched at her feet, Xia Yanchun's eyelashes fluttered, overwhelmed with shyness. Such a notion was simply unfathomable. Do not doubt me. I possess a certain finesse in massage, he teased. Could it truly be that a rival would act this way? Xia Yanchun pondered. Yet, when Shun Yan's palm spread the ointment across the top of her foot, it felt remarkably soothing. Relishing Shun Yan's thoughtfulness, her cheeks flushed a rosy hue. Her mind a whirlwind of emotions, as blossoms of affection unfurled within her heart. In chapter 120, the atmosphere thickened with ambiguity and delight, despite the firmness of his hands. When applying the medication, they felt as soft as cotton. Xia Yanchun's face reddened further, her cascading hair failing to conceal her embarrassment. After all, how could she remain unflustered while a boy tenderly treated her foot? The feet were indeed quite sensitive. She contemplated hiding her face but feared Shun Yan's teasing. Instead, she hugged her pillow, burying her chin and flushed face into it, revealing her sparkling, dark eyes as she watched Shun Yan gently apply the ointment to her swollen foot. Shun Yan lifted her foot delicately, ensuring he covered every inch, even massaging it softly. Massage is beneficial for sprained ankles, and his skilled hands aimed solely to expedite Xia Yanchun's recovery, devoid of any ulterior motives. He glanced at her, nearly buried in her pillow, and found her utterly adorable. You do not think I am being inappropriate, do you? He inquired. Well, a little, Xia Yanchun replied, blinking her eyes. Although the medicine had been evenly applied, Shen Yan continued to knead her foot, leaving her flushed with embarrassment, yet feeling comforted, the pain subsiding to a warm sensation. It seemed as though he had practiced. His touch rather intimate. Unbelievable, Xia Yanchun thought to herself. Shen Yan, with a smirk, responded, if I were to be improper with your delicate foot, I would truly need to seek medical attention. I was merely jesting. After all, you have never been what one would consider normal. She retorted, her tone playful yet affectionate. I only speak the truth, he chuckled lightly, acknowledging her perceptiveness. Stealing a glance at her other foot, he couldn't help but admire it. Her size 30 shoes appeared quite diminutive compared to his size 43, devoid of any calluses, the toenails impeccably trimmed, glistening softly under the light. His furtive gaze was so conspicuous that Xia Yanchun felt embarrassed to extend both feet, retracting one as her toes curled together. Throughout their acquaintance, she had never before allowed Shen Yan to touch her feet. How peculiar, though the context of applying medicine provided a facade for this intimate act. Is it done? She huffed. Isn't this a massage for you? A little more pressure might just do the trick. I can manage on my own. You should go wash your hands. Xia Yanchun teased him, adding, otherwise my 36-inch feet might just kick you in the face. Having detailed the benefits, she pondered the drawbacks. Ugh, how disgusting. All right, that should suffice, Shen Yan replied, rising and instinctively inhaling the medicinal scent lingering in his palm. After applying the ointment, he found it reminiscent of the aroma after playing basketball and removing socks, or even the fragrance of floral water, without a whiff. It felt as though one hadn't applied it at all. Such behavior, however, struck Xia Yanchun as catastrophic. Has Shun Yan truly become this way? Sniffing after touching someone else's feet, and he claims not to be fixated on kanji? How revolting. I merely caught a whiff of the medicine, Shun Yan retorted, his lips twitching. I might glance at feet, but I do not possess a peculiar habit of sniffing them. What are you thinking? That's quite perverse. Is it possible that merely looking at feet can be considered perverse? Xia Yanchun concealed one foot beneath the covers, denying him a view. How bold. You dare label us foot enthusiasts with such a cap? Shen Yan, with an expression of mock fury, declared, what of foot enthusiasts? How dare you? Oh, you hit a nerve. How wicked you are, Xia Yanchun. Shen Yan was not a foot enthusiast. He merely appreciated the attractive feet of a girl he liked. And perhaps he was simply a bit flirtatious. At 18, one is not to be chaste. Should I truly err against the letter S? I see that S possesses a graceful figure and alluring curves. My apologies, it was a mere coincidence. He dashed to the restroom, washing his hands with shower gel. They felt clean and smooth, and he deemed it unnecessary to linger at Xia Yanchun's home any longer, tidying her bed sheets before leaving. Shen Yan sat beside her once more, leaning in to take a deep whiff of her fragrance. Within 30 seconds, he executed a series of flirtatious gestures, playing with her hair, flicking her ponytail, touching her shoulder, and adjusting her strap, until Xia Yanchun, growing impatient, reached out to catch him, prompting him to retreat to his room with satisfaction. The air was thick with ambiguity, delightful. Xia Yanchun had yet to bathe, but in her current state, it seemed unlikely she would. Forcing herself to wash her face, she returned to her bed, absently running her fingers through her hair and gently patting her cheeks as the heat gradually dissipated. If Shen Yan caught sight of her shyness, he would surely chuckle. Irritated, she regretted not stopping him before his playful antics. Her gaze flickered to a small booklet on her desk. Xia Yanchun's eyes brightened as she retrieved it, flipping through its pages in search of the few photographs featuring young Shen Yan, aside from her elementary graduation picture. The booklet contained numerous candid shots from daily life, captured by her mother with a travel-ready camera, each carefully selected and placed within the album as a record of their lives. Some photos were encased, yet the edges bore signs of age. As she turned to the back, she noted that throughout her 3 years in middle school, no more than 5 photographs had been captured, diligently focused on her studies. Middle school had indeed been a hectic time, compounded by her mother when Jining's work at the hospital, leaving little opportunity for photography. The first appearance of Xiao Xinyan was in the 3rd grade, when she was inadvertently smeared with cow dung. At that time, she also found herself covered in it. Perhaps due to her mother's favoritism, her mother hurriedly took her to wash up. Little did she know that it was she who had set off the firecrackers, ultimately blaming Xinyan and causing her to receive a reprimand from an aunt that evening. It is no wonder that Xinyan often brings up the incident of the explosive cow dung. She likely harbored a deep resentment towards herself at that moment. And now she seems to be enacting a form of self-punishment. Xia Yanxun pursed her lips and chuckled softly. Had it not been for Shi Yan's visit, this little album might have languished forgotten in her drawer for ages. Xiao Xinyan was undeniably adorable, but that charm was confined to her younger self. During middle school, when they quarreled, Xinyan would grip her wrist tightly, uttering harsh words that could pale anyone's face, threatening consequences of over 3 years, yet under 10. When she was frightened, Xinyan would intensify her intimidation, and when she dared to challenge her, Xinyan merely waved her hand dismissively, expressing disinterest. As for the teenage Xinyan, she was quite wicked. The older Xinyan was beyond Xia Yanxun's judgment. This person seemed to change every so often. A woman transforms greatly as she ages. Xinyan must have undergone 72 transformations. Xia Yanxun felt she herself had not changed much. She used to bully Xinyan as a child and still wished to do so now. But she simply lacked the strength to prevail. After casually placing the little album aside, Xia Yanxun took a leave from Sukashi, having heard that a sprained ankle could take several days to heal, leaving her uncertain about how long her studies would be delayed. At midnight, the lights went out. Considering Xinyan's good behavior that day, Xia Yanxun took her phone and typed a quick message. Xia Yanxun, I'm going to sleep. Xinyan replied instantly. I thought it was a photo of your leg. Xinyan, image. How did you know I was reviewing chemistry? Xia Yanxun, who asked you? Go away, good night. She had heard that sleeping could be painful with an injured foot, yet the expected pain did not manifest. Instead, Xinyan intruded into her dreams. I want to be able to finish this. The remaining part will be updated tomorrow morning for everyone to see. Chapter 121. I can stare blankly at candy for 10 times. Xia Yanxun awoke in a cold sweat. Upon opening her eyes, the sunlight had already flooded the room through the curtains. Her dreams were filled with all sorts of things, and she had cried in fear. She would never tell anyone that last night she dreamt of Xinyan kissing her feet. After a deep and fulfilling slumber, Xia Yanxun stretched lazily, instinctively placing her feet down and slipping on her slippers. Hadn't I sprained my ankle? Glancing down, she noticed that the swelling had diminished significantly. If she didn't deliberately manipulate it, the pain was bearable. This medication was remarkably effective, while others might take days to recover from a sprained ankle. She felt ready to walk normally within a day. However, since her injury occurred merely while trying on high heels and was not severe, along with the application of ointment, rapid recovery seemed quite reasonable. Being home alone, she felt no inclination to tidy her hair. After a refreshing morning shower, with no one around, she hadn't even put on a bra. Noticing 2 bowls of century egg and lean meat porridge on the coffee table, Xia Yanxun paused in surprise, without a doubt. The only person who possessed a key to her home was Xinyan. Sister Xinyu is truly something. Why did she give the key to Xinyan? Yet, she felt too shy to voice her concerns. 3 months prior, she had done the same, entering someone else's home uninvited with the key. The porridge was still warm and quite palatable, and she found herself imagining the scene of Xinyan returning from his workout, carrying breakfast, stealthily unlocking the door, and then sneaking away. As for whether Xinyan had peeked into her room, she wasn't worried. Xinyan had always been more of a coward than a voyeur. He wouldn't dare to sneak a glance. However, he would openly stare in her presence. Thus, it was difficult to assess the current state of Xinyan. The considerate Xinyan who brought breakfast was good, while the sneaky Xinyan was not. Xinyan looked at his 2 sons, feeling utterly bored. The space was empty. Chun Bao had not arrived, and aside from chatting with Ma Mingfan and Shen Dong about trivial matters, he was at a loss for what to do. Xinyan, what do you think is the best way to cultivate willpower? Ma Mingfan turned around, his expression serious, as if he had made a firm decision. Exercise. Like how I work out for an hour every morning. Just look at my muscles. Xinyan rolled up his sleeves, flexing his arms, revealing quite prominent muscles. Ma Mingfan was moved to tears. He had achievements in modeling, good grades, and charm with the ladies. And now he was also working out. How could this character not be overpowered? It seemed he thought too highly of his own abilities. Why the desire to strengthen your willpower? Xinyan asked, changing the subject. Why so curious? Are you harboring a crush on me? Before you transform into little Nanliang, I want to be interested in you. Of course, I'm not interested in little Nanliang either. Xinyan grasped the implication and turned to Qin Dong. Are you also on your first day of abstinence? What do you mean by also? Ma Mingfan retorted, exasperated. Upon hearing Xinyan's inquiry, Qin Dong's expression froze, and he indignantly replied, I went on a flirty outing on Sunday. Holding hands and caressing faces is delightful. I've long moved past such trivial pleasures. Very good. It seems Qin Dong is indeed making progress, Xinyan thought. Understanding Qin Dong's enjoyment of flirtation. How did you two start talking? Do you have any methods for cultivating willpower? Earlier, he had asked Qin Dong, and it felt absurd to have him watch Jiaqio's incredibly toned physique. He urgently needed a method to strengthen his willpower. Xinyan stroked his chin, pondering for a moment. Watch sugar is super sweet 800 times daily. Your willpower will become unbreakable. Whenever your body can no longer endure. The willpower from having seen sugar is super sweet 800 times will enable you to strike the magic pill 200 times. Ma Mingfan was left dumbfounded. Does this really work? Who says it doesn't? I can watch sugar is super sweet 10 times without a change in expression. Dare you say that isn't willpower? My goodness, you are truly impressive. Perhaps this was indeed a splendid method. Ma Mingfan resolved to download the sugar is super sweet video immediately after school, watching it 20 times before bed, and another 20 times upon waking. Until he cultivated extraordinary willpower, there would be no turning back. So what brought about this sudden desire to strengthen your willpower? Were you stimulated by something? Did a girl you like get taken by an athlete? Shin Yan propped his face up and asked again. Does one need a reason to grow stronger? Mom Mingfan chuckled, remarking that he had merely transformed into the white-clad Sasuke. Shin Yan retorted, so you are the white-clad Sasuke? Then who am I? How audacious to pretend to be my buddy. Do you think being adept at Naruto makes you exceptional? Shin Yan believed himself to possess immense willpower. He could engage in a solo session with Mom Mingfan offline, enduring 30 minutes of head pats that merely left him with a slight blush, without retaliating with a kick to Mom Mingfan's face. His stoicism in the face of such sweetness was indeed commendable. Although he was only on the second day of his vow of abstinence, he felt compelled to assert that Mom Mingfan was lacking and needed more practice. Chen Dong, with his former charisma, chimed in, when will you introduce your romantic interest? My friend, I have navigated the world of love for years, and I can discern at a glance whether your crush is virtuous or nefarious. Allow me to be your strategist. Shin Yan replied, come now? I've known her for nearly a decade. I hardly need your insight. Still childhood sweethearts? No wonder you claimed earlier that childhood friends are destined to be wives. It seems you are merely seeking excuses for your own shortcomings, Shin Yan teased, but he acknowledged Chen Dong's words. Enough with the banter, Chen Dong said earnestly. She studies at Yizhong while I am a day student. We can only meet on weekends. Chen Dong's smile faded, his tone becoming neutral, revealing little emotion. As he felt it inappropriate to elaborate. Damn it, you all should be ashamed. Mom Mingfan, having overheard their talk of romantic entanglements, felt the disparity between individuals acutely. While Shin Yan could converse and laugh with all the girls in his class, even dining with them, Chen Dong's childhood sweetheart remained elusive. Who among them had never held a girl's hand growing up? It was indeed perplexing. Mom Mingfan's resolve to strengthen his willpower intensified. He resolved to practice more. In addition to enjoying the sugary treats, he would indulge in 2 meals each weekend at Walazi, maintaining a stoic demeanor until he could no longer resist the call of nature. Keep striving. A Naruto player will eventually find his Hinata, Shin Yan encouraged, patting Mom Mingfan on the shoulder. And then what? He purchased 30,000 yuan worth of health supplements from the female CEO, claiming they would enhance his brain function and improve his reaction times in Naruto. Huh, you crack me up. Chapter 122. A sister should not be considered a local love interest. The morning passed in a hasty blur. During the lunch break, Shin Yan drove back to the community. Unsure if Xia Yanxun had eaten, he found it too bothersome to send a message, so he bought 2 meals. If Xia Yanxun had already dined, he could reluctantly manage to consume both. As an 18-year-old high school student, particularly one like him who maintained peak condition, his energy expenditure was undoubtedly significant. Thus, it was essential to consume ample energy. This was also why Shin Yan increasingly disliked eating in the cafeteria. He often needed to ask the staff for extra servings to feel satiated. After commencing his training regimen, even additional servings were scarcely sufficient. When it came to appetite, he could easily match the consumption of 2 Xia Yanxuns. Moreover, he had no concerns about excessive nutrition, given his body's demands. His muscles were becoming increasingly visible, and after only a short time practicing abdominal workouts, his abs were nearly emerging. In the absence of anyone at home, Shin Yan made his way directly to Xia Yanxun's place. After knocking on the door and standing at the entrance for a considerable time, Xia Yanxun opened a crack, somewhat surprised, and remarked, at this hour, I thought it was someone else. Didn't you check the peephole? Shin Yan inquired with a smile. I only dared to open after checking. You knocked without saying a word. Who would let you in without a glance? Xia Yanxun limped slightly, feeling discomfort while walking, though it was much better than yesterday, when she could hardly move. After her shower, she had reapplied the medicine herself, but it never felt as soothing as when Shin Yan did it. Did he truly possess some special technique? Where could he have learned such skills? It was as if he had a natural talent, akin to fishing, effortlessly mastering it. Seems to be improving, doesn't he? Shin Yan observed. It indeed hurts less. How much did the medicine cost? It's remarkably effective. Just 20 to 30 for the trauma ointment, he replied. Upon entering the room, he placed their lunch on the coffee table and scrutinized Xia Yanxun's foot. The miraculous healing wasn't instantaneous, which was rather reassuring. Otherwise, it would be too astonishing to believe that a mere touch could yield such rapid results. This gradual yet persistent efficacy was quite reasonable. I'll apply some more medicine today, and you'll be nearly recovered, he assured. I've already applied it myself, she stated, seated on the sofa. How did you know I hadn't eaten lunch? You're quite considerate. No worries. After all, no one understands a child better than their father. Go away. Shin Yan grinned, expertly making his way to the kitchen to retrieve some peanuts. Although he could have applied the ointment again, it seemed unnecessary since Xia Yanxun had already done so. She appeared to be getting better, so he decided to let her heal naturally. Having not graduated high school, she certainly had no business wearing high heels. It was a lesson to remember, as he had never seen a high school student in heels or dress shoes. Their packed lunch consisted of tomato scrambled eggs over rice, priced at 12 yuan per serving. Xia Yanxun preferred to use a spoon for this dish, scooping a spoonful and pressing it down in the container before devouring it in one bite, which granted her a peculiar sense of satisfaction. Shin Yan ate rapidly, having polished off both his meal and ice cream by the time Xia Yanxun was only halfway through. Your stomach must be suffering from this hot and cold contrast. Don't complain about stomachaches later, she cautioned, unable to resist admonishing him, noting that many stomach ailments stemmed from overeating. It's fine. A robust body is impervious to such trivialities. Just keep pushing your limits while you're young. I'll be dancing on your grave, burning 2 offerings for you every Qingming festival. Such morbid thoughts. You need to control yourself, he teased, shifting closer to her. seizing the opportunity as she held her meal with chopsticks to playfully tug at her earlobe and hair. The more irritated she appeared, the more joy he derived from teasing her. Even in 20-degree weather, Shen Yin found himself perspiring slightly due to his various movements. While Xia Yanchun remained at home all day, enjoying the cool breeze, her skin feeling smooth. This made Shen Yin unable to resist inching closer. Such a temptation, he mused. Noticing her frown in silence, he became bolder, the sounds of his breathing growing more pronounced as his hand inadvertently found its way to her waist. Igniting Xia Yanchun's temper. Are you feeling frisky? I am having a meal, and you, like a teddy bear, are sniffing around. My goodness. Can't you speak a little more civilly? Your words are quite coarse. Shen Yin's lips twitched, and he became quiet. I thought your silence implied agreement. Do not take my leniency towards you for granted. I merely chose not to comment on your thoughtfulness yesterday, but you cannot continue to be so brazen. Very well. Focus on your meal. I shall refrain from further discussion. Annoyed by his clinginess, Xia Yanchun glared at him fiercely, urging him to respect the injured. The more the adversary is angered, the more it signifies that I am indeed correct. Go away, go away. Is that how you use such words? Am I your enemy? Did you not say we were rivals? How come you are no longer so now? Shen Yin tucked away her hair, his fingertips gently gliding over her youthful face. What a double standard you have, Xia Yanchun. Speak less. I regard you as my younger brother. Whatever you say is right. Shen Yin chose not to debate this with her, watching as she finished her meal, and even took the initiative to dispose of her trash. Xia Yanchun felt quite satisfied. Having Shen Yin assist her in such tasks was a pleasure. Girls often relish being the elder sister. Who could resist wanting an obedient younger brother? After disposing of the trash, Shen Yin turned to ask, do you wish to take a nap? No, I only wake up around 9 or 10. All right, I shall return. Take care to rest, and avoid further injuring your foot. I know, I am not a 3-year-old. Yet you were the one who sprained your ankle while trying on shoes, were you not? You were the most reckless high school student I have ever seen, flying around. Xia Yanchun, you better not get injured again. Hurry back and take advantage of this time to rest, even play a game, just do not bother me. She staggered to her feet and leisurely made her way back to her room. Burrowing under the covers, she peered out at the window, which was not securely closed, allowing a cool breeze to seep in, causing the curtains to flutter. Just as the door creaked open, she immediately called out, Shen Yin, you're back. What now? Shen Yin turned back, standing at the door, and gazed at Xia Yanchun, who was languidly sprawled on the bed, utterly speechless. He had nearly reached the front door, just a second away from closing it. Could you please close the window for me? You truly have mastered the art of manipulation from Shinyu. Hurry, it's cold. Xia Yanchun snuggled deeper into her thin blanket, which could hardly conceal her figure. Although she was only 160 centimeters tall, her proportions were surprisingly good, becoming more evident under the thin cover. Her large, sparkling eyes fixed upon Shen Yin until he secured the window tightly, drawing the curtains to block out the sunlight. Only then did she comfortably squint her eyes. Good brother. Xia Yanchun did not intend to take a nap, nor did she plan to study. She merely wished to curl up in bed and browse her phone. Originally intending to leave, Shen Yin found himself reluctant to do so, standing beside the bed, looking down at Xia Yanchun. This startled her momentarily, causing her heart to race as she instinctively tugged at the blanket. If you're not leaving, what are you doing? You must offer something in return for my service, after all. There are peanuts in the fridge. Who mentioned that? Shen Yin crouched down, his head still towering over the lying Xia Yanchun, smiling as he brushed aside her loose hair and gently pinched her soft cheek. Xia Yanchun, incensed, swiftly swatted away his meddlesome hand, thinking to herself, is he testing my patience? He casually issued commands as though I were his subordinate, treating me like a younger brother. My sister wouldn't dare order me around like this. Who is truly overstepping their bounds? Feeling somewhat guilty, Xia Yanchun stammered. Well, you could always refuse. If you were to leave directly, I couldn't possibly stop you. I wish I could leave, she thought. But what if the grass in my own yard is out of reach? Shen Yin twirled her hair, each word he spoke setting her heart aflutter. Who do you think you are, my grass? Please, kindly vacate my home. Weren't you the one who first referred to yourself as my grass? Now you're shifting the blame onto me? How many more burdens must I bear? I don't know. Just go away. You're driving me crazy. I want to watch television and rest. Stop bothering me. Xia Yanchun retreated, unknowingly backing against the wall, desperate to distance herself from Shen Yin, yet feeling no sense of comfort, wishing to be even further away. Little did she anticipate a day would come when she would worry if Shen Yin might actually leap towards her, leaving her heart in turmoil. If he did leap towards her, she would certainly deliver a fierce punch, declaring that Sister Chun could never be anyone's grass, regardless of blood ties, of their trivial titles, or even if they had embraced, touched, held, slept beside, or kissed one another. Xia Yanchun's breath quickened. Truly, it was absolutely unacceptable. Chapter 123. No blushing, no blossoming, victory. Shen Yin playfully tugged at Xia Yanchun's delicate hair before slipping away, mindful not to provoke her further, lest he incite her wrath. Observing her flushed cheeks, he felt a sense of contentment. Chun Bao, you're so adorable, he mused, feeling an itch in his heart, craving the grass in his own yard. Xia Yanchun fixed her gaze upon him until he closed the door behind him, the sound of it shutting finally calming her racing heart. Oh dear, her mind was a whirlwind, thoroughly unsettled by that pesky Shen Yin. She felt utterly devoid of sisterly strength. Xia Yanchun buried her face into a soft teddy bear pillow, lost in her thoughts, murmuring softly. In the afternoon, Shen Yin opted to skip a study session, specifically inviting Qin Xiuyu to assist him with mathematics. Having followed the study plan for 2 days, Qin Xiuyu's error notebook already bore several pages of notes, adorned with pencil sketches, a clear indication of her earnestness. If she were merely going through the motions, there wouldn't even be a notebook filled with errors. For reference, one could look at Mom Ming Fan, who, with a mediocre grasp of mathematics, had filled the corners of his math book with a series of stick figure fight frames, creating an animated sequence when flipped through. After all, if Chun Xiaoyu didn't take her studies seriously, her math skills would truly be beyond salvation. Midway through the lesson, Su Keqi entered the classroom to discuss the upcoming midterm examinations scheduled for early November. Following the midterms, a parent-teacher meeting would be held, leading directly into the first mock college entrance examination. The 3-year curriculum had already been completed by the 2nd year of high school, with the 3rd year dedicated entirely to review and testing, leaving an endless stream of papers to write and a tightly packed examination schedule. However, Shen Yan remained unfazed. Examinations would not diminish his spirit, but rather propel his grades ever higher. His fondness for tests was something that could not be curtailed. After Su Keqi departed, Shen Yan glanced over at Chen Xiuyu, who was engrossed in jotting something down in her error notebook, her expression one of sudden enlightenment. Have you figured it out? Yes, Chen Xiuyu exclaimed, unable to conceal her joy, clasping her hands in gratitude. I am at a loss for how to repay you. What do you mean by that? Just treat me to a cola, make it a Pepsi. You are utterly lacking in modesty. If I were modest, I wouldn't have any cola to drink. One must maintain their pride, or else they might go hungry. Chen Xiuyu smiled softly, realizing Shen Yan's words held truth. There were few who could gather a group of 4 or 5 girls for a meal, and Shen Yan was certainly one of them. It was a feat not easily accomplished without a certain audacity. A young lady ought to exhibit restraint. There was no way she could manage a meal with 4 or 5 boys. Here, indulge in some snacks and be sure to study hard, Shen Yan said as he retrieved several packets of snacks from his bag and tossed them to Chen Xiuyu. Mathematics must be mastered after all. It is worth 2,000 yuan. Thank you, Chen Xiuyu exclaimed, making her exit. It can only be said that some individuals are well-liked for good reason. After enjoying a flirty moment with Xia Yanchun at noon, Shen Yan found his spirits unexpectedly lifted, feeling as though Ma Mingfan had suddenly transformed into a handsome figure. However, Ma Mingfan was jolted awake, startled out of his slumber. He had secretly donned headphones to challenge himself by listening to Candy Sweet 10 times, only to inadvertently drift off to sleep. Upon waking, he found that the song had once again invaded his mind. Little Rabbit, Popping Candy No. Who has implanted this song in my head? Ma Mingfan pondered, contemplating the absurdity of humanity's ability to create such a combination as Candy Sweet. He felt like an alien. And if the Trisolarians were to arrive, he might very well be their guide. The path to becoming stronger is fraught with difficulties. The following day, at noon, the autumn breeze was chilly. Even Shen Yan donned his school uniform jacket. Each year, someone would declare it the coldest day yet, and this year, Shen Yan found it indeed quite frigid. It was still autumn, yet the temperature had already dropped to 18 degrees. Though it was a cooling day, the temperature was sufficiently low, and it would only grow colder from here on. Seizing the opportunity during the lunch break, Shen Yan visited Xia Yanchun's home to check on her and ensure she took her medication. It's basically fine now. I feel I could return to school this afternoon. Do I still need to apply the ointment? Xia Yanchun sat on the sofa, her fair feet elegantly crossed, both nearly identical in size. The swelling that had plagued her foot yesterday had completely subsided, astonishingly within not even 48 hours. Moreover, aside from the initial injury, there wasn't much pain, contradicting the notion that it would worsen at night. It seemed her sprain was indeed quite mild. She had heard tales of basketball players who could injure their Achilles tendons from a sprain, which sounded terrifying. Let us apply it one last time. You have gym class this afternoon, so you might as well skip it. You've already taken a sick day. What harm is there in resting a little longer? Surely, lying around for a few days won't lower your grades? Shen Yan said as he nestled beside her, playfully nudging her. That makes a bit of sense. I suppose I can lie down for another day, Xia Yanchun acquiesced. How about I help you with the ointment? No, go away, Xia Yanchun retorted, her tone sharp. She had no intention of treating Shen Yan kindly, especially after he had made such remarks the previous day while pinching her face so forcefully. It seemed rather inconsiderate of him to come seeking her out so casually now, treating your sister like a mere toy. Indulging in play as you please. If you don't lose your temper, you'll truly become like grass at the edge of a nest. Shen Yan, with a serene demeanor, remained unperturbed, quietly observing Xia Yanchun as she applied medicine to her feet. The air was saturated with the scent of the remedy, nearly overpowering Xia Yanchun's own fragrance. He cast a glance at her, noting her focused attention on the task, granting him the liberty to scrutinize her feet intently. Once she had finished applying the medicine, Xia Yanchun scampered off to wash her hands, shedding the languor that had clung to her throughout the day spent at home. It was only with Shen Yan's arrival that she began to feel invigorated. Emerging from the restroom, she found Shen Yan sprawled across the entire sofa, reclining like a lord. You truly treat my home as if it were your own, don't you? I'm just going to lie down for a moment. I'm utterly exhausted. I thought you wouldn't tire so easily. Now you acknowledge your fatigue? Shen Yan replied, feeling somewhat embarrassed, merely wishing to rest for a while. You genuinely believed I was joking? Xia Yanchun took his words at face value, suggesting, if you're truly tired, you should return home to rest. I won't keep you here to sleep. Please, I've already slept here before. Just because you've spent the night doesn't grant you perpetual access to my home. Besides, I've even struck you before. If you permit me to continue hitting you without retaliation, I might consider it. Twisting your ankle has clearly affected your reasoning. Haki-chan, you're not any better. After searching for 10 years, the dung beetle found the finest quality lodged between your ears. 666. Even a dung beetle would shake its head at your type. After exchanging playful barbs for a while, Shen Yan fell silent. Their playful banter was typically evenly matched, yielding no clear victor. I want to argue with you. It shortens my lifespan. The astute Shen Yin swiftly diverted the conversation. Having endured setbacks recently, he relished the rare moment of having the upper hand in their exchanges, and Xia Yin Chun basked in her triumph, her tone light and airy. It's not that you don't want to argue, but rather that you cannot outmatch me. Nevertheless, it was quite delightful, though the spirit of AQ may be shameful. It serves a purpose. I forgive you, dear brother. She had become so enraptured in her own artistry that she was oblivious to everything else. Frustrated, she encountered the archetype of a mediocre woman. Whatever a bad woman says is right. I have class this afternoon, so I shall head back to school. Xia Yin Chun tilted her head in disbelief as Shen Yin did not retaliate. How astonishing. It seemed today she had emerged victorious. Then you should return early. I plan to read shortly, lest I remain idle at home. Shen Yin rose, but rather than heading to the entrance, he stood before Xia Yin Chun. She gazed at him in confusion for a moment before clarity struck. Shen Yin took a deep breath, swiftly tousled her hair, and pinched her cheek. In that fleeting moment of surprise, the door was slammed shut by Shen Yin in a flurry. What audacity! I have achieved a record time of 0.01 seconds guessing what Shen Yin would do next. Why don't you give it a try? However, today, playing with Shen Yin did not leave her blushing or breathless. She had still emerged victorious. The balcony remained open, and a cool breeze wafted in, causing Xia Yin Chun to huddle her shoulders and rush to close the window. Looking back, she felt an emptiness in the room, even colder than before. She preferred the warm ambience that had enveloped her moments ago. Chapter 124. Shen Yin's affection for Lin Shiyuan is a fabrication, yet his admiration for Xia Yanchun is authentic. As October draws to a close, the temperature gradually stabilizes, prompting even Shen Yin to don long trousers and a jacket. The classroom air conditioning is seldom utilized now, allowing students to nap comfortably, free from the sticky perspiration that once necessitated the use of wet wipes. Today is October 21st, a Tuesday, and a physical education class awaits shortly. Standing by the window, Shen Yin observes the younger students rushing to the vending machine below. Each one is bundled up tightly, and even Lin Shiyuan, who typically wears charming skirts on weekends, has opted for more practical attire. Compared to the boys, the girls embrace outerwear sooner. Xia Yanchun has already donned a loose autumn outfit. Her school uniform tailored a size larger, which, given her petite figure, only accentuates her delicate charm. Xia Yanchun appears relatively ordinary, but the truly petite girls, those who barely reach 5 feet, possess a soft demeanor that seems to invite bullying. Thankfully, the girls in their class are of good character, otherwise, they might encounter ill-intentioned peers. Shen Yin cannot help but reflect on the benevolent nature of his classmates. Even Lan Fu, who often displays a haughty attitude, is not truly malevolent. At 18, a hint of pride is to be expected. As for Huang Chun, Shen Yin cannot discern his true character, but he certainly does not harbor fondness for him. Their familiarity is minimal, and the notion of speaking ill behind someone's back while maintaining a facade of indifference is perplexing. Good person? Me? Shen Dong glances back, bemused. I wasn't referring to you, Shen Yin retorts. Does my penchant for playing games like Uluru while blocking bridges not qualify me as a good person? What are you rambling about? I can't comprehend, Shen Dong replies, bewildered. With a slight smirk, Shen Yin drags Chun Dong to the restroom. After washing their hands, he leaves 2 damp handprints on Chen Dong's back. A playful reward for his companionship. Wait, Chen Dong, why do you have sea waves printed on your back? Mom Ming Fan inquires, amusement lighting up his face. That Shen Yin strikes again, Chen Dong groans. Shen Yin chuckles. Come on, buddy, just endure it. Soon after, he finds himself on the receiving end of a couple of playful slaps, and a few snacks from Chen Dong's bag mysteriously disappear. It turns out the true mischief lies beside him. Shen Yin lets out a sigh. After being playfully assaulted and robbed, he feels at a loss for words. In the spirit of benevolence, he decides to repay grievances with kindness, for individuals like him are few and far between. During physical education, the warm-up requires 2 laps around the field. The clever petite girl feigns menstruation, cleverly avoiding the run, as the teacher is not particularly attentive. Otherwise, many such pretenders would surely be caught. The class, feeling lethargic, concludes early, and they hastily make their way to the cafeteria. For Shen Yin, the 800 meters feels as effortless as breathing. The cool weather prevents any significant perspiration. In contrast, Xia Yanchun, still far from the finish line, is already gasping for breath. You seem to be lacking stamina, he remarks. I have no desire to converse with the lazy. What do you mean? I'm merely trailing behind, not slacking off. She defends herself. Regardless, I didn't see much effort. I recall you often used to take it easy, jogging a half lap. Only to join the others for the second, he teases. Xia Yanchun exhales heavily, tugging at her zipper to catch her breath. Stray wisps of hair cling to her forehead, and the exertion imbues her cheeks with a soft, rosy hue. In the past, things were different, and one should not speak so lightly. Shen Yin stroked his chin, asserting that, after all, he had escaped. Thus, he was being unjustly accused and slandered. So what if I ran away? It has nothing to do with me. Being called a vegetable dog was something Xia Yanchun had grown accustomed to. She was indifferent, for in terms of physical prowess, she and Shen Yin were incomparable. She accepted the label of vegetable dog, but academically, Shen Yin was equally a vegetable dog in her eyes. A score of 600 was commendable, yet unfortunately, he had encountered her. We are both vegetable dogs, merely differing in our respective pursuits. However, as a cultural student, I prioritize academic performance, and thus, it is she who triumphs. A decisive victory. The distinction was clear. As the clouds drifted lazily across the sky, Xia Yanchun ignored Shen Yin. When she noticed him attempting to tuck a strand of her hair behind her ear, she awkwardly recoiled. What kind of person are you? Can't you find somewhere else to play? There are so many people around. How can you be so shameless? It was absurd. They had both been falsely rumored to harbor feelings for Lin Shiyuan, yet here he was, so oblivious. Shen Yan's affection for Lin Shiyuan was a mere fabrication. But his feelings for Xia Yanchun were genuine. Contemplating this realization, Xia Yanchun felt increasingly uneasy, her almond-shaped eyes fixed on Shen Yan, discomfort growing with each passing moment. Wait. He's my formidable rival. How bizarre. Had he developed Stockholm Syndrome? They were supposed to be adversaries, bickering daily, yet now he appeared to harbor feelings for her? Xia Yanchun dared not dwell on the thought any longer and hurried off to join other girls, seeking solace in their chatter. As if conversing with others could untangle the chaos in her mind. It was shameful yet effective to evade reality. Shen Yan sighed, recognizing her as a cunning woman. Just days ago, she had been tending to his injuries, and now that she was well, she had kicked him aside. She constantly proclaimed that she would not engage in any personal entanglements, yet she flirted with him without a hint of refusal, a true femme fatale. Attempting to keep him hanging on, the girls were chattering away, their voices a melodious chorus. Though Shen Yan could have joined their conversation, he saw no necessity. Shen Dong had gone to the court, and Shen Yan soon found Ma Mingfan in the back. He raised a fist in greeting. Ma Mingfan regarded him for a moment, then glanced at Shen Yan's raised fist, his expression shifting between uncertainty and clarity. What's the matter? You're not thinking of hitting me, are you? Where's our camaraderie as fellow players of Naruto? Shen Yan smiled, reminiscent of Itachi watching Sasuke, or Minato observing Naruto, embodying harmony, friendliness, and a bond akin to family. Ma Mingfan's face brightened, and he bumped fists with Shen Yan. As fellow players of Naruto, help me buy a bottle of cola, and the rest is yours. Shen Yan opened his fist to reveal a 5 yuan note. Ma Mingfan raised an eyebrow, puzzled. The memory of helping his family purchase soy sauce with 10 yuan, keeping the change for himself, surfaced, yet Shen Yan was certainly not his father. He felt misled. No, he felt insulted. However, Ma Mingfan had transformed significantly since those days. Before Shen Yan stood a version of Ma Mingfan who had watched Candy Super Sweet 100 times. I had no intention of going. It's not on my way. I want to run errands for you until you hand me that 5 yuan. That's my formidable willpower at work. Go ahead, kid. Shen Yan produced another 5 yuan. Wow, how have you become so affluent? Where has that Shen Yan gone, who once contemplated kneeling to beg for a sip of my cola? If you continue to speak recklessly, I might just hurl my shoe at your face. Ahem, flying thunder god. Shen Yan chuckled in irritation, running so fast. One might think he was about to receive a beating. I merely wished to land a couple of punches. Is that too much to ask? Shen Yan waited patiently. And indeed, Ma Mingfan had brought him a cola, but only one bottle. What about yours? He inquired. I ran into an acquaintance on the way and gave it to them. Ma Mingfan scratched his head sheepishly. Shen Yan narrowed his eyes, detecting a hint of embarrassment in Ma Mingfan's demeanor. While he struggled to converse with girls, he transformed into quite the chatterbox around boys, suggesting that this embarrassment stemmed from one of two possibilities. Either he encountered a girl, or he stumbled upon Nan Liang. Shen Yan stroked his chin. Something seems amiss. Nothing's wrong. I merely gifted it to someone I knew. Since I didn't get to drink it, you owe me another bottle, Ma Mingfan retorted. Another bottle? If you keep this up, I might just kick you into a ditch. Setting aside the fact that I gave someone my cola, do you not feel the slightest bit at fault? You truly are something, Shen Yan muttered, perspiring beads of sweat, fearing he might catch Ma Mingfan's awkwardness, and promptly took his leave. I was wrong. From now on, during gym class, I will only converse with girls. If I speak to Ma Mingfan again, I might end up eating the dishes made by Shen Yu. Chapter 125. You are like a small ruffian in society. Stay away from Ma Mingfan, and your life will be much happier. In any case, Shen Yan distanced himself from Ma Mingfan and found solace among a group of girls, engaging in cheerful conversation. The gym teacher left midway, leading to the dissolution orchestrated by the sports committee. Shen Yan headed straight to the classroom, and just before the final self-study period commenced, Xia Yanchun returned with several girls. Each of them held a bottle of beverage, craving some sugar after gym class. Xia Yanchun rolled up her pant legs as she took her seat, and, upon noticing Shen Yan observing her, pouted slightly and turned her head away, ignoring him. Shen Yan, perplexed, decided to shift his stack of books to the right and buried himself in his work. After all, in a public setting, he could not act against Xia Yanchun, so it was better to avoid her gaze and prevent unnecessary thoughts. As evening approached, the sky darkened, the sun began its descent, and ominous clouds swiftly gathered. The wind gradually intensified. Shen Yan hurried to the cafeteria, eating early, and before the light rain began to fall, he was already engaged with multimedia in the classroom. The air was tinged with the scent of dust, and though it was not yet 6 o'clock, the outside world appeared shrouded in gloom. Shen Yan, aren't you eating? Lin Shiyuan had entered the classroom at some point, greeting Shen Yan with a gentle smile. Eating quickly, you didn't skip meals, did you? I lack an appetite. I'll just buy some bread at the convenience store once the rain stops during evening study. The school food is not palatable, Shen Yan remarked, glancing out at the rain, which had grown louder, marveling at the dramatic change in weather. It's not too bad. I checked the weather forecast at noon, and it does indeed predict heavy rain today. Hiding your phone and not turning it in? I'll report you. If you have evidence, go ahead, I'm not afraid. Shen Yan replied. Lin Xian narrowed her eyes, her smile lively, her cheeks flushed with color. Shen Yan seems to have become more attractive, Lin Shiyuan mused quietly to herself. However, the thought of Shen Yan effortlessly conversing with many girls in their class gradually extinguished the flicker of excitement in her heart. She realized she was not special. The central air conditioning was bothersome. In the classroom, only 4 or 5 students lingered, and Shun Yin casually played a piece of music while reviewing English. Then, Xia Yanchun returned, holding an umbrella. Her pant legs were slightly damp, as the wind and rain inevitably left their mark. I thought I was supposed to pick you up. Shun Yin teased, resting his chin on his hand. As long as I eat quickly, disaster won't catch up with me. If you choke one day, I will definitely hire a lion dance troupe for you, he added, jesting about their camaraderie. Xia Yanchun approached Shun Yin, shaking her umbrella beside him, causing droplets to scatter. She hung her small umbrella beneath the window, her expression quite haughty. Make sure to hang that umbrella properly, she said. Why is it hanging here of all places? The floor is soaked, it's quite uncomfortable. My apologies, that was unintentional, Shun Yin replied, a smirk on his face. Xia Yanchun stifled a laugh. How can you be so insufferable? You truly are a bad influence. Shun Yin chuckled, deciding to bide his time before seeking retribution. During the first evening self-study session, he tore off a piece of eraser and launched it at Xia Yanchun. She remained unfazed, casting him a glance that seemed to say, how childish. As if he were beneath her notice. When the 5th piece hit her head, she regarded him as if he were a fool. By the 10th, her expression grew serious. By the 20th and 30th, Xia Yanchun was utterly perplexed. What does it mean to throw 1 eraser per minute? She thought. As the space beside her filled with small erasers, knowing she would eventually have to clean up, she struggled to contain herself, but today was not her turn for duty, so she could not mark Shun Yin's name on the roster. After enduring the entire class, the bell finally rang, and Xia Yanchun smacked Shun Yin's head with her book. Still throwing them? Not anymore, Shun Yin replied, sounding relieved. Xia Yanchun observed him and playfully tapped him again. Is it pleasant? A good sound means a good head. Are you addicted to this? Just hitting you to put you in your place, she retorted. Ma Mingfan had been studying, but found himself unable to concentrate upon hearing Shun Yin and the class monitor's banter. Is this a quarrel? He wondered. If it were, he would have to jump in to stir the pot. But now, this felt no different from flirting. Why do they get to live such colorful lives? He lamented. After a moment of contemplation, he resolved to remain unaffected by their flirtation, recognizing that it was also a test of willpower, more effective than mere curiosity. Thus, Ma Mingfan rolled up a book. Class monitor, your hits are akin to pouting. Don't let him enjoy this. Let me take over. I will show Shun Yin the power of knowledge. Confronting ambiguity would lead to his own growth. Xia Yanchun blinked, wondering about the notion of pouting. After all, hitting someone with a book could be quite painful, and she certainly couldn't strike Shun Yin on the head for real. In such circumstances, upon returning home, Shun Yin would undoubtedly rush over to settle accounts, which would be quite unfortunate. At home, Shun Yin would not merely resort to words as he did in the classroom. He would genuinely take action and seize every opportunity. Ma Mingfan, you need not say a word. Shun Yin is like a mischievous husky, pointing fingers. You're meddling in the ambiguous relationship between him and Chuan Bao, aren't you? Very well, next time I see you engaging with Hokage, I shall snatch your phone away. I haven't even played yet. Haha, class monitor, I still have some frozen pork at home. I must take my leave. Xia Yanchuan. In the end, after giving Shun Yin a light tap on the forehead, Xia Yanchuan finally calmed down. This fellow disrupted an entire lesson, managing to solve only 2 problems throughout. The next time Shun Yin decides to study seriously, she would certainly hurl an eraser at him. Outside, the rain continued to fall, obscuring the moonlight. As the evening study session concluded, everyone opened their umbrellas. Ma Mingfan lacked an umbrella and sought to accompany Qindong, only to discover that Qindong also had none. He contemplated borrowing from Shun Yin, but Shun Yin possessed only a single umbrella. He could share the same sunshade with Xia Yanchuan, but under the rain, that would drench Chuan Bao. Fear not, my friends, Shun Yin reassured. If you run swiftly enough, you can evade the falling rain. Those without umbrellas must strive to sprint, persevere. Is that how it's done? Qindong and Ma Mingfan remained silent, while Xia Yanchuan began to mockingly recite. How could it not be so? If you lack an umbrella, then why not run? There's a saying that goes, because one has been drenched, one must tear others' umbrellas. In fact, Qindong, you too could also tear someone else's umbrella. I wholeheartedly support such actions. After all, it wouldn't be you getting hit, right? Xia Yanchuan sighed, realizing that if Shun Yin continued speaking, he would surely utter further absurdities. She adjusted her single umbrella and generously offered, you may share mine. It's a bit small, but if you squeeze together, it won't soak you too much. Qindong was moved to tears. Then what about you, class monitor? I can simply share an umbrella with Shun Yin. It's fine. Qindong clasped his hands together, weeping. Class monitor, in the future, if you need anything, just seek Ma Mingfan. He would surely brave any hardship for you. Qindong, you rascal. Xia Yanchuan was left speechless. How abstract. The boys in this class seem beyond saving. If one day the world were to suddenly become abstract, I doubt anyone in this class would even notice the difference. Let us go, let us go. Shun Yin nudged Xia Yanchuan, leading her down the stairs. Shun Yin's umbrella was a double-sized one, and while it provided just enough coverage for both him and Xia Yanchuan, it merely shielded Qindong and Ma Mingfan's heads from the rain. As for their clothes, well, that was uncertain given the limited conditions. Shun Yin opened the umbrella, and the raindrops pattered against the canopy, creating tiny splashes that sparkled under the street lamp. Xia Yanchuan quickly nestled inside, pressing closer to the center to avoid getting wet. Indeed, we shared an umbrella. Chuan Bao, Shun Yin grinned. What's the big deal about that? It's nothing extraordinary. Chuan Bao was not your typical girl. She was not swayed by such gestures. Such is the nature of it. Come a bit closer, lest you be drenched. Shun Yin naturally wrapped his arm around Xia Yanchuan's shoulders, exerting a gentle pull. drawing her closer as if enveloping her in an embrace, her soft form pressed against him. Xia Yanchun slightly opened her almond-shaped eyes, her body feeling somewhat stiff. A chilly breeze swept towards her, causing her hair to become disheveled and her eyelashes to flutter. Suddenly, she felt quite comfortable nestled in his embrace, warm and inviting. What a fierce wind, Shen Yin remarked, as he braced himself against the gusts with the umbrella. Despite his efforts, the wind still slapped him twice. As if autumn herself were displeased, Xia Yanchun bit her lower lip and muttered, "Is it possible she wants to smack you a couple of times? If it weren't for me shielding you with the umbrella, you'd have been blown away 800 meters by now." "Nonsense. I'm not that weak. If I hadn't lent you the umbrella, would you even be in a position to complain? Who told you to lend me your umbrella?" Shen Yin playfully pinched the soft flesh of her arm, feeling the delicate texture through her clothing. "It's not like I asked you to borrow it. Right now, it's my kindness that allows you to stay dry. Behave yourself. You sound like a little hoodlum," she teased. "If I were a hoodlum, you'd still be relying on me to share this umbrella, and later, you'd be hitching a ride home with me." Xia Yanchun gazed at the streetlight by the roadside, where raindrops formed delicate, colorful strands, creating a breathtaking sight. Chapter 126. Just say you want to hug the rain fell gently, and Xia Yanchun stood beside Shen Yin under the umbrella as he pushed his electric bike out. On such blustery, rainy days, holding an umbrella is more perilous than riding in the rain. Fortunately, he had a large raincoat that proved useful today. After Shen Yin adjusted the raincoat, he urged Xia Yanchun to stow the umbrella and hop on quickly, but she inevitably got her clothes damp, water even pooling in her socks. "Why is it raining so heavily?" she exclaimed as she finally managed to slip into the raincoat, her voice muffled. Shen Yin glanced back at her, finding it amusing to see her entire figure enveloped, with only her face visible through the transparent section. "You look like a little creature." Autumn is indeed a time of gusty winds and rain. Shen Yin straightened his posture, adjusting the raincoat. "Just don't grab my shoulder while I'm wearing this. It makes the raincoat ride up. Is that really a problem?" "It is. My visibility is fine until you start moving. Just hold on to me." "I don't believe you." Xia Yanchun squinted her eyes but lowered her hands, resting them on his waist, playfully chiding. "If you want me to hold you, just say so instead of being so indirect." "It's a matter of the raincoat," he insisted. "I still don't believe you. Next time, you can try it yourself." "I still don't believe you. I'm not your father, you know." "Indeed, you are not." Shen Yin felt relieved. His usual tricks could hardly fool her. With her intellect capable of scoring above 700, she was not easily deceived. The journey was illuminated by streetlights, yet visibility was poor, prompting Shen Yin to drive slowly, making Xia Yanchun suspect he did so intentionally, hoping for more embraces. However, she didn't mind. Embracing Shen Yin wouldn't cost her anything. Truth be told, Shen Yin's waist felt remarkably sturdy. She mused that if she were to twist him, he likely wouldn't flinch at all. She imagined he could easily pin her against the wall without effort. She had heard that many fitness enthusiasts enjoy a good workout, and if it weren't for the raincoat, she would certainly have reached out to feel his head, curious if it had become more angular from his rigorous training. Xia Yanchun closed her eyes, feeling a fluttering sensation in her heart, her hands gradually moving forward to intertwine with his. How did you develop abs?" Xia Yanchun trembled slightly. Truly this fellow was getting increasingly better. Feeling discontent, she thought she needed to consume a couple of peanut candies to feel better. "Why are you touching me? This hardly qualifies as touching. Holding you naturally involves contact." Shen Yin found himself at a loss for words, yet he felt a growing urge to rise. Holding her by the waist was manageable, but now with both arms encircling her lower abdomen, the 18-year-old found himself overwhelmed by such proximity. His rebellious spirit seemed to stir, contemplating an audacious advance. Fortunately, they were not far from the neighborhood. Shen Yin parked the car and urged Xia Yanchun to disembark promptly. He rolled up the raincoat into a bundle, intending to take it home to dry. After a laborious descent to the first floor, Xia Yanchun exhaled deeply, her pant legs dampened by the rain. "I despise rainy days. Are you cold?" "Not particularly, just a bit windy. I find it rather tolerable." The wind tousled Shen Yin's shirt hem, revealing a thin white t-shirt beneath, which left Xia Yanchun speechless. She muttered softly about valuing elegance over warmth as they entered the elevator. "Is it truly not cold? Wow, you must be quite impressive then." Applause. "Your speech carries a hint of that whimsical charm from social media." Xia Yanchun pinched her nose and covered her mouth, casting a disdainful glance at Shen Yin. "You have a peculiar scent, reminiscent of an online forum. Then do take a whiff." "EW, that's disgusting and foul." Ding. The elevator doors swung open, and Xia Yanchun stepped out first, rummaging through her bag for the keys. As she opened the door, Shen Yin, who should have gone home, lingered behind her, poking her neck with his finger. "Ouch." Xia Yanchun recoiled, glaring back at him in annoyance. "Aren't you going to trim your nails? That hurts. Why are you poking me instead of heading home? Are you looking for a fight?" "No." Shen Yin set the damp raincoat down, scratched his face, and expressed a desire to embrace her. "Embrace what?" "Just a quick hug. Someone mentioned wanting me to tell you directly, but I've forgotten who it was. Can you help me recall?" Xia Yanchun crossed her arms, complaining. "I said that only counted in the car. We are already outside. Where you hug doesn't matter. Come here." Shen Yin disregarded her, tucking her loose hair behind her ear while flashing a grin. "I've stated it clearly now. You must hug me regardless of your words. To put it nicely, that's not keeping your word. To put it bluntly, it's dishonesty, deceiving feelings, filled with falsehoods." "Xia Yanchun, you wouldn't want your fabrications to be exposed, would you?" Xia Yanchun frowned slightly and poked Shen Yin's chest with force. "You truly are infuriating. Could you not behave yourself?" "I am perfectly composed at this moment." With her lashes lowered, she insisted, "Must we hug? I only know you said to express my desire directly, and now I've said it, yet you haven't embraced me. You're taking my words out of context. Failing to consider the surrounding dialogue. The same phrase can convey different meanings in varied circumstances. What are you rambling about? I can't comprehend. Hurry. Just give me a hug. I need to shower soon, and my buddies still have to study. Why should that concern me? Seeing Shun Yin's demeanor, Xia Yanchun understood clearly that if she did not let him take advantage of this opportunity, he would not relent. The retribution for hitting him with a book in the classroom had come swiftly. Was it truly just a simple hug he desired? Shun Yin was truly something else. Just a brief embrace. Summer Yanchun adjusted her mindset. She felt that Shun Yin was right. An embrace is an embrace, whether in the car or here. The more one feels anxious, the more it indicates an investment in their current ambiguous relationship. Her heart must be at ease. It was merely Shun Yin, not worth overthinking. A sister embracing her brother is hardly an unusual occurrence. What sister doesn't embrace her brother? Just look at how you've turned out. An expression of lewdness on your face, in disarray, utterly exhausted. Have you become a pervert, do you know? If the child you once were had known they would grow into such a state, they would surely be terrified. Before the embrace, Summer Yanchun couldn't help but scold Shun Yin, and only after finishing did she lift her chin, open her arms, and dive into his embrace. Wrapping around his waist for a brief moment, Shun Yin towered over her, and as she hugged him, she had to rise slightly on her toes to rest her head against his shoulder to breathe. Just a moment's embrace would suffice. With this thought, Summer Yanchun immediately released her grip, intending to withdraw, yet a pair of strong arms encircled her waist, fingertips lingering on her side, unexpectedly touching a sensitive spot. Even through her clothing, the burning sensation sent her heart racing. She could hear Shun Yin inhaling deeply beside her. It had been nearly a decade since they had shared such a face-to-face embrace. Her first thought, he is holding me. Her second thought, I am enveloped in his arms. Her third thought, oh no, I've fallen into his trap. The inexplicable fluster made Summer Yanchun forget to ponder as she remained still within Shun Yin's embrace. After a moment, she began to gently push against his chest, easily extricating herself. That should be sufficient. There must be a next time. Shun Yin grinned. What next time? Forget it. With a decisive motion, Summer Yanchun slammed the door shut, leaving Shun Yin in the hallway, disheveled. Shun Yin scratched his chin, feeling as though he was enveloped in the soft, fragrant essence of Yanchun. He appreciated how Summer Yanchun did not outright reject him, instead choosing to close the door and return home, while still wanting to reason with him. All right, I see how it is. Playing hard to get, huh? This wicked woman has some charm. She has me all flustered. The following day, the sky remained dreary, rain continuing to fall. Shun Yin spent just an hour in his room doing push-ups and sit-ups. He did not keep count of how many he completed. Before he knew it, it was already 6 o'clock. Unsure of his limits, he exercised simply because he had excess energy and did not wish to rely solely on studying to expend it. He had no intention of transforming into one of those hulking figures seen on television. By the way, is there a Guinness World Record for unlimited push-ups over time? Shun Yin felt he could manage a whole day without difficulty. If Captain America could elbow someone all day, then he too could record a Guinness World Record for an entire day. After brushing his teeth and washing his face, Shun Yin slipped into clean shoes and stepped outside. As he always did, leaning against the wall while waiting. Finally, the door to Summer Yanchun's home opened. She appeared spirited enough to command a warship, her large eyes sparkling. Shun Yin surmised she must have risen earlier than usual, having brushed her teeth and washed her face sooner, thus banishing the morning's weariness. In her everyday life, Xia Yanchun often appears disheveled as soon as she steps outside, resembling the sleepy stray cat in the neighborhood. Each day, upon encountering Shun Yin, her first action is to exhale a deep breath. If you were to stand nearby, I would hesitate to approach you, fearing an unexpected outburst. Am I truly such a wicked person? Shun Yin pointed to his own face, asserting that he possesses an admirable charm. Mediocre at best, she retorted. You could donate your eyes. Today, without the breakfast that Shun Yin usually brings, and given the rain, Xia Yanchun is not the type to throw a tantrum over a missed meal. After all, she lacks the appropriate standing to act spoiled. What claim does she have over Shun Yin? Should he choose to retaliate, she would find herself plastered against the wall, unable to escape. It's quite alarming. Shun Yin genuinely resorts to hitting girls. How can someone who strikes girls maintain friendships with so many of them? If it weren't for the majority of girls dispersing during their elementary and middle school years, Shun Yin would have countless female companions. Yet, she is undoubtedly his only rival. He has never struck another girl. Any other would likely dissolve into tears at the slightest blow. Xia Yanchun, however, enjoys retaliating and then complaining to her family, ensuring that Shun Yin not only faces her wrath, but also incurs the ire of his elders. Oh dear, sister is truly mischievous, she mused, nodding in agreement with her younger self. Little Xia Yanchun, you are indeed something special. Rivalries are not forged overnight. They should embody a fierce opposition. An inexplicable image of Shun Yin embracing her flashed through her mind, and for a fleeting moment, she gazed sideways at him. A rivalry, after all, should be rooted in pure animosity. Shun Yin, what you harbor is a grotesque form of hatred. Why are you looking at me? He demanded. You foolish dog. She retorted playfully. If I embrace you, it's as treasure Chuan. But without the embrace, you're just a silly dog. As they descended the elevator together, Xia Yanchun carried a new umbrella. Due to its design, Shun Yin had to carefully consider whether the droplets accumulating on its surface would dampen his clothing. After purchasing 2 steamed buns, Xia Yanchun walked briskly ahead of Shun Yin, humming an unfamiliar tune, radiating joy. However, Shun Yin was not pleased. Kids, I've stepped on a landmine. When will the BYD sidewalk tiles be replaced? After just a bit of rain, every tile becomes a trap. If you step on one carelessly, the sewage below can splash 3 meters high. My freshly cleaned shoes. Xia Yanchun relished the sight of Shun Nian's misfortune, her laughter causing the umbrella to sway. Don't laugh, you'll step in it too. No way, he replied. In such weather, Xia Yanchun usually kept her head down, unlike Shen Yan, who seemed utterly careless. Now he had fallen victim. Here, have some tissues, Treasure Chuan. Thanks. Taking the tissues, Shen Yan wiped his shoes nonchalantly. But his once pristine white shoes were now sullied. Even a dog would shake its head in disapproval. Upon arriving at school, Xia Yanchun placed her umbrella beside Shen Yan's, both hanging on the window next to him, as the droplets gathered beneath the umbrellas. The humidity was suffocating, and Shen Yan felt as if he had transformed into a fashion-forward individual. Just before the morning self-study session, Chun Dong and Ma Mingfan casually strolled in. Xia Yanchun's petite umbrella was meticulously folded, exuding a silky elegance. After returning the umbrella, Chun Dong plopped down in his seat and turned to Shen Yan, eager to engage in some light banter. Shen Yan, I pondered a question last night. What is it? Why do humans eat with their mouths? Shen Yan replied. You and Ma Mingfan are at the same table. You both are a pair. What kind of absurd question is that? Ask me again, and I might just lose my patience. Shen Dong was indignant. See, you can't even provide a valid explanation. Shen Yan retorted, so, why do humans eat with their mouths? Why not with our noses? Shen Yan chuckled, realizing that only a complete fool would genuinely contemplate such a matter. Are there no more humans left? He mused. Shen Dong's family would need divine intervention to address such inquiries. Forget why we eat with our mouths. Let me ask you this. If water conducts electricity, why not transmit electricity directly through the Yangtze River? After a moment of silence, Shen Dong, perplexed, responded. The resistance is too high, too much energy loss occurs, and an effective circuit cannot be formed. The safety and environmental risks are far too great. Is transmitting electricity through the Yangtze something humanity could conceive? Ah, you do possess a brain. Yet you still question why humans eat with their mouths. Shen Yan stroked his chin in contemplation. Indeed, why do we? He realized he had thought about this trivial matter not once, but twice, which left him feeling a bit unsettled. Frustrated, he cursed under his breath, not knowing how many expletives he had uttered. Shen Dong shook his head in disappointment. You can't figure it out either? Don't you have Baidu? Oh right, ID almost forgotten. Shen Dong's eyes lit up, realizing that surely others shared his bewilderment regarding this question. Shen Yan was taken aback. Yes. The top students who consistently rank in the top 5 in exams are the ones who ponder such questions. I suggest everyone reflect on these matters. Perhaps it might lead to academic excellence. Today was the day for Chinese literature morning reading. Sukashi came to inspect the class. Since the first period was Chinese, she was too lazy to make the trip back to her office and settled on the podium early, propping her face up while scrolling through her phone. Shen Yan took a trip to the restroom, and upon his return, he found Li Shiyan languidly sprawled in the corridor, enjoying the gentle breeze. The rain had subsided, leaving only countless minuscule droplets dancing in the wind, settling on Li Shiyan's hair. Li Shiyan. Li Shiyan, recognizing his voice, found it peculiar to be addressed by name. I have a question for you. Why do humans eat with their mouths? Li Shiyan blinked, fiddling with her fingers as her mind raced to catch up. Why do humans eat with their mouths? Class is starting. Li Shiyan gazed out the window, her thoughts elsewhere. Why do humans eat with their mouths? She pondered deeply. Chapter 128. The last time, yet there are countless times. Li Shiyan, somewhat oblivious, spent nearly 10 minutes wrestling with the question. Slowly, she realized Shen Yan was merely setting a trap for himself, intending to occupy her mind with such a meaningless conundrum. However, she was indeed quite curious about it. Even though she recognized it as Shen Yan's trick, she pondered for a considerable time. The act of eating with one's mouth is a result of biological evolution. Li Shiyan held her head high, having come to this realization, feeling as if her menstrual discomfort had lessened. She radiated beauty, surrounded by a gentle blush. Xia Yanchun cast a doubtful glance at her, wondering if she was experiencing low blood sugar. No, she huffed. It was simply a moment of enlightenment. Xia Yanchun's eyes sparkled as she playfully grasped Li Shiyan's hand, teasing her about how she resembled a little pig when she smiled. As for Chinese class, to be honest, whether one attended or not made little difference. In many instances, the questions were formulaic and easily solvable, often relying on the structure of introduction and conclusion, with a clear theme in the middle to bridge the two. With someone like Shen Yan, who had memorized everything, attending class became irrelevant. This left her no choice but to endure the torment of watching Sukashi. Private lessons with teacher Marseille were a ruse. In truth, Shen Yan felt no remorse whatsoever. The sciences were exhilarating. Mathematics was exhilarating. English was exhilarating. It wasn't just him. Xia Yanchun also allowed herself to drift off during Chinese class, often paying little attention throughout the entire period. The only one suffering was Sukashi. It was evident what the students were up to, and the teacher stood powerless before such blatant disregard. Tears were on the verge of spilling, for the teacher felt utterly ineffectual. Shen Yan relished his studies, and before he knew it, the long break had arrived. Closing his book, Shen Yan strolled around the classroom, eventually reaching Chen Xiuyu's desk. Chen Xiuyu had also been deeply engrossed in her own distractions, with mathematics materials scattered across her desk. Upon seeing Shen Yan approach, she gazed at him eagerly. With midterm exams looming, do you have any assurance of passing? It feels like I might, perhaps, or maybe. I don't want maybe. I want you to definitely pass. Otherwise, I'll fine you 2,000. What nonsense. This exam is crucial for me, and you must improve, Shen Yan stated earnestly. What does your importance have to do with me? That's none of your concern. Just do your best. If you pass, it shows your capability. If you fail, well, that's a reflection on you. Others may look down on you, but you must strive to prove them wrong. Nearby, a girl who had consistently failed in mathematics was in tears, her face pale. She realized she had always been viewed as a failure in Xun Yan's eyes. Chun Xiuyu was perplexed, believing she had been getting along well with everyone. Who would look down on me? Huh, of course, that would be me. Can't you figure that out? Did he think he was amusing? Chun Xiuyu's expression, initially adorable and confused, soon turned to one of sweat and anxiety. She wanted to express something artistic, youthful, and reminiscent of ancient styles. However, before she could voice her thoughts, Xun Yan had already slipped away, wandering to Xia Yanchun's desk. Resting on her pile of books, Xia Yanchun was truly the best. Xun Yan merely observed, gazing at Xia Yanchun's pristine face for a moment, instinctively smiling within. Such a delightful creature. Shiyan, did you notice that ruffian staring at me? Xia Yanchun asked, not looking at him, tugging at Li Shiyan's arm. Li Shiyan tilted her head, not daring to speak ill of Xun Yan in his presence. She resolved to remain enigmatic. After all, their conflicts seemed to have dissipated, returning to that familiar dynamic of playful rivalry, yet close camaraderie. If there were truly significant discord, she mused, little Chun would not have sent Xun Yan a video after accidentally twisting her ankle. She was merely a bundle of cotton, untouched by their affairs. How did you two become adventurers like Dora? Xun Yan found it amusing. There's nothing to be done. It feels uncomfortable being stared at by a weasel. Xia Yan Chun remarked lightly. I clearly said nothing, yet you've pinned 2 labels on me. How unfair. Xun Yan retorted in disbelief. During the lunch break, Xun Yan chose not to rush to the cafeteria, but instead dined with Xia Yan Chun. At their table of 5, he was the sole male among a few spirited girls, who were engrossed in their chatter while he contented himself with listening to their gossip, interjecting occasionally. By midday, the rain had subsided, and the thick clouds parted to allow rays of sunlight to stream through, warming the atmosphere, no longer necessitating avoidance of the sunshine. At this hour, only Xun Yan and Xia Yan Chun remained in the classroom, and given Xun Yan's fondness for her, he was determined to play with her before she drifted off to sleep. He had claimed the seat next to her as his own, naturally running his fingers through her hair, her ponytail, the soft tufts atop her head, and the wisps framing her face, exploring every inch. Xia Yan Chun, though somewhat exasperated, found herself at a loss for words, feeling as if she had become a mere toy in Xun Yan's hands. It was not until he gently brushed her cheek that she shyly met his gaze. Why haven't you trimmed your nails? Initially indifferent, she had noticed the sharpness of his nails after they pricked her the day before, and now she instinctively felt their presence gliding across her skin. Xun Yan glanced at his fingers, recalling he had forgotten, though they were not overly long. They're quite long. Haven't you heard? The bacteria under untrimmed nails can outnumber those in a toilet. Xia Yan Chun insisted, poking him. I dare you to nibble on your nails if you dare to lick a toilet. Upon hearing this, Xia Yan Chun's expression darkened as she picked up a book and playfully tapped Xun Yan twice. The sound of the book was more of a playful gesture than a weapon, and Xun Yan found the taps oddly pleasant. Seeing him grin broadly, Xia Yan Chun sighed internally, searching for a nail clipper. Grasping his hand, she pulled it toward her, exasperatedly stating, if you're not going to maintain hygiene, let me help you with your nails. Such kindness. Xun Yan was taken aback, with Xia Yan Chun's small hands gesturing for him to present his nails. He typically was the one to squeeze her hand. Why should I? If you want to trim them, don't touch me, she mumbled, lowering her head as she carefully began to clip his nails, as her hair fell forward while she focused. Xun Yan couldn't help but admire her fair and serious profile, making Xia Yan Chun feel inexplicably uneasy as she forcefully adjusted his fingers. Why was he so nonchalant about her touching him? If their roles were reversed, she would surely be blushing, reluctantly acknowledging the truth. Xia Yanchun found herself curious to see Xun Yan's face flush with embarrassment. However, she pondered how thick-skinned he must be to remain unblushing. Meanwhile, she remarked casually, you've done such an excellent job. Xun Yan praised her. Do girls truly put so much effort into their nails? What is so special about trimming nails? She retorted. You did wonderfully, I adore it. If you truly love it, then behave yourself. Just wait until I accidentally clip your skin, you'll understand then. Flattered by his compliments, Xia Yanchun felt a surge of pride, nearly blooming with delight. After meticulously finishing Xun Yan's nails, she wiped her brow, sighing, what a labor it has been. With an elder sister like me, you ought to feel fortunate. I've even trimmed your nails. Now, let us move on to your toes. Do you truly see me as your servant? Get lost. Xun Yan chuckled, unable to resist teasing her. Reflecting on the past 18 years, he felt foolish for allowing hatred to cloud his judgment for so long. He savored the playful banter, enjoying how she feigned indifference while her cheeks betrayed her shyness. Uncertain why she clung so fiercely to her role as sister, Xun Yan understood that every time he acknowledged her as such, she would float away like a cloud in the sky. An impulse surged within him, and he pulled their chairs closer together, bridging the gap between them. Why are you getting so close? She exclaimed. Are you longing for a hug? You said to speak up if I wanted one. Xia Yanchun's eyes flickered with trepidation as she averted her gaze, her voice barely above a whisper. I said yesterday would be the last time. When you boss me around. You've also claimed it would be the last time. Xun Yan grinned, revealing his authority in this final moment. This is the last time. Can you fetch me a tissue? Would you mind buying me a bottle of water? After this, I promise not to bother you again. Sister, please help me with something. Hurry, it's truly the final time. Why do you hold grudges so tightly? Xia Yanchun felt a flutter of anxiety, and in moments like these, she began to reason with him. Boys should be magnanimous. Can't you let go of trivial grievances? You are a boy after all. How can I not seek retribution? I will reclaim all the grievances I have endured in the past. This is merely the beginning. Xia Yanchun felt her patience waning. Xun Yan's dominance overwhelmed her, causing her cheeks to flush a vivid pink, her embarrassment evident in her eyes. Meeting Xun Yan's gaze, her heart raced, caught in a tempest of emotions. You spout nothing but nonsensical arguments, she complained before quickly embracing Shen Yan, only to be enveloped in his arms once more. In the unseen corners of her mind, her toes curled in discomfort, her shoe tips touching, feeling both constrained and liberated. Their relationship, which should have been adversarial, found itself skewed as Shen Yan wielded various reasons to claim the upper hand. In their childhood, she had not only bullied Shen Yan, but had also gifted him countless metaphorical bullets, and now those very bullets were beginning to turn against her. The heart rate soared to an unprecedented height. Unable to withstand it any longer, Xia Yanchun gently began to push against Shen Yan's chest, feeling that she had embraced him enough. Unlike yesterday, today she found it impossible to easily extricate herself from his embrace. Shen Yan held her tightly, sincerely. Xia Yanchun felt a rush of warmth, so intense that it made her eyelids heavy. In her frustration, she bit down on Shen Yan's shoulder through his clothing. 5,000 words. Seeking a small gift and urging for updates. Chapter 129, Archenemies. The rivalry had long since become a mere formality. Shen Yan was clad in a jacket. And even though Xia Yanchun had small canine teeth, biting down hard on his shoulder didn't seem to cause him much pain. Shen Yan patted the back of the fragrant little person in his arms, exclaiming, "Hey, I was merely holding you. Why are you biting me? If you don't let go, I'll bite you to death," Xia Yanchun retorted. She released her grip, leaving a faint damp mark on his clothing. Her throat felt dry, and her voice was low. "How long has it been? I must say, your little hands feel rather delightful." Shen Yan released her shoulders, their eyes meeting, and he couldn't help but chuckle at the blush adorning Xia Yanchun's cheeks. "Shut your mouth, and your hands feel terribly clumsy. Holding you is no different than embracing a pillar." Cough, cough. Shen Yan, being prudent, decided not to provoke Xia Yanchun any further. After all, if he missed this chance to hold her close, he might be left with nothing. However, embracing Xia Yanchun was truly therapeutic. It filled his heart with warmth, and he could only smell the sweetness wafting from her. Shen Yan straightened his clothes, gently running his fingers through Xia Yanchun's hair, and smiled softly. "We have class in the afternoon. You should rest peacefully. I won't disturb you." "You better not," Xia Yanchun replied, retrieving her small pillow and lying down. She turned her head away from him, dismissing him. Though her movements were a bit awkward, her expressions quite unnatural. It was only when she turned her back to Shen Yan that she felt somewhat at ease. Being teased by Shen Yan shattered the legend of their high offense and defense, as well as the pure disdain that had existed between them. It was all in ruins. What archenemies? That notion had long since lost its meaning. Oh dear, without resistance, she would inevitably be consumed by Shen Yan, struggling to suppress her rapid breaths. Her mind was a chaotic tangle, and Xia Yanchun was at a loss as to what it all meant. Impossible to sever, yet impossible to comprehend. It wasn't until Shen Yan poked her fingers trapped beneath her arm that her thoughts suddenly coalesced. Without uttering a word, she quietly curled her fingers, forbidding anyone from touching them. Clang, clang. Shen Yan left his seat next to Li Shiyan, promising not to disturb Xia Yanchun. After washing his face in the restroom, he sneaked to the convenience store to buy 2 ice pops to cool down, reasoning that since Chun Bao had already fallen asleep, he might as well sit on a bench in the school path for the entire afternoon, enjoying the breeze. The autumn wind was gentle, a hint of azure breaking through the clouds. When the bells signaled the end of the break, students began to emerge from the dormitory. And only then did Shen Yan plan to head to the classroom. The classroom remained empty, save for Xia Yanchun, who appeared dazed from her slumber. Shen Yan thought to give her a playful punch to see how long it would take for her to cry. However, if it were Xia Yanchun, she would likely retaliate. Awake? Xia Yanchun cast a fleeting glance at him, initially reluctant to engage in conversation. Yet, upon noticing the bottle of icy cola he held, she could not resist exclaiming, "How many bottles of cola do you drink in a day? Be careful, you might end up with diabetes at such a young age." "There's no need for you to worry. It's sugar-free, and I consume a considerable amount of sugar daily. After exercising, I crave something sweet," he replied. "Did you just work out?" "No, I'm merely indulging my cravings." "Then what on earth are you talking about?" Shen Yan chuckled. "It's unopened. Do you want a sip?" Xia Yanchun smacked her lips, her mouth dry from just waking up, and the fact that it was unopened made her genuinely tempted. In her past, she had an affinity for Lu Sun's "take what you need." "Go ahead, take it," she said. "Are you really going to drink it?" "I was just jesting. If you want a drink, consider my words unspoken." Xia Yanchun felt her cheeks flush slightly. "How stingy. I even allowed you to hug me when you asked." "Oh dear. Since you insist, I might as well give you the whole bottle. After all, we are brothers." Taking the icy cola, Xia Yanchun attempted to mimic the boys by tilting her head back for a drink, but fearing she might stain her clothes, she opted to pour 2/3 into her own cup, leaving only a sip for Shen Yan. "Isn't this a bit excessive, playing like this? Am I not allowed to drink a little more?" Xia Yanchun's upper lip curled slightly. "I'm just trying to help you with your diabetes. If you're ungrateful, then I'll just pour it back." "Goodness, the tea flavor is spilling out. Are you a green tea? Not only do you scold me, but you also call me a green tea?" Shen Yan's brows twitched, his words tumbling out. "All right then, whatever you say, my dear Chun Bao, is correct." Chun Bao often indulges him, so he feels compelled to reciprocate in some manner. Chun Bao permits him to play with her hair, touch her shoulders, and squeeze her fingers. Now, he could also embrace her. He allowed her to have another sip of cola, which seemed fair. Love, after all, stems from Shen Yan. Xia Yanchun beamed with delight. Her lips curled in a smile as she took a small sip, the carbonation tingling her mouth, and with a sigh, all her previous frustrations dissipated. This joyful drink has its merits. Before long, Li Shiyan bounced into the classroom like a little rabbit. "What brings such joy?" Shen Yan inquired. "Hee. I just purchased a pair of shoes online and triggered a free payment on Alipay." Li Shiyan's eyes sparkled, her smile wide. Xin Yin felt a pang of envy, thinking that Li Shiyin would one day exhaust all the luck in the world. Damn it, trying to plunder fortune. Does anyone have a dark arts master who can teach me? Xia Yanchun was slightly taken aback, covering her mouth as she laughed. Your luck is simply extraordinary. I have no idea. This is the third time this month. She replied with a giggle. Hee hee, let us go to the mall together next time and play the lottery. Sounds good. Xin Yin stroked his chin, his expression sharpening. Are you familiar with Three Kingdoms Kill? He asked. Huh. Li Shiyin immediately tensed. Is it the highly acclaimed Three Kingdoms Kill? Indeed. Are we good friends? Right? Li Shiyin thought of how Xin Yin often shared snacks with her, and being childhood friends, she nodded. Will you help me draw in Three Kingdoms Kill? Oh. I have never engaged in such activities. No matter, a mere click will suffice, and perhaps you may have the opportunity to try it next time. Oh, you know, I have never spoken ill of Miss Li Shiyin. Who knows? She might indeed summon an epic warrior. In chapter 130, Xin Yin felt that the Leshan giant Buddha ought to make room for him. On November 1st, the sky was azure, the clouds floated gently, the light was warm, and the breeze was soft. The midterm examination is scheduled for next Tuesday, which means the weekend will mark the end of the break, and Monday will be reserved for tidying up desks and changing seats. Today is Saturday, and there is another weekly test. Given its simplicity, Xin Yin completed all 3 major subjects and the comprehensive science examination in just 3 class periods. Upon comparing his results with Xia Yanchun, they found that, excluding mathematics, Xin Yin's score was not significantly different from hers. He chuckled. I'm almost catching up to you. Are you prepared for me to surpass you? Is that how this phrase is used? As long as the meaning is correct, it suffices. Xin Yin smiled, as it was now break time, and the majority of students were resting, while a few were still engaged in the weekly test. Only Xin Yin managed to finish the test in 3 periods. Even Xia Yanchun had yet to complete one of the mathematics problems, if he included the mathematics score. Surpassing Xia Yanchun in the weekly test was not out of the question. However, the test's relevance was minimal, rendering comparison unnecessary for Xia Yanchun. The weekly test was merely a casual exercise, less significant than the practice books they usually worked on. It was not worth correcting even the typographical errors. Such trivial matters are beneath contempt. Xia Yanchun took a sip of water from her nearly empty cup, pouting slightly, then handed it to Xin Yin. Please fetch me a cup of warm water. 2 coins. It's just a matter of turning around. Xia Yanchun exclaimed in annoyance. What are you thinking? Fetching water is certainly free. Xin Yin turned to fill the cup, brimming with water, yet he did not return it to Xia Yanchun. Recalling that while fetching water was free, the cup cost 2 coins. You're robbing me. I could kick you, she retorted. All right, I'll return it. It would have been better to do that from the start. You're insufferable. Xia Yanchun rolled her eyes, took a hearty gulp, and then glanced sideways at Li Shiyin, who was peering over with wide eyes, murmuring, what are you staring at? I might even scold you too. Li Shiyin's eyes curved like crescent moons, her laughter infectious. Lost in her own whimsical world, oblivious to the mundane realities. The classroom bell rang, prompting Xin Yin to return to his seat, casting a casual glance at Xia Yanchun. Lin Shiyuan delighted in donning adorable outfits on weekends, adding a unique charm to the campus, while Xia Yanchun, in stark contrast, typically wore plain long pants uniforms, embodying the quintessential obedient girl. It was utterly detestable that a bad girl would disguise herself as a sweet, innocent beauty at school. Deceptions abound among people. Those like Xin Yin, who speak the truth sparingly, are indeed rare in this world. The old are often those who speak little truth. Ironically, those who deceive are not necessarily old. They are merely 18, the pinnacle age of male youth, marked by swift reflexes, peak physical prowess, and intellectual acuity, the prime target of affluent women. After being scrutinized for an extended period, Xia Yanchun cast a scornful glance towards Xin Yin, her eyes seemingly capable of speech. Xin Yin responded with a playful smile, diverting his gaze, and had just taken out his notebook intending to attend to his own matters when a small eraser struck his hair. Haki-chun, as class monitor, could you refrain from such childish antics? Xia Yanchun returned with a bewildered look. What are you talking about, Xin Yin? I don't quite understand. All right. Xin Yin replied with a forced smile, too apathetic to argue. Previously, he had only tossed 3 or 4 dozen tiny erasers at Xia Yanchun. Yet she harbored a grudge to this day, even retaliating with a small eraser of her own. Alas, one must not allow hatred to cloud their vision. Xin Yin, once bullied by Xia Yanchun in his youth, now merely contemplated the benefits of staying within familiar territory. If that isn't the essence of a sage, then he felt as though the Leshan giant Buddha ought to yield him some space. Suddenly, Ma Mingfan, seated in the front row, jolted awake. Upon noticing the 6 test papers stacked at the edge of the desk, he felt utterly dismayed. A glance at the clock revealed it was already past 10. So I inadvertently time-traveled. I thought I had only dozed off during 3 classes. Who could comprehend the plight of a high school student arriving at the classroom by 6:30 in the morning, intending to take a brief nap, only to awaken at the end of the last period in a state of despair? His deskmate, Chen Dong, remained asleep, and Ma Mingfan, still groggy, turned once more to Xin Yin. Have you finished the test? Xin Yin propped his face on his hand. Nope, not sharing. I haven't even asked yet. Ma Mingfan retorted, annoyed. Do you truly believe that my sole intention in seeking you out is merely to copy your answers? Is that the kind of person I am? Then why did you call me over? To borrow your test for a quick glance. Ma Mingfan chuckled. My apologies, brother. I spoke too loudly just now. I confess. I am indeed that kind of person. Xin Yin found it amusing, while Ma Mingfan appeared equally jovial. Why are we laughing like old friends? We are quite familiar, yet you refuse to lend it. Xin Yin's smile faded. I was merely jesting, and you still chuckle. Are we not brothers anymore? Have you forgotten the time we traversed the treacherous path together in our past lives? In my previous life, I did indeed have a brother named Bruce, who, to me, was more trustworthy than many. Shen Yin suddenly realized, Bruce, could it be that you are the reincarnation of Bruce? Goodness. Shen Yin, you have truly changed. You weren't like this before. Have you forgotten the joy we shared while copying Chen Dong's test? I find greater happiness in completing my work independently now. Why are you not happy? I recall you were quite cheerful when you were patting my head earlier. What has changed? Mom Mingfan lamented. It seems we have encountered a vengeful spirit. Do you think I will succeed in borrowing the test? Was I truly mistaken for spending 30 minutes with a head-patting expression that Shen Yin remembers for a month? Everyone knows my methods, yet few comprehend my good intentions. In truth, he merely wished to comfort Shen Yin, believing that one must rise again from where they have fallen. Can you allow me to play another round, so I may pat your head twice more? You truly won't lend it? Ma Mingfan sighed, sacrificing his dignity for the sake of the test. Brother, would you permit me to perform a march for you? Would that suffice? You can do that? It's merely a matter of practice. If I don't do it well, you shan't receive anything. Shen Yin was curious about what he could concoct. Ma Mingfan nodded, rose, circumvented Chen Dong, and approached a classmate, playfully kicking the person's calf. Zhengbu. Shen Yin. Kicking Zhengbu, was it? Such a tedious pun. A deduction of significant points. Apologies, brother, it was Shen Yin who prompted me to do so. Since I've addressed you as brother, what more is there to say? Just go ahead and kick me, will you? Ma Mingfan delivered another kick, purely playful in nature. Zhengbu. Not so, my friend, is this how we play? Have we established a creative workshop? Zhengbu, I shall treat you to the cafeteria's complimentary soup later. For now, this will suffice. Ma Mingfan made a hasty retreat, lest he attract a beating. You have triumphed. Shen Yin covered his face. The last remark about treating someone to free soup genuinely amused him. Some individuals feel distant. Yet in this class, Shen Yin perceived himself as quite normal. Shen Yin, dear, where's your test paper? Goodness, you are insufferable. Here it is, now keep your distance. Dear, you are quite approachable. Ma Mingfan, elated, turned to copy the test paper. Xia Yanxun hummed, attempting to block her ears. Were it not for the preliminary bell ringing, marking the start of class, she would certainly have taken note of these boys' names. Do boys frequently call each other dear? Xia Yanxun felt embarrassed. Girls do not address each other in such a manner. Is this normal for boys? She had never referred to Shen Yin as dear, yet Ma Mingfan had. Could it be that Nan Tung was indeed by my side? Regardless, she would never address Shen Yin as dear. Shi Yin, darling thus, she sweetly called out to Li Shiyin. Li Shiyin was momentarily taken aback, two small question marks appearing above her head. No worries, tomorrow I shall treat you to Haida Leo hooray. Xiaochun is the best. Chapter 131, accidentally immersed, feeling the corn syndrome. Li Shiyin was quite endearing, her demeanor amiable, she was universally liked. Xia Yanxun thought that if Li Shiyin were to enter a romantic relationship, she would undoubtedly make for an adorable and affectionate partner. She wished to pinch her cheeks. Li Shiyin smiled sweetly, retrieving an Alpen chocolate from her pocket, tearing it open to offer it to Xia Yanxun. Xia Yanxun, with delicate brows arched, replied with a gentle smile, you enjoy it yourself. Oh, all right. During the lunch break, Shen Yin was part of the late lunch group, dining with Xiaochun. After all, his meal card was out of funds, and Shen Yin was too lazy to recharge it, so he decided to piggyback on Xiaochun's generosity, knowing she wouldn't mind. If she did, he would simply turn to Li Shiyin instead, carrying their belongings while shopping, occasionally sharing snacks. What was wrong with borrowing a meal card? As for this class monitor, surely you wouldn't want your deskmate to be relying on my meal card, would you? Xia Yanxun was not so petty. She treated him to 2 meat dishes and 1 vegetable for a total of 12 yuan. Glutton, observing Shen Yin specifically requesting the aunt to add more rice. Filling his plate to the brim with vegetables, Xia Yanxun quietly commented beside him. It's fine. Eating too little will leave you as scrawny as you are. TCH. Xia Yanxun huffed, walking ahead, only to realize something moments later, lowering her head to glance. Well, Shen Yin, your words carry a hidden meaning. Indifferent to the disparaging remarks, Xia Yanxun found no reason to be angered by Shen Yin's crude gaze. After all, her contentment with herself was unwavering. Were Shen Yin to fathom her thoughts, he would surely condemn her as lascivious. He was merely expressing his unvarnished opinion about the softness of her flesh, whether caressing or embracing. It felt remarkably pleasant, unlike his own rigid muscles. Feeling rather unappetizing today, Xia Yanxun opted for only 2 vegetarian dishes, which Shen Yin, casting a disdainful glance, deemed unappetizing, asserting that there was no richness to them. Eating so little will surely lead to starvation. You're a glutton, he teased. I do exercise, she retorted. I eat less because I don't work out. What is the issue? None at all, he replied. Once seated, Shen Yin's chatter diminished. He inhaled his meal with fervor while listening to the girls' conversation, observing how they savored their food at a snail's pace. By the time they finished, it was nearly 12:40. The dormitory and classroom were not on the same path, and as Li Shiyin and several other girls grouped together to leave, Xia Yanxun intended to return directly to the classroom, but was once again drawn to the convenience store by Shen Yin. Standing before the refrigerator, he rubbed his chin contemplatively, declaring, I am uncertain which of my beloved consorts to indulge today. Do you have any suggestions, Xia Gonggong? Who is the eunuch here? Xia Yanxun rolled her eyes in exasperation, retorting, you should drink less soda? What then? He inquired. Nutritional supplement, she replied, expecting him to exhibit some integrity. If I don't drink it, why not? Their playful banter left the store owner bemused. In these times, such antics among the youth were uncommon. Encountering such a peculiar duo, she had seen couples role-playing emperors and empresses, but an emperor and a eunuch was a first. With remnants of their meal lingering in her mouth, Xia Yanchun stepped out of the store and could not resist sipping the nutritional drink, producing a soft burp. A trace of the creamy beverage lingered at the corner of her mouth, and before she could raise her hand to wipe it clean, Xin Yan had already helped her, even playfully tugging at her cheek. Xia Yanchun felt an urge to scold him. "Can't you be more discreet in school?" she exclaimed. "Why is your mouth so soft?" Xin Yan inquired, squeezing his fingertips, his emotions inexplicable. Her heart raced unexpectedly. Fearing he might utter something absurd like, "Let me kiss you and see," she hastily interrupted. "Shut up. Say anything foolish and I'll bite you. Shall we engage in a fair duel of warriors?" He jested. "No one cares about you. Stop seeking attention. When you can win, you fight hard, but when you can't, you start talking. Just let me finish." The classroom was devoid of life, and Xin Yan, lounging beside Xia Yanchun, played with her hair for a moment before returning to his seat, using his book as a shield to discreetly retrieve his phone. Xin Yan was known for his ardor for learning. Relishing the newfound quiet, Xia Yanchun took out her small pillow, careful not to attract the teacher's ire. Her relatives would surely strip her of her privileges if they found out, leaving her to lament her fate. "Big guts," she teased. "I'm going to sleep. Just wait until you're dozing off, and I'll keep a close watch on you." "All right," he replied. Xia Yanchun, with her delicate hands serving as a pillow, succumbed to drowsiness, and before long, she was peacefully breathing in her slumber. It was a wonder how she could still sleep knowing she was being observed. Xin Yan was at a loss for words. Well, he thought, perhaps he could indulge in a moment of secret admiration for 10 minutes before returning to his studies. In comparison to the final function problem, he found himself more enamored with her. The afternoon self-study session passed swiftly, and during the final period, Xin Yan called Chen Xiuyu over, armed with the mathematics test paper for a live grading session. Given the test's low difficulty, achieving a perfect score of 100 was a breeze for him. By his calculations, Chen Xiuyu's score stood at 83. The moment he finished grading, an unexpected system panel popped up before him. Side quest, save the disheartened adventurer, completed, reward, 2,000 gold coins. How delightful. Xin Yan had initially assumed this system would only account for midterm exam scores, but to his surprise, it included the weekly test as well, which was quite gratifying. He felt a sense of progress, having achieved excellence, and was motivated to continue striving. One reaps what one sows, Chen Xiuyu remarked with a smile. However, she acknowledged that an 80 on the weekly test was still far from satisfactory. Xin Yan's perfect score was simply because the maximum was 100, while her score of 80 reflected a ceiling that was still insufficient, indicating a gap greater than just 20 points. She aspired to exceed 100 in the midterm. Though it seemed a significant improvement, it was merely 10 points above passing. Nevertheless, it was certainly better than failing. Progress must be made step by step. Much like Xun Yan's rapid advancement in English, he had improved so swiftly that he seemed almost inhuman, rendering her efforts pale in comparison. Next came the explanation of the mistakes. And initially, Chen Xiuyu appeared rather cheerful, but her demeanor soon dulled, resembling a robotic learner devoid of emotion. "What's wrong? Isn't it good to improve in mathematics?" Xin Yan inquired, curious. "It is good, but..." Chen Xiuyu's eyes reflected her thoughts as she pressed her lips together. "My sorrow is known only to the wind." "Speak plainly," Xin Yan replied, forcing a smile. "If you keep saying such things, I might just have to punch you." "Ugh. During lunch I was hiding in the restroom playing on my phone, and accidentally dropped a Bluetooth earbud into the toilet," she lamented. Initially indifferent, Xin Yan empathized upon hearing this, realizing how unfortunate it was. He felt a pang of sorrow akin to the disappointment of purchasing a roast duck leg without the crispy skin. Chen Xiuyu was on the verge of being overwhelmed with grief. "I forgive you. You may express your frustration today," Xin Yan consoled her. Chen Xiuyu pouted, contemplating whether she should thank Xin Yan. Losing a Bluetooth earbud at noon and making progress in mathematics by afternoon left her in a state of mixed emotions. Unsure whether to laugh or cry. Ultimately, she leaned toward sorrow. After all, it was a Bluetooth earbud. After school, Xin Yan took the opportunity to recharge his meal card. Saturdays and Monday mornings were peak times for topping up, and he spent a while in line. Upon returning to the classroom, he encountered the bespectacled uncle who had approached him to buy fish. "Boheo." Xin Yan contemplated making a swift exit, having previously stood the bespectacled gentleman up once. After all, the man held a position of authority within the school, and if caught, Xin Yan might be subjected to a few admonishing words. However, given the passage of time, he mused that the man would likely have forgotten the incident. Surely, one instance of being stood up wouldn't be etched into memory for an entire month, would it? "Dear sir, we have only crossed paths twice. Must you harbor such animosity?" With this thought alleviating his concerns, Xin Yan lowered his head, intending to feign ignorance. As he brushed past, a slightly gravelly voice emanated from behind him. "Excuse me, student, you seem somewhat familiar. What is your name?" Ascending and descending the staircase, they exchanged glances. It dawned on him. This was a campus encounter, a leader addressing a student, reminiscent of a low-budget rendition of Your Name. Chapter 132. Who transformed the lowly girl into a blood mage? "Indeed, it is you." Upon seeing Xun Yan for the first time, the bespectacled gentleman finally smiled in relief. "Good day, teacher." Xin Yan replied politely, acknowledging the situation. Enough. I know you aren't called Kai Shuquan. You are Xin Yan, correct?" Had I not glanced at the honor roll, I might have been misled. The man waved his hand dismissively, suggesting they let bygones be bygones. "Haha, my apologies, teacher. I certainly did not wish to lose points." It's no matter. After all, I went back and deducted your personal points," the gentleman retorted lightheartedly. "Damn it. You've already deducted the points, and yet you speak so amiably about it," Xun Yan thought, nearly breaking into a sweat. Clearing his throat, The bespectacled gentleman approached and patted Shen Yan on the shoulder. Let us be clear, points are a matter for the school. Are you still selling fish, my dear student? Teacher, since you're interested in fish, I can offer you some, Shen Yan responded. That is quite unnecessary. It would be more appropriate for me to purchase them normally. I have sampled fish from the market recently, but I still find yours to be the freshest and most delicious, regardless of the preparation. I would feel remiss accepting them as a gift, the gentleman chuckled. Not at all, there are plenty of fish to go around, Shen Yan insisted. His firm stance leaving the gentleman somewhat at a loss. After pondering for a moment, the bespectacled man finally nodded. Very well, but I shan't accept without reciprocation. I plan to buy some crabs to give to you in return, a fair exchange. I've already placed the fish in the river. Tomorrow, teacher, just bring a net and bucket to the park and fish them out. The gentleman raised an eyebrow. Are you serious, child? Next time you are late, I shall deduct double the personal points. Do you have any further business, teacher? If not, I shall head to the classroom. Shen Yan grinned, resembling a mischievous elder. Late for class, reprimanded, points deducted, and now you seek fish? You seem to be reaping all the benefits. I genuinely only wish to sell fish. The gentleman nodded in understanding. The fish sold by Shen Yan possessed exquisite quality, tender and succulent, a taste that lingered on the palate, reminiscent of a delightful glide on ice. Transitioning from extravagance to frugality is indeed challenging. Once one has tasted the finest, the half-dead fish at the market no longer hold appeal. He had previously purchased from anglers. Yet they always seemed lacking, despite being lively. It felt as though he could never return to the past. Between fish, there exists a distinct disparity. He had considered that perhaps it was merely an issue with the particular fish, yet after scouring the entire market, he failed to find anything that satisfied his family's discerning tastes. It had become an obsession, a longing for the fish that had once brought them joy. Intending to purchase another fish from Shen Yan, should it fail to meet expectations, one could only lament the loss. Acknowledging that it was indeed a matter of the fish's quality, it is likely that such delectable fish may never be encountered again. However, if it proves to be as delightful as before, it would only serve to affirm Shen Yan's culinary prowess, allowing for frequent indulgence in such exquisite fare. Shen Yan scratched his head, pondering the existence of such extraordinary individuals. In his view, the entire school might as well be renamed the Genius Retirement Home, as the pursuit of a single fish had consumed the better part of 1 to 2 months, rendering humanity almost obsolete. It was all due to the mastery of fishing, where every catch seemed to be a paragon of the piscatorial elite. One could only dread the day when a fishing excursion might inadvertently bring forth an extinct species. Very well, I have some free time in the morning and will be at the market to sell for a while around 8 o'clock. Would you like some? Absolutely, exclaimed the bespectacled uncle, his face lighting up. You must reserve 2 for me. All right, but if the teacher catches me late next time, will I be spared from penalties? Not a chance, rules are rules. Well, at least that makes for a principled and incorruptible school leader. Shen Yan responded dismissively, eager to depart, resolved to limit his fish sales henceforth and retire gracefully. His hands had borne too much of the blood of prodigies. It was better for the fish to cultivate their own talents. Upon entering the classroom, he found the students engaged in idle chatter, as class had yet to commence. Xia Yanchun and Li Shiyan were enjoying the breeze in the corridor. The school forbade the use of hair dryers, leaving the hair of freshly washed girls damp and glistening. With no air conditioning or fans in the classroom, everyone flocked outside, infusing the corridor with the scent of shampoo. As Shen Yan approached, Li Shiyan, who had been laughing and joking with Xia Yanchun, caught sight of him and quickly tugged at Xia's sleeve, whispering a warning before turning away to feign nonchalance. So he is here now. I usually scold him right in front of him, Xia Yanchun remarked, unperturbed. What is this? Talking behind my back, are we? Shen Yan chimed in, his demeanor entirely devoid of anger. The critiques from Huang Chun were far more irksome, given their lack of familiarity. Whereas playful banter with Xia Yanchun was commonplace, considering he had often teased her as well. As for Li Shiyan, her opinions hardly mattered, especially when she joined in on the teasing. Spare yourself the melodrama. I can't even be bothered to scold you, Xia Yanchun scoffed. And you? Not me, not me. I didn't scold you, protested Li Shiyan, merely venting her frustrations about Shen Yan's intimidating nature, only to find herself inexplicably betrayed. Come on, I wouldn't scold you. Just teasing, she added, attempting to lighten the mood. Li Shiyan, feeling wronged, harbored a growing irritation. Did they truly perceive her as a soft target? She had already resolved to draw an exaggerated stick figure of Shen Yan in her notebook during evening study, a small act of retribution to convey her frustrations. Shen Yan remained silent, staring blankly at Xia Yanchun and Li Shiyan, or rather, at the system interface before him. Triggering side quest, the lament of the blood demon. You have encountered a dying blood demon. Legend has it that rescuing a dying blood demon will reward you with its treasure. Please attempt to save her. Reward, 5,000 gold coins. Shen Yan was taken aback. What on earth? Who is this blood demon? Raising his gaze, he beheld a somewhat naive yet endearing little girl, exuding an aura of both timidity and charm. After conversing with the young girl, the system task materialized. Could this possibly be the bloodthirsty blood demon? Is the system correct? Who transformed the young girl into a blood demon? Double updates, please. Chapter 133. Despite giving their all, they could not prevail. Previously, the saintess, the goddess of fate, and the disheartened adventurer were all at least human. Yet, with the young girl, she is no longer even human. The blood demon has arrived. Shen Yan found solace in this realization and chose to disregard them, returning to his seat in the classroom. His mind was preoccupied with the system's task. The blood demon must be the young girl. What then does it mean to save the blood demon? Could it be that the young girl is suffering from a terminal illness, requiring him to use miraculous healing to cure her? According to typical game conventions, a creature like a blood demon needs to drink blood. He cannot actually be expected to find blood for the young girl to drink. Setting aside whether the young girl would drink it, he found himself in a quandary. Who knew if animal blood would suffice? What if animal blood proved ineffective? Would that not necessitate human blood? Where could such a monster be found? This task was more perplexing than previous side quests. Shen Yin contemplated various possibilities, but upon deeper reflection, they seemed implausible. Resting his head on his hand, he recalled the evening study session, feeling utterly lost. As the weekend approached, he pulled out his phone, and everyone ceased their studies. Shen Yin propped his face in his hand and eagerly awaited the end of the school day. Finally exiting the school gate alongside Xia Yinshan. Today, I'm tired. You drive, he stated flatly, deftly pushing the small electric vehicle out and settling comfortably in the back seat, his legs more than sufficient to stretch across the entire vehicle. Normally, you are quite energetic. Why do you seem so drained today? Xia Yinshan inquired. I'm worn out from studying. You have no idea how many tasks I had to accomplish in a day. He replied. With her arms crossed, Xia Yinshan challenged him. What could you possibly have done all day at school? I exercised in the morning, bought you breakfast, diligently completed the weekly assessment in the morning, watched you for quite a while at noon, studied in the afternoon, and even tutored Chun Xiuyu in mathematics. I was preoccupied with academic matters throughout the evening. It's exhausting. Isn't that quite normal? Why are you so tired? Xia Yinshan had long seen through him. Pointing at Shen Yin's face, I can drive, but you are not allowed to cling to me. Then you can walk home, he retorted. Xia Yinshan wore an expression of as expected, as if she had struck a chord with him. We are all adults. We understand each other well enough. Isn't saying it out loud just going to make it awkward? Hurry up and get in the car. Adjusting her clothing, Xia Yinshan reluctantly took her seat in the front, deliberately shifting her small bag to the back to prevent Shen Yin from getting too close. Is it really necessary? Chun Bao? Fine, fine, Chun Bao is right. Shen Yin decided to indulge her, since she was indeed Chun Bao. While driving, his hand slowly made its way to the front, subtly resting on either side of Xia Yinshan's slender waist. The backpack merely prevented him from getting too close. It did not prohibit him from embracing her. Xia Yinshan felt a flutter in her heart as she was held. Fortunately, Shen Yin's hands remained respectful, merely resting on her waist like a child hugging an adult. If he dared to take advantage of her inability to retaliate while driving and cross the line, she would have to stop the car and teach him a stern lesson. The back seat is generally elevated, and Shen Yin himself is quite tall. Xia Yanchun's hair, pressed down by her helmet, can only weave its way towards his collarbone and chest, occasionally brushing against his neck, almost tickling his heart. You are so slim. It's somewhat comfortable to hold, she remarked. Could you please be quiet? Don't distract the driver, he replied. Xia Yanchun's heartbeat suddenly quickened. What is your weight again? He inquired. Asking a girl her weight is rather impolite. That's something only those with body image concerns would say. Do you have such concerns? No. But I want to tell you anyway. Why are you so fierce with me? Do you dislike me? A bit. Then just hold it in. I adore the way you look at me with disdain, yet are unable to do anything about it. Your resentful expression could easily fill 2 bowls of rice. You're crazy. Xia Yanchun fell silent, fearing that Shen Yin would shorten her lifespan with his antics. By the way, does the lowly girl have any peculiar little habits? Shen Yin decided to seize the opportunity to gather information. What peculiar habits? Why ask about that? Out of curiosity. Her usernames are 37-year-old lowly and chicken breast dipped in chocolate. Don't you find that odd? A bit, Xia Yanchun pondered, recalling that Li Shiyin once remarked on the ambiguous relationship between Bald Chong and Bear Tu. Well, no, and even if there were, I wouldn't tell you. What is wrong with having little quirks? She can enjoy her own company. What business is it of yours? What exactly are you curious about? Oh, my confusion is known only to the wind, Shen Yin continued. Does she have any health issues? What do you really want? Are you fond of her? Hey, don't say that. Shen Yin poked her helmet. I am wholeheartedly devoted to my own affairs. Don't slander me. Xia Yanchun's heartbeat quickened again, feeling as though her very being was overwhelmed, her heart blooming with several little flowers. Yet, she suppressed her emotions and casually inquired, so what do you want? Be honest and clear. I suspect the lowly girl might be unwell. Her usernames are increasingly eccentric. Is it possible she is merely a neurotic who can manage her life and emotions? Shen Yin silently apologized to the lowly girl, deciding to bring her more snacks next week. You, who can marry 8 wives, dare to criticize her? Unclear of Shen Yin's motives, Xia Yanchun decided to address the minor issue with Li Shiyin, which was not a secret. Many girls in their class were aware. Shiyin has no real issues. If I had to say, it's just a bit of low blood sugar, but it's not a major concern. Is that so? Low blood sugar is quite common. I suppose. Indeed, it seems she truly has no problems. Haha, I thought she was neurotic. Lowly girl, I apologize. I'll get you 2 more bottles of Wangzai milk. I'll tell Shiyin you've been bad-mouthing her behind her back. Just wait to be disliked by us. Hey, don't do that. It's really important for the 3 of us to get along well. Haha. In the parking shed of the community, Shen Yin exited the car first. Helping to secure it, Xia Yanchun removed her helmet, her hair tousled. Shen Yin raised his hand to gently smooth it down. Under the streetlight, he leaned slightly, catching a glimpse of Xia Yanchun's delicate face. The streetlight cast a soft glow, and he smiled, sensing that she appeared a tad flushed. No way. You must be mistaken. Xia Yanchun tightened the straps of her backpack, deliberately avoiding Shen Yin's gaze, softly humming to herself. As they entered the elevator together, Xia Yanchun spoke again. Tomorrow, Shiyin and I are going to the mall for Haidaleo. Will you join us? Consider it my treat. Such a delightful offer. If you're not coming, then forget it. Of course you should come, but you must mention it to Li Shiyin. I'll talk to her later. You needn't worry about that. As they approached their destination, Xia Yanchun retrieved her keys early, but in a moment of clumsiness. They clattered to the floor near Shen Yin's feet. She bent down quicker than him, picking up the keys and brushing them off. Next time, be more careful. You wouldn't want to inadvertently expose your lingerie, Shen Yin sighed, tugging at the loose collar of Xia Yanchun's top. Xia Yanchun was not at all annoyed by his unsolicited gesture. Reflecting on her past mischief of pulling down Shen Yin's pants when he was distracted, she felt a pang of guilt at his current concern for her modesty. She adjusted her collar once more, thanking him. No need for thanks. I've already seen everything. He replied dismissively. The sky had fallen. Outside her home, she unexpectedly encountered a familiar rogue from her 18 years of acquaintance, feeling utterly powerless against him. Chapter 134. One must choose between a gentleman and honesty. Xia Yanchun, feeling flustered, covered her collar and playfully kicked Shen Yin's shins. You shouldn't have looked. And to speak of it, too, I could kick you to death. After several kicks, Shen Yin attempted to retrieve the keys to open the door, but Xia Yanchun pressed his hand down, delivering a few more kicks for good measure. All right, I won't mention it again next time, okay? Xia Yanchun huffed, finally releasing him. With her arms crossed over her chest, she admonished him. Is that really the point? Could you not be a gentleman? You should really avoid looking. Oh, what use is being a gentleman? I must choose between being a gentleman and being honest, after all. That is nonsense. All right, I truly apologize. It's getting late. Let us hurry back to wash up and sleep. By the way, what time are we going to eat tomorrow? Let us see how things go at noon. All right, just call me when you head out. Good night. Having just been subjected to his teasing gaze at her collar, Xia Yanchun, despite kicking him several times, found herself reluctant to say good night to Shen Yin. She couldn't afford to show him any kindness. He would surely take advantage of it. However, it was indeed peculiar that Shen Yin hadn't retaliated at all. Was he perhaps refraining from acting out of a desire to remain close? Just as this thought crossed her mind, Xia Yanchun shook her head, dismissing it. Such notions should not even exist. Now, she should focus on pleasant thoughts. After all, when Shen Yin admitted his fault, he had called her sister. Sister. Humph, he called her sister again. Even Ron's sister still counts as sister. How did you know I'm Shen Yin's sister? Xia Yanchun felt a swell of pride, inexplicably wishing for Shen Yin to call her sister in front of Li Shiyin. It felt rather exhilarating. You should go to bed early too. In high spirits, though she did not say good night. Xia Yanchun added a casual remark and turned to open the door. With a click, the door swung open to reveal a pitch-black room. As she leaned in to switch on the light, she heard Shen Yin call her name once more. The door to Shen Yin's home has swung open. Yet he remains standing at the threshold. Why not return home? Might I not receive a hug today? I find it difficult to rest without it. Did you not embrace me in the car? Day in and day out. It becomes tedious, doesn't it? Xia Yanchun retreats into the house, leaving a narrow crack in the door, peering out with one half of her face visible, her eyes sparkling with mischief. It's said that the car ride doesn't count. Hurry, I am utterly exhausted. As Shen Yin approaches, Xia Yanchun feels a twinge of anxiety, preparing to shut the door at any moment. However, Shen Yin merely stands there, grinning foolishly, making her feel somewhat self-indulgent. Oh, you truly are. Xia Yanchun pouts slightly, swinging the door open, her petite frame nuzzling into Shen Yin's embrace. Her arms, resembling slender peach wood, gently encircle his substantial waist. Let us embrace. Let us embrace, seeing as you call me sister. Yet, this time, Xia Yanchun has learned from experience. Before Shen Yin can wrap his arms around her, she twists away nimbly, like a little fox, and the door snaps shut with a decisive thud. Shen Yin scratches his face, realizing he has missed the embrace but has nonetheless received a fleeting hug from Xia Yanchun. Well, that is not so bad. I'll refrain from complaining. The following day, before the sun ascends the mountains, Shen Yin has already completed an hour of exercise with effortless ease, thanks to the enhancement from glimmering training. His physical fitness has visibly improved, and even his muscles have become more pronounced. Unlike the brawny figures often seen in gyms, his physique appears healthy. He hasn't resorted to drugs, nor has he ever consumed protein powder. His muscles do not detract from his appearance, unless he intentionally flaunts them. He looks much as he always has, simply a touch sturdier. It seems his metrics are slightly elevated. Observing Shen Yin's daily dedication, the elderly gentleman, a regular at the park, beams with pride. You are simply like my grandson, he says, stroking his beard. Shen Yin responds. Are you not too old to be making such remarks? If one day I fail to see you here, I shall have to purchase some firecrackers to celebrate your departure. The old man chuckles. Recently, I've noticed people commenting on videos saying, this is simply me. Am I in the right place? What I mean is, you are precisely the grandson of my dreams. If my grandson were as diligent as you, he wouldn't have scored a mere 400. Struggling to gain admission to university. Noticing Shen Yin's expression falter, he quickly clarifies. Oh, I see. I thought you were scolding me. I regret my earlier words. A misunderstanding indeed. The elder, with a hint of disappointment, responds. Do the youth of today lack respect for their elders? Have the wicked diminished? Or have the petty turned malevolent? Alas, I shan't dwell on the shortcomings of the younger generation. By the way, how have your recent exams fared? The old man and Shen Yin have grown quite familiar, their conversations flowing effortlessly. Not particularly well. I scored around 620. You are truly like my grandson. Cough cough. What I mean is, you are the embodiment of how my grandson perceives himself. Shen Yin chuckles and engages in casual banter. Speaking of which, do you not fear being scolded by your wife for attending the square dance every day? Scold me. It is she who encourages me to come and watch. Wouldn't you agree? Shen Yin applauds, appreciating the enduring love of the older generation. After a brief conversation, Shen Yin swiftly departed, realizing that conversing with his elder could induce a cerebral thrombosis. Even brain supplements would prove futile. He found himself at his familiar breakfast spot, a place he frequented after incorporating exercise into his routine, thus becoming a regular fixture. The proprietor, with a warm smile, immediately prepared to pack Shen Yin's order upon his arrival, without uttering a single word. However, Shen Yin stood before the stall for a moment, gently shook his head, and turned towards a neighboring establishment. The owner stood in perplexity for a while. Had the day darkened? Oh, it was simply the sky falling. Shen Yin had already procured some buns, and began to munch on them as he walked. There was no ulterior motive behind this. It was merely a whimsical act that left a bewildered proprietor in its wake. Today, it was the familiar breakfast shop owner's turn to be mystified. He intended to return as a regular patron tomorrow, hoping that this peculiar behavior would not diminish the owner's fondness for him. He simply wished to switch up his culinary experience. What was wrong with that? Around 8 o'clock, he went fishing in the park, swiftly dealing with the bespectacled uncle at the market. The uncle was quite courteous, offering the fish as a gift, and although he did not pay Shen Yin, he did buy him a small bag of shrimp. Perhaps it was too early. He hadn't even encountered the usual fishing uncle. The weather was delightful. Upon returning home, Shen Yin retreated to his room to immerse himself in an advanced online course. It was not until midday that there was a gentle knock on his door. Just as he removed his headphones, the door swung open to reveal a graceful, sweet-looking girl standing at the threshold, her almond-shaped eyes cautiously surveying the scene. It was evident that she had put thought into her outfit. She wore a simple yet stylish autumn coat paired with loose-fitting trousers, exuding the aesthetic charm of the season. Her usual ponytail had fallen loosely over her shoulder, radiating vitality intertwined with a hint of gentle softness. Are you actually studying? It's quite unbelievable, Xia Yanxun remarked, pouting and dismissing Shen Yin's customary appraisal. Every time she donned new attire, Shen Yin would inevitably comment on it. You get criticized for studying and for not studying. If you want to scold me, just go ahead and do it, Shen Yin muttered. How could I dare to scold you? Hurry up and get ready. We need to prepare for our trip to the mall. You promised to treat me, she insisted. Indeed, he replied, having showered that morning. Shen Yin simply donned a jacket and changed his shoes before heading out. Noticing that Shen Yu had not emerged from her room, he called out, promising to order some hei for her, before putting on his shoes and stepping out with Xia Yanxun. While waiting for the elevator, Shen Yin couldn't help but remark, you're a bit adorable. Did you just realize that? I've known for quite some time, Xia Yanxun replied without a hint of shyness. No. I probably only came to that conclusion a month or two ago. Before that, I thought you were similar to a goblin, he teased. Are you trying to get yourself killed? She exclaimed, feigning nonchalance as she tugged at her hands. So, what made you suddenly find me adorable a month or two ago? That's a taboo topic, Shen Yin replied. Then what is the point of this conversation? Enough of that. The elevator has arrived, he chuckled, and as the doors opened, he playfully brushed his fingers against Xia Yanxun's small hand. She did not react, emboldening him to intertwine his fingers with hers, gently grasping her pinky. Chapter 135. A gentle touch, not a hand-holding. Shen Yin tightly grasped the young girl's little finger, delicate and petite, giving it a gentle squeeze before entwining her ring finger as well. Xia Yanxun felt a noticeable warmth rise within her, as if her hair had become tousled. She tugged her arm forcefully, wishing to free herself from Shen Yin's hold, yet he showed no intention of releasing her. Let go. Just until we reach the parking shed, she thought. Shen Yin grinned, feeling quite content. He believed that ambiguity should be savored gradually. Noticing his demeanor, Xia Yanxun pouted slightly. Considering they were soon to enjoy a lavish meal, she decided against further vexation. However, she couldn't resist adding, this isn't hand-holding. Let me just give you a little squeeze. Isn't this still hand-holding? I said it isn't, so it isn't. You should refrain from speaking so much. All right, your hands are yours to command, Shen Yin replied, feeling satisfied. As they descended the elevator, he held onto two of Xia Yanxun's fingers. Despite her seemingly indifferent demeanor and few words, her youthful innocence was palpable, nearly spilling forth. Even in silence, Shen Yin could sense her shyness. He reached up to tuck a loose strand of hair behind her ear, revealing her fair skin, which had taken on a soft rosy hue, reminiscent of a ripe peach. Her face flushed. Stop it. Is a mere squeeze not enough? Must you make me feel embarrassed? I won't say another word. Your embarrassed expression is quite endearing, Shen Yin remarked, fearing she might bring up past grievances, so he obediently steered the cart away. Today, he was driving while Xia Yanxun sat in the back seat, resting her hand on his shoulder. After donning her helmet, she felt considerably better. The heat in her cheeks was overwhelming, leaving her nowhere to hide. Initially, her hand rested on Shen Yin's shoulder, but prior to setting off, he lifted her small hand and placed it on his waist. Do you simply enjoy holding on like this? Every day? Xia Yanxun huffed, her hands dropping as she leaned against Shen Yin's shoulder, gazing at him through the rearview mirror. I like it, Shen Yin stated candidly. He had already expressed his feelings, and there was no need for pretense. His forthrightness left Xia Yanxun at a loss for words, prompting her to hide her face, making it impossible for him to catch her gaze in the mirror. Nevertheless, her hands around his waist remained steadfast, occasionally pinching his flesh or playfully poking his skin with her nails, as if punishing him for his honesty. Upon arriving at the mall, Li Shiyan had arrived early, already queuing at the milk tea shop. When Shen Yin and Xia Yanxun found her, she promptly handed them the drinks. After all, who would feel embarrassed to accept a kind gesture from a female classmate? Shen Yin felt perfectly at ease. It was merely a matter of classmates treating one another to milk tea, nothing extraordinary. Now that we've accepted her milk tea, you'll have to help us carry things while we shop. Xia Yanxun had regained her composure, sipping through her straw and murmuring playfully. Accepting gifts is fine. It's not a complicated equation. So what? Shen Yin inadvertently triggered a small chain of teasing remarks. If you keep this up, you might end up without a girlfriend. Xia Yanxun began to speak, but abruptly fell silent. The decision of whether Xinyan would find a girlfriend seemed to rest with her. The thought made her feel both bashful and a tad exhilarated. I've got him in the palm of my hand. How delightful. Go ahead and say it. Humph. Such behavior may earn you disdain. Xinyan was curious to hear what Xia Yanshun could possibly say, yet this was the outcome? He glanced towards Li Shiyan, who, before he could utter a word, shivered slightly, shaking her head like a rattle drum, her single ponytail swaying back and forth. Utterly oblivious to the hair strand caught at the corner of her mouth. It's my favorite cotton candy, she remarked, kicking it aside without a second thought. Initially, Xinyan had no intention of helping Li Shiyan carry her belongings, and she dared not speak up, quietly managing the burdens alone. However, the sheer volume of her bags proved cumbersome, prompting Xinyan to take on a portion of her load. After all, Xinyan was a well-known Good Samaritan in the area, especially after having scolded a certain lowly girl the night before. So they were indeed headed to Miniso again. Having already visited one mall, they now opted for another. Girls can be quite something. Xinyan had merely wished to enjoy a meal at Hadaleo, yet he found himself trailing behind the two girls for a solid half hour. When girls go shopping, they simply cannot resist glancing at anything visually appealing. Xinyan felt the stereotype was confirmed. In the eyes of the two girls, he had become practically invisible. Hadaleo's discount period commenced at 2:30 in the afternoon, offering university students a discount of 60 to 90%. Li Shiyan had procured her university sister's Alipay, ensuring that Xia Yanshun could pay less when the time came. How thoughtful. Xia Yanshun felt overwhelmed, realizing how vital it was for the three of them to enjoy life together. At 2:30, the two girls settled down in Hadaleo. Xinyan intended to sit beside Xia Yanshun, but she, with a playful pout, pushed him to take a seat opposite her. Xinyan felt no annoyance. His elegant fingers gently tapped on the table. Whether Xia Yanshun displayed a pleasant demeanor or not mattered little. What was significant was that during their moments alone, he could now hold her hand freely. Here, order whatever you wish. This meal is on me, Xia Yanshun offered, handing her tablet to Xinyan. Rest assured, I have never been one to stand on ceremony with you. Perhaps you should be a bit more courteous. My wallet cannot withstand your extravagant tastes, Xia Yanshun retorted. A hint of irritation in her voice. What extravagant tastes? I merely have well-defined abs, he countered. Indeed, he had a hearty appetite, but his abs were undeniably real. Xia Yanshun tightened her grip slightly. She had touched them herself. Ahem. It was Xinyan who had asked her to embrace him, not her own desire to explore. She needed to clarify that distinction. The more she pondered, the more flustered she became. Under the table, her white sneakers extended towards Xinyan's shoe, playfully nudging it. Xinyan raised an eyebrow, his eyes seemingly conversing. Ah, surprise attack, is it? It seems I must add an extra order of crispy pork. He tapped the tablet. Amused by the thought of Xia Yanshun's little wallet suffering significant losses, Xia Yanshun quickly withdrew her foot, opting for a moment of tranquility. She resolved to give him a playful kick or two after Li Shiyan departed. Meanwhile, Li Shiyan was blissfully engaged, watching a seasoning tutorial on her phone, completely oblivious to the fierce skirmish unfolding beneath the table. After finishing the video, she excitedly insisted on preparing condiments for both Xia Yanshun and Xinyan. The resulting sauce was tangy and spicy, wholly unsuitable for Xia Yanshun's palate, ultimately leading her to concoct a different dipping sauce by her own hand. Wow, Xiaochun. Even your shoe soles taste delightful. Fortunately, I had learned to prepare it by watching videos and had memorized the recipe after a few tastings. Did you often dine with Xinyan before? Li Shiyan's large eyes flitted between the two. Xinyan shook his head. No, this is my first time eating here. You've been here a few times without inviting me. Oh, but you live so close. Why didn't you go out to eat together? Back then, our relationship was strained. You were always huffing at me like a dragon. How could you take me out? Hey, are you trying to get yourself killed, Xinyan? Only speaking ill of others while ignoring your own faults? Look at how fierce you were back then. I was too scared to hang out with you. It made me cry. Chapter 136. Loyalty is correct amidst the clamor. The dishes arrived at the table. Xinyan had indeed ordered an extra serving of crispy meat, along with half a portion of tripe and duck tongues. He alone had ordered over 200 worth. Ever since the system was introduced, his spending threshold had expanded significantly. In the days when his budget was merely 800 a month, he would never dare to spend 200 on a single meal, needing to save for his game subscription, often running short and having to ask his sister for more coins. Unlike adults burdened with car and mortgage loans, he wasn't excessively affluent. However, the 10,000 yuan in his account was more than sufficient for a high school student to enjoy life. As he observed Xia Yanshun's pained expression while ordering, he couldn't suppress a chuckle. Weren't you quite arrogant when stepping on me? Why the frown now? Is it because you wish not to? It was my turn to smile. The golden apple had transformed into an enchanted golden apple. Delicious indeed. Xia Yanshun's gaze held a hint of melancholy. Although she had claimed to be treating, she hadn't intended for Xinyan to be so extravagant. Her wallet was bound to suffer. Eat, eat, eat. Remember to use the serving chopsticks. Since such meals were infrequent, Xia Yanshun didn't raise any objections, reminding them as she picked up food. Understood. If we can't finish all this, I'll hold you responsible. No worries. If there's leftovers, I'll pack them for my sister. Li Shiyan, wrapped in her scarf, resembled a little chef as she swiftly placed food into the pot. Some slices of meat required merely 7 or 8 seconds to cook. Once she deemed them ready, she hurriedly fished them out. She placed the meat in Xia Yanshun's plate, while Xinyan would have to serve himself. Even with serving chopsticks and spoons, it felt somewhat ambiguous to serve a boy in such a manner. She and Xinyan did not share the kind of relationship, whereas Xia Yanshun seemed to harbor a subtle ambiguity with Xinyan. Regrettably, Xia Yanshun showed no inclination to serve Xinyan. Instead, She fished out 2 meatballs for Li Shiyan. I feel I am enduring a silent bullying. Just eat your own. You eat yours. Give me your tripe. I want to serve my own food. There's no rule saying I can only eat what I ordered. Such a delightful occurrence. A storm of laughter filled the air, and Xin Yan found it somewhat familiar. Upon raising his head, he was greeted by the sight of Yan Yuzhu, who locked eyes with him. Xin Yan? Teacher Yan. Are you here for Haidaleo as well? Yes, I came with your Su teacher and a few other teachers from the office. Yan Yuzhu chuckled softly, only to notice that Xin Yan was seated opposite Xia Yanchun and Li Shiyan, and she greeted them while adjusting her hair. Some individuals, upon encountering their teachers outside, would prefer to keep their heads down, but Xin Yan and Xia Yanchun were relatively composed. However, Li Shiyan appeared somewhat shy, her voice barely above a whisper. Her naturally reserved demeanor became even more pronounced in the presence of her teacher. Su Keshi and 2 other teachers joined them, surprised to see Xin Yan with the 2 girls. They had previously noticed Xin Yan and Xia Yanchun commuting to school together, indicating a close relationship. Yet they were taken aback by his rapport with Li Shiyan as well. Was Xin Yan enjoying a fairy tale existence? Or was it merely a classic scenario of a couple accompanied by a third wheel? Nevertheless, Su Keshi decided not to meddle. As long as they maintained decorum within the school, she would turn a blind eye, much like the other classmates in their school romances, which were not overly ostentatious. Hello. Teachers, Xia Yanchun and Li Shiyan greeted Su Keshi in succession. There's no need for such formality outside of school, Su Keshi replied with a smile, then turned her gaze to Xin Yan. He cast her a sidelong glance before biting into a crispy snack. Aren't you joining us for a bite, teacher? Haha. You all enjoy yourselves. I'll be at that table over there. Oh, just a bit of pleasantry, she remarked. As it was customary in their culture to inquire if one would stay for a meal before parting ways, a practice that extended to restaurants as well. Are you really going to eat? Li Shiyan asked. Teacher, how can you bear to mooch off our hot pot at nearly 30? After exchanging a few more words, Su Keshi settled down at another table with the other teachers, focusing on her own meal. There were only a limited number of places to enjoy nearby, and encountering each other outside was quite normal. Besides, she had an appointment for a manicure soon. Meanwhile, Xin Yan was enjoying his meal, and later, Yan Yuzhu brought over a plate of fish slices worth 48 yuan. Shouldn't he be nominated as one of the top 10 most touching figures of the year? Loyal Yan Yuzhu was indeed correct. Xin Yan savored his food, contemplating the system's tasks while fetching some watermelon slices. The petite Li Shiyan, with her slight hypoglycemia, had a craving for the duck slices Xin Yan ordered. Seizing the opportunity while he was away, she quickly grabbed a couple of pieces with her chopsticks. Unlike Xia Yanchun, who could effortlessly take food from Xin Yan, Li Shiyan hesitated to reach for the duck slices, waiting instead for Xin Yan or Xia Yanchun to cook them before stealthily retrieving a few to enjoy. She had consumed quite a bit of beef tripe already, and her stomach was beginning to feel full. Upon returning with the watermelon, Xin Yan plopped himself down. You all must be nearly full. Have some watermelon to cleanse your palate. Xia Yanchun let out a satisfied burp, wiping her lips with a napkin. That should suffice. Check what can be packed up to take home for your sister. And you? Have you had enough? Almost. Just one more bite. Li Shiyan blinked a couple of times, feeling that she had reached her limit, and carefully placed the warm duck slices onto her plate. The duck blood, cooked to perfection in the hot pot and paired with a meticulously crafted dipping sauce, bears a striking resemblance to the renowned spicy dish known as Mao Shui Wang. The flavors are a delightful combination of spiciness and savory richness, with a pleasing texture. Li Shiyan, with her refined dining etiquette, takes small bites, occasionally making a delicate sound as she savors each morsel, embodying the grace of a young lady. Xin Yan, casting a casual glance, found his thoughts drifting towards Xia Yanchun, who, having indulged in her meal, bore a resemblance to Shun Yu, languidly reclining on the sofa. Had she been at home, she might have sprawled out with the same carefree abandon as Shun Yu. Post-meal, she resembled a contented creature, akin to a pig in its leisure, though this comparison pertains solely to her behavior. In truth, Xia Yanchun possesses a well-proportioned figure. When clothed, she is nearly flawless, though the reality remains uncertain when her garments are shed, as Xin Yan had yet to witness that side of her, having only known her from childhood. One thing is certain, her abdomen is not particularly slender, lacking the defined lines showcased in videos. It is soft and slightly plump, reminiscent of the warmth of a summer cloud. She is not one to engage in physical exercise often. Even a mere 800-meter run leaves her breathless. Nevertheless, she surpasses Li Shiyan in this regard, for if Li Shiyan were to attempt the same distance, her chances of collapsing would escalate dramatically. In a moment of distraction, a notification suddenly appeared on the system panel. Side quest, The Grief of the Blood Demon, completed, reward, 5,000 gold coins. Xin Yan pondered, perplexed. Chapter 137. How does this differ from mere conversation? Xin Yan's eyes widened in disbelief. Not my comrade. System, you are being rather sentimental. Although I have done nothing, you still deem the task complete, correct? We are comrades, so why not simply grant me the reward? His phone vibrated, revealing a blank bank notification. Xin Yan was genuinely bewildered. What of the promised blood demon and the rescue? Transforming a young girl into a blood demon could be understood, and the term grief might refer to low blood sugar. Yet what of the rescue? Who was saved, pray tell? He initially thought the system was malfunctioning until he noticed Li Shiyan delicately feeding herself pieces of duck blood, which prompted him to chuckle in relief. He had thought blood sugar was in play, only to realize it was indeed blood. Consuming a couple of pieces of duck blood could be considered a means of replenishment, couldn't it? Xin Yan stroked his chin, realizing the truth. Duck blood was, in fact, blood, and seemingly without flaw. It was indeed a case of you are what you eat. He perused his phone, discovering that his bank account had swelled to over 20,000. Discounting the previous purchase of a small electric vehicle, he now stood as a formidable individual with 30,000 in reserves. Surely, it is quite impressive for an ordinary high school student from a humble background to possess such wealth. Graduating from high school and buying a car without needing to resort to fishing for money, solely relying on the rewards from the system. Not to mention the hidden quest valued at 10,000, yet to be completed. This hidden quest is rather enigmatic. Shun Yin is but a step away from completion. Yet the preceding tasks, involving the goddess of fate and 2 items, were achieved purely by chance. Had he not returned to his hometown during the National Day holiday, the goddess of fate would still remain unknown to him. The final item, raft of poetry and painting, remains an enigma, leaving him to rely on fate. Having satisfied their appetites, Xia Yanchun proceeded to settle the bill on her tablet. Such indulgent spending could only be a rare occurrence. Next time, she would not treat Xin Yan's guest, who had an insatiable appetite. This fellow could truly consume 3 large bowls of rice, even in a state of extreme anger. With their stomachs full, the enthusiasm for shopping had significantly waned, and Xin Yan was tasked with carrying their belongings. As they passed a lottery shop, Xin Yan beckoned to Xia Yanchun and Li Shiyan. Ahem, Li Shiyan, come here. We need to discuss something, he chuckled mischievously. Li Shiyan, being singled out, felt a flicker of joy. Finally, she was no longer the little girl. What is it? She inquired, raising an eyebrow in an adorable manner. Have you ever played the lottery? I'll treat you to some. Xin Yan gestured towards the scratch cards. Both she and Xia Yanchun had dabbled in them before, but infrequently. Xia Yanchun had won 200 on her first try, while Xin Yan had yet to win a single cent, with the winning numbers seemingly avoiding him like a plague. Li Shiyan, evidently inexperienced, glanced between Xia Yanchun and Xin Yan, contemplating for a moment before shyly admitting, if Xia Yanchun plays, then I will too. But you should just treat her. I have my own money. Why not indulge a little? If I don't spend at least something after mooching off lunch and milk tea, it would be rather inappropriate, wouldn't it? I'll treat each of you to 2 30 yuan tickets. If you win, we'll split it. If not, it won't cost you a thing. With his insistence, Xia Yanchun felt no need to be polite with Xin Yan, although Li Shiyan still felt a bit hesitant and had no intention of letting Xin Yan pay for her. However, as they reached the scratch card shop, Xin Yan swiftly purchased 120 yuan worth. Consider it my treat. Let us not be too formal. He flashed a smile at Li Shiyan. If you win, just treat me to a meal at Crazy Thursday. Well, I suppose I'll share half of it with you since it is your money. It was her first encounter with someone so insistent on giving away lottery tickets, but she found it rather agreeable and hoped for more. Since it was a harmless endeavor, Li Shiyan did not decline further. She watched as Xia Yanchun scratched her tickets, 2 30 yuan cards, with the second yielding 100 yuan. It was neither a loss nor a significant gain. Small wins and losses were the norm for such games. Shiyan, it's your turn. Hurry and give it a try. Okay. Li Shiyan clutched 2 tickets and awkwardly began to scratch them. Xia Yanchun leaned in to compare the numbers, her almond-shaped eyes widening in astonishment. One ticket revealed 1,000 yuan, and the other 500. Did we really win? Xin Yan quickly leaned closer. Indeed we did. Hee, what a fortunate day. Li Shiyan beamed, her spirits soaring. In fact, she had found a 20 yuan note on her way out of school. What a lucky day indeed. After hastily redeeming her winnings, she eagerly scratched her second ticket, but alas, it yielded only one number, resulting in 500 yuan. Shiyan, your luck is remarkable, Xin Yan exclaimed. Today is truly a great day for you. Overjoyed, Li Shiyan decided to spend her own money on another ticket. However, winning consecutively proved to be unrealistic, and her third scratch card resulted in a loss. 2,000 yuan is already quite substantial. Even if she were to give Shun Yan 1,000, it would still amount to an unearned profit for her. Holding on to that sum left her feeling uneasy, as the original capital was provided by Shun Yan. Thus, these 2,000 should rightfully belong to Shun Yan. If she did not return it, it would feel as if she owed Xin Yan a debt of gratitude. How about I return 500 more? No need, keep it. We agreed on just half. I turned 120 into 1,000, which is quite a windfall. If you feel uneasy about accepting this money, the next time we go out, it will be your treat. Alright, next time I'll treat you all to a feast. Xin Yan cheerfully replied. It was indeed wise to have Li Shiyan come and strike the lottery, without any malevolent influence to siphon off the luck of the little girl. They could only bring her along. A solemn promise was made. We pledge not to exploit the girl unless we find ourselves in dire financial straits. Having dined well and made a profit, Shun Yan's spirits soared, and she walked as if buoyed by a spring in her step. The two girls chattered animatedly, initially intending to return home, but upon spotting a photo booth, Xia Yanchun excitedly tugged Li Shiyan to take pictures. The photo booth was a cozy little nook, shrouded by curtains that concealed its interior. The machine was adorned in soft pink, attracting primarily girls and a few timid boys. After a while, Xia Yanchun emerged with the photographs in hand. What did you take? Let me see, Xin Yan exclaimed. This is a girl's photo. What business do you have here? Aren't you the one who doesn't regard me as a man? I don't even regard you as a human. Xia Yanchun huffed. Yet she still allowed Xin Yan a glance at the pictures. The images featured the two girls playfully posing together, seemingly intimate. Li Shiyan made a gesture as if to kiss, though she did not actually do so, while Xia Yanchun mirrored the action. The remaining photos included playful peace signs and heart gestures, some even adorned with cat ear filters. How curious it was, had a male friend been present. He might have considered the opportune moment to extend a middle finger. Xia Yanchun tucked the photos into her bag and poked Xin Yan's arm with her finger. You should join us for a picture. Let us hurry. What would I want with such nonsense? Just take the picture. In her album, the only shared frame of her and Xin Yan dated back to middle school. She yearned to capture a high school moment together. So far, They had no photographs from this chapter of their lives. Even as rivals, they shared a bond that stemmed from their long acquaintance. Even those one despises exchanged yearbook photos. At one point, she even hoped that Shen Yin would attend the same university as her, despite their rivalry. Rivals may not share a bed, but they can certainly share a page in an album. Pouting, Xia Yanxun insisted that Li Shiyan wait outside while she ushered Shen Yin into the intimate photo booth. You rascal, Haki-chan. Shen Yin found herself trying this for the first time. It was merely a large camera with effects, albeit with mediocre resolution. Let us see the results. You actually photograph quite well. Shen Yin was self-aware enough to acknowledge her own charm. To be handsome while remaining oblivious would be overly contrived. Just 1 or 2 pictures will suffice. It will be quick. Xia Yanxun spoke animatedly, seemingly having adjusted some settings on the machine, resulting in Shen Yin sporting a moving pig nose sticker on his face. Surprisingly, it was rather endearing. Heh. Xia Yanxun's lips curled as her laughter erupted like a series of comical toots. Aren't you quite the poet? Don't you think this truly reflects your essence? Change it back, or I shall deliver a punch. Ahem. Xia Yanxun fiddled a bit more, and while the pig nose vanished, a pair of upright rabbit ears appeared atop Shen Yin's head. Before long, the rabbit ears morphed into pig ears, and Xia Yanxun was completely absorbed in her playful artistry. Who could comprehend the sense of redemption in the sight of the serious Shen Yin adorned with various adorable effects, particularly the baby filter, which left Xia Yanxun in fits of laughter. Shen Yin, visibly exasperated, wiped the sweat from his brow, questioning if he would actually be photographed, feeling the need to control the situation. All right, let us begin shooting now. Xia Yanxun stepped back a couple of paces, positioning herself alongside Shen Yin. And just as they posed with peace signs, a large hand unexpectedly wrapped around her waist, pulling her close to Shen Yin. Her heart raced, and with wide eyes, she playfully tapped his hand, whispering in a hushed tone to avoid being overheard by Li Shiyan. Why are you holding me? Isn't this a bit embarrassing? Did you consider embarrassment when you laughed at me for pulling down my pants as a child? That was all your fault. You stop talking. Shen Yin bent down to tuck a stray strand of hair behind her ear and gently brushed her flushed cheek. You're so close to Li Shiyan. Perhaps I should adopt a similar approach. We're merely posing. I know, I'll just mimic the pose. Shen Yin nudged her playfully. He carried a pleasant scent. And Xia Yanxun instinctively bit her lip, her gaze filled with thoughts of him, but she quickly averted her eyes, feeling flustered. Such intimate gestures left her in a state of panic. How is this any different from being in a relationship? Today, I've written 5,000 words. Chapter 138. Sulking and making Shen Yin guess Li Shiyan was a girl, and when Xia Yanxun took photos with her, there were fewer reservations. A playful peck on the cheek, whether it be a peace sign or a heart gesture, all felt quite normal, provided the other person was a girl like her. Otherwise, it would appear overly ambiguous. Shen Yin was a boy, though she wished to regard him as anything but, it was simply impossible. Shen Yin was undeniably handsome. With flawless skin and a height of 6 feet, an undeniable reality. Not wanting to kiss his cheek, she muttered softly, we haven't reached that level yet. Alright then. Let us form a heart shape. Shen Yin grinned. Oh, come on, just keep your distance from me. Xia Yanxun edged away from Shen Yin, creating a gap between them that was as wide as a clenched fist. Shen Yin found it amusing, feeling as if they were engaged in a clandestine act. Xia Yanxun emitted a soft hum, extending her hand towards Shen Yin, forming a half-hearted heart shape before quickly retracting it, pouting, well, if not this. Let us just do a peace sign instead. That'll suffice. Come a little closer. Does this fellow not even make an effort? Since a peace sign is acceptable, then what was all that about earlier? Clearly, she had decided to indulge him, ready to take a heart photo together, yet here she was, speechless, perplexed by the man's sudden shift in demeanor. After adjusting the machine, Xia Yanxun reluctantly posed for a photo with Shen Yin. Despite being the one who had insisted on taking the sticker pictures, she found herself blushing, maintaining a stoic expression while making a peace sign, while Shen Yin, who had initially been disinclined to participate, wore a carefree smile. The two were nearly pressed against each other, with Shen Yin leaning in closer, making the proximity feel more intimate than the distance of a mere fist apart. Clutching the printed photo, Xia Yanxun exclaimed, I thought you really didn't want to take a picture. You look quite happy. I'm smiling because I held you for a moment, not because of the photo. Chumbao, your flushed cheeks resemble those of a sweet potato, he teased. Go away, Xia Yanxun retorted, her annoyance bubbling over as she forcibly took another set of pictures with Shen Yin, this time featuring playful pig nose and pig ear effects. After a while, once her face had cooled down, she finally allowed Shen Yin to leave. Li Shiyan had already seated herself a short distance away, and Xia Yanxun gleefully dashed over, presenting Shen Yin's comical pig-headed photo for them to share a laugh. However, Li Shiyan hesitated, suppressing her laughter, her lips pressed into a straight line. Shen Yin, scratching his ear, wondered what time it was, urging them to depart. Prompted by him, Xia Yanxun and Li Shiyan hurriedly gathered their belongings. The bus stop was on the other side, and as Li Shiyan waved goodbye to Xia Yanxun, she made her way to catch the bus alone. Only when it was just the two of them did Xia Yanxun finally relax. Let us head home. Wait, buy a cup of milk tea for my sister. I just texted her. Hurry up, she urged, pushing him along. Upon arriving at the milk tea shop, she looked at Shen Yin with eager anticipation as he queued to place their order. After enjoying hot pot, a refreshing fruit tea is indeed a delightful treat. I bought you the fruit tea, no need to thank me, he replied nonchalantly. This is only fair. I had no intention of thanking you, she retorted, lowering her gaze, akin to a young girl who had just procured some sweets. Just moments ago, she had felt irked by Shen Yin, yet inexplicably, her mood had shifted. Shen Yin, unable to decipher her thoughts, drove her back to the community. before they even reached the elevator. He effortlessly tossed the empty fruit tea bottle into the trash bin with precision. That was quite impressive. In the elevator, Shen Yin couldn't resist playfully brushing back Xia Yanchun's hair, wanting to say something flirtatious, but the image of their earlier photo session flashed in his mind, leaving him momentarily speechless. Ultimately, he settled for pinching her soft cheek. By the way, what happened to the photos? They're with me, why? Aren't you giving me mine? I paid for them, so they're mine by right. Why should I give you yours? Wasn't it supposed to be 2 copies? That's mine too, as I paid for it. Shen Yin's mouth twitched as his mind raced. What are you thinking about? I was wondering if I ever gifted you any undergarments in the past. You still want them back, huh? Xia Yanchun suddenly felt a pang of annoyance, her mind already crafting a post to publicly criticize Shen Yin on Zai Hongshu. This was truly worth mentioning, for it involved a genuine grievance. It was the sort of issue that any other girl would undoubtedly deem as peculiar behavior on Shen Yin's part. However, she was different. She had long lowered her standards concerning Shen Yin, considering him somewhat eccentric, to the point that his occasional odd behaviors seemed rather mundane to her. How infuriating, she thought, as she smoldered in silence, determined to make Shen Yin guess what was bothering her. Yet, Shen Yin paid her no mind, engrossed in teasing her instead. Upon returning home, Shen Yin discovered Shun Yu was absent, prompting him to knock on her door and rouse her from her slumber. Still sleeping? It's nearly dark, he exclaimed. I'm not sleeping, Shen Yu replied, flinging the door open with unkempt hair and a disheveled appearance, hardly resembling someone just awakened. Presumably, she had brushed her teeth and washed her face before retreating back to her room. Such was Shen Yu's nature, lazy as a sloth. Your Hataleo? Your milk tea, just send me 50, Shen Yin remarked. All day long, you only know how to ask your sister for money. Shen Yu, looking rather disheartened, hurriedly transferred 100 to Shen Yin and plopped down on the sofa with her snacks. You asked for 50, yet you sent 100? This is Jazz, sister. Xia Yanchun, the bad woman of Jazz, mused. With midterms approaching on Tuesday, Shen Yin dedicated his afternoon to studying. To him, intermediate magical creatures were merely akin to cute little girls. He dispatched 3 of them in one afternoon and answered a considerable number of questions correctly. His scores in the college entrance examination would undoubtedly be commendable, though he still lagged slightly behind Xia Yanchun. Success was just around the corner. Later that night, as Shen Yin emerged from the bathroom, the chill in the air had prompted him to indulge in a warm shower, leaving the bathroom shrouded in steam. With his hair damp, he intended to retreat to his room to enjoy a highly praised video game when Shen Yu suddenly called out to him. Brother, there's a small box of candy green grapes in the fridge. Please find a moment to deliver it to Xiaochun. What is this? When did you buy it? Shen Yin queried, opening the fridge to indeed find the box. Mom sent it over. I initially planned to ask you to fetch the package, but seeing your room in silence, I assumed you were studying, so I took it myself. We only kept a small box for ourselves. I was genuinely studying. Who would sleep in their room in the afternoon? Who is that lazy? Sister, would you? Try saying one more word, and I'll throw a slipper at your head. See if I want tea. Shen Yin deciphered the situation. It seemed Xia Yanchun's habit of wanting to shove shoes into her mouth was something she had learned from Shen Yu. Xia Yanchun sat at her desk, inserting the photo she had taken with Shen Yin into a small album. Flipping through the pages, she realized that they had captured memories from elementary, middle, and high school together, all neatly compiled. There was no ulterior motive. She simply wanted to take photographs, akin to those collectors in games who felt incomplete without certain items. It was indeed strange that 2 people who had played together for so long lacked a single joint photo, especially when she had only known Li Shiyan for a little over 2 years and already had several together. Ultimately, it simply felt more satisfying. Suddenly, a loud knock startled Xia Yanchun, causing her to jump in surprise. Outside, silence enveloped the air as she peered through the peephole, recognizing it was Shen Yin before she dared to open the door. What brings you here? Don't you have a key? You nearly gave me a heart attack knocking like that, Xia Yanchun remarked with a hint of melancholy in her voice. However, despite her shorter stature compared to Shen Yin, her ire carried little weight, especially since it was merely a minor grievance. Wouldn't it be even more startling if I simply walked in? He countered. What's this? Xia Yanchun chose to divert the conversation. Here, fruits sent by my mother, he replied, handing her a package. She examined it and exclaimed, oh, you even thought to bring me something. How considerate. There are still 2 bags of peanuts in the fridge. Go help yourself. Have you just finished bathing, Chuanbao? Shen Yin gently tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear, offering a soft smile. What of it? The moment she heard him call her Chuanbao, Xia Yanchun sensed that he was up to his usual tricks. All too often, she found herself inadvertently ensnared, his arm around her shoulders, his hand on her waist, or even him holding her close. It was prudent to remain cautious. It's been ages since I visited your home, he said, slipping past her into her room. Ages. Come on, don't just waltz into a girl's room. Chapter 139. You're not allowed to say that Shen Yin had always treated Xia Yanchun's home as his own. It was a case of mutual disregard, after all. Xia Yanchun had never respected his space either, often plopping herself down on his bed upon entering his room. Given her own actions, it was rather hypocritical to insist that boys shouldn't enter girls' rooms. This was the epitome of a top-tier social media user, both assertive and cunning. Thankfully, Shen Yin was adept at navigating forums, a match made in heaven. Upon witnessing Shen Yin enter her space, Xia Yanchun muttered a comment but chose to ignore him. After all, there was nothing scandalous in her room. Her undergarments were tucked away in the wardrobe, and she didn't believe Shen Yin was perverse enough to rummage through it. Even the most shameless individual must possess a limit. How could anyone behave in such a manner? She would genuinely be upset. As he passed by, she could distinctly detect the scent of the body wash lingering on Shen Yin, indicating he had indeed bathed. Even if he sprawled on her bed, She felt no inclination to admonish him. Previously, she had refrained from allowing him on her bed for fear of color transfer. After all, boys tended to sweat more and were often careless about bathing. While she couldn't speak for other girls, she certainly ensured that every inch of her body was scrubbed with body wash. Now that Shen Yin bathed regularly, he was undoubtedly much cleaner. The issue of color transfer was moot, allowing him to lounge on her bed without concern. Xia Yanxun placed half of the sunlit green grapes into a fruit bowl, saving the remainder in the fridge, and carried the bowl into her room. Just as she suspected, Shen Yin was indeed lounging on her bed, even draping her small blanket over his waist and thighs, while he fiddled with her phone, attempting to unlock it. You're invading someone else's privacy. One day you'll end up behind bars for 10 days or so. Would you call the police? Just because I wouldn't doesn't mean others wouldn't. Then it's no concern of mine. Other people's privacy is not my affair, and I'm not infringing on anyone's privacy. So, it's just me you're targeting? Xia Yanxun placed the fruit bowl on her desk, hands firmly planted on her hips, her tone exuding irritation. I did not invade your privacy. I didn't even access your phone. After 5 incorrect attempts, I must wait 30 minutes. Shen Yin is innocent. He clearly saw nothing. Shen Yin, you have gone too far. Xia Yanxun could no longer contain herself. She seized a plush pillow and hurled it at Shen Yin's face. The fluffy impact leaving him in a comical mess, adorned with 2 stray strands of hair. Shen Yin rolled on the bed, shielding his head. The act harmless and devoid of insult, merely a jest to amuse Chunbao. Once she ceased her onslaught, Shen Yin returned her phone, revealing he had only imposed a 1-minute restriction after all. It was merely the 4th attempt. Then you deserve to be hit, Xia Yanxun huffed, swiftly unlocking her phone, perplexed. I haven't changed my password. How could there be a 1-minute lock? It was deliberate. Shen Yin grinned, for Xia Yanxun had arrived too swiftly, and he hadn't yet made a 5th incorrect attempt to trigger a 30-minute lock. We are not familiar enough. I command you to gracefully roll off my bed. I refuse. Shen Yin snuggled deeper into the quilt, making it seem as if this were indeed his bed. Then remain stubborn. I shall see how long you can persist. Really? Xia Yanxun raised an eyebrow, utterly speechless. She genuinely feared this fellow might take her words as an invitation to linger until the early hours. With nothing more to say, Xia Yanxun decided to retreat into silence, sitting at her desk with a copy of Youth Digest, savoring green grapes as she read. She relished her fruit slowly, allowing the flavors to unfold, enjoying the sweetness that lingered, creating a delightful sense of relaxation, even with classes looming the next day. Huh, you are such a slacker. Shen Yin remarked, his dull eyes fixed on her. I am merely gathering material for my essays. You cannot hinder my pursuit of a better life, can you? Oh dear. Your words carry the essence of a little fairy. You frighten me, he teased. Is it defamation when one cannot attain something? Xia Yanxun rolled her eyes at his antics. Shen Yin rose from the bed, moved to the edge, and sat at her desk, plucking a grape for himself, chewing noisily, clearly on purpose. How disgusting, Xia Yanxun thought, feeling the urge to strike him with a toy again. The exam is on Tuesday. Aren't you going to review? I have reviewed. After dinner, I completed 3 practice papers. Impressive. Good to know. What is this? Shen Yin noticed a thick booklet on the edge of the desk, the clasp still unfastened, and without waiting for Xia Yanxun's consent, he reached for it. It's the family album. I brought it when I moved in. Xia Yanxun glanced at it, her tone indifferent. Why haven't I seen you take it out before? I nearly forgot. It was shown when Yin visited my home. Shen Yin flipped through it. The back cover bore a heartfelt inscription. May we fold our memories into warmth. Let companionship crystallize into sweet familiarity, and may our home forever be a gentle harbor. This is indeed a family album. The first page displayed a family portrait of Xia Yanxun's family, slightly yellowed despite being sealed, a testament to the passage of time. At that time, Xia Yanxun was still a little sprite, her angelic appearance concealing a soul that only Shen Yin truly understood. The adage "don't judge a book by its cover" resonates with ancient wisdom. Following that were snapshots from elementary and middle school. Occasionally, he would stumble upon his own photographs, evoking vague, indistinct memories, faint echoes that, at first glance, resembled the loving families depicted in television dramas. Indeed, there was a semblance of familial affection. Yet one could not be certain if Xia Yanxun regarded him as merely a pet dog back then. This was not without precedent. In childhood games of make-believe, he was not only the father but also the son, and even the family dog was portrayed by him. He nearly succumbed to the whims of a mischievous girl. But fortunately, his skill surpassed hers. Turning the page past the middle school graduation photo, he encountered the recent photo booth images, with no transition between the 2 snapshots. The mischievous Xia Yanxun, still in her youthful innocence, had suddenly transformed into a charming young lady, while Shen Yin had evolved from a mere brat into someone extraordinary. Shen Yin chuckled, a sound both unsettling and mirthful. Your laughter is quite nauseating, Xia Yanxun quipped. So you were this attractive in middle school? A mere glance might lead one to think you have a penchant for younger girls. Yuck. Xia Yanxun stepped back, her expression one of disgust. You seem like the type to have such inclinations. I might just have to report you. Shen Yin closed the album, pressing his eyelids down. I was only jesting. Do I really need to divulge my preferences to you? Xia Yanxun's long eyelashes fluttered, her motion of flipping through the pages abruptly halted. In the depths of her consciousness, where even her awareness barely reached, a delicate peony blossomed quietly beneath the morning star. Xia Yanxun, concealing her embarrassment, leaned forward slightly, her hands overlapping as she covered Shen Yin's mouth. You mustn't speak. Shen Yin grasped her hands, gently pulling them down to hold both of her small hands in his. If you won't speak, I shan't either. But we both know the truth. Chapter 140. You are a pervert. This was the first time Shen Yin held both of Xia Yanxun's hands. Her veins were distinctly visible, adorned only with fine down and pores, her skin a pristine white that felt soft and cool to the touch. It took a moment before they warmed in his grasp. The sensation of his fingertips gliding over the back of her hand brought him great joy. Xia Yanchun leaned forward slightly, as he held her hand and pulled back. She could have easily fallen into his embrace. Yet, Shun Yan refrained, wishing to savor the softness of her delicate hand a moment longer, to relish the growing shyness of the little one before him. Xia Yanchun's cheeks gradually flushed, allowing him to caress her hand for about 10 seconds before she deftly withdrew it, clutching it to her chest to prevent further contact. Have you had your fill? Shen Yan scratched his head, a bit foolishly. Did you just evolve into a tomato right before my eyes? Haki-chun, do you dare to challenge me? Of course. Xia Yanchun cupped her face, feeling the warmth that could no longer be concealed. Resigned to her fate, she allowed Shen Yan to scrutinize her from various angles. Her blush was not a rare occurrence, and Shen Yan's teasing had reached a new peak. Unable to contain herself, she slipped into the bathroom to wash her face. Her damp hair clinging to her forehead, rendering her even more delicate. Xia Yanchun opened the door and window, creating a flow of wind. The autumn breeze at this height was quite strong, causing her clothes to cling tightly to her body, and her hair became disheveled in an instant. You care nothing for my feelings, do you? You're just enjoying yourself, saying whatever you please. Her cheeks were slightly puffed. Shen Yan, resting his chin on his hand, replied, Did I say anything? If you want me to be silent, then I shall remain quiet. The truth was, Shen Yan had said nothing, yet he had conveyed everything. His intention to court favor was evident, devoid of any pretense. Both were acutely aware of the type of person Shen Yan favored. It was an undeniable truth. Xia Yanchun returned to her desk, crossing her arms, and softly remarked, Shen Yan, I consider you a brother. What a coincidence. I think of you as a brother too. Hey brother, why do you smell so good? Shut up. I still need to study. Ever since you arrived, I can't focus on my reading. That'll cost you 800. Then I won't study. What is the point of accumulating essay materials? I can easily fabricate them and still score around 50. So, you only score around 50 while I have achieved full marks. Do you understand that details determine success or failure? What good is a perfect score on a monthly or midterm exam? You need to attain full marks in practice tests for them to have any real value. Even so, that still holds more weight than your 50-something. Until you surpass me, you have no right to speak. Xia Yanchun huffed. In academics, she could confidently say she was unparalleled. Though she would not dare to call herself a genius, she undoubtedly stood above the majority. Shen Yan fell silent. After all, he truly could not outshine Xia Yanchun. Those high achievers who could effortlessly score high at school were diligently working behind the scenes, and Xia Yanchun was one of them. After mastering the knowledge from class, she would still dedicate time to memorizing essay materials. There was indeed a reason why high achievers excelled, and Shen Yan respected that. Silence did not equate to inaction. Shen Yan gradually reclined, reaching out to poke Xia Yanchun's pinky with his index finger, a clear implication. Xia Yanchun closed her book, lifted it high, and brought it down with a loud thud. Had Shen Yan not retracted his hand quickly, the blow would have landed on him. Didn't I already let you touch it? You continue reading, don't mind me. Noticing Xia Yanchun's silence, Shen Yan boldly transformed his index and middle fingers into two legs, subtly inching closer. Xia Yanchun did not resist, yet she could no longer concentrate on her reading. She rested her cheek on the book, propping her head on her hand, fixating on her 5 fingers being manipulated by Shen Yan, her thoughts swirling. The flush on her face lingered, revealing only her round, glistening eyes. It was not the first time Shen Yan had held her hand. Yet experiencing such a direct and unabashed manipulation was indeed a first. When she usually indulged Shen Yan, she would turn her face away, avoiding eye contact. She could not fathom what was so amusing about 5 fingers in a hand, yet Shen Yan seemed to take great delight in it. Her hand? Xia Yanchun tightened her grip, as some unhealthy thoughts began to surface in her mind. Such unhealthy notions do not arise without reason. They are born from first-hand observation and leave a profound impression. It seems that Shen Yan embodies such traits, perhaps in the hidden recesses of her mind. He indulges in outrageous fantasies about her, imagining her in alluring poses to satiate his perverse desires. With one hand grasped by Shen Yan, her other hand, resting on a pillow, playfully pointed a finger at him, proclaiming, You are a lecher. Why not say so earlier? For someone who finds greater delight in online forums than in confession walls, such jibes are harmless. Shen Yan, unfazed by the insult, wore an expression that seemed to say, Are you just realizing this now? Much like Xia Yanchun, who also remained unbothered by flattery. When others praised Xia Yanchun, she would lift her chin and respond with a retort. Fool. Xia Yanchun continued to scold him. You too, idiot. And you are a complete fool. Xia Yanchun believed he was beyond redemption. Although she would retaliate, she never truly felt angered, noticing that he appeared to take pleasure in it. Xia Yanchun grasped Shen Yan's hand, her smaller fingers barely wrapping around his fore, reminding her of how small he had been 3 or 4 years ago. Now, he exuded an aggressive aura, and when he drew near, he emitted a toxin potent enough to erode her rationality, stirring her imagination. The sensation from their fingers made her ears flush with warmth. Are you trying to hold my hand? Not at all. Xia Yanchun swiftly withdrew her hand. Stop squeezing. You'll cause my skin to peel. Shen Yan nodded, satisfied with the previous squeeze. His heart raced. Typically, he was the one holding Xia Yanchun's hand. But today felt like an unexpected turn of events. Did this imply that Chun Bao had begun to acknowledge their subtle flirtations? It wasn't too late. Xia Yanchun showed no intention of rushing him, and he had no plans to leave. Watching her return to her book, Shen Yan shifted his focus to the system. The hidden task, Lucky Star, had already been completed when he closed the family album. He set the task aside for the moment, knowing that system rewards would not disappear. Rather than settling the task, he preferred to relish the delightful ambiguity with Chun Bao. Rewards could be claimed at any time. But the thrill of flirtation depended on the right atmosphere. Not every moment was suitable for holding all of Xia Yanchun's hand. Transitioning from 2 fingers to an entire hand was indeed delightful, and he felt grateful for the saint's generosity. Xin Yan resolved to embark on an ambiguous path characteristic of rivals. The rewards for Lucky Star were quite generous, 10,000 gold coins. However, that was not the crux of the matter, as this sum would not procure a title. Title, Lucky Star, Luck 5, when adorned. It would not conflict with his existing titles. If the titles were visualized, a long string would crown Xin Yan, Intermediate Adventurer, Glimmering Practice, Lucky Star. Accumulating such buffs was a testament to his prowess. He decided to choose a time to challenge the charming little girl to see who possessed better luck. It would be a contest of whose discount voucher was greater, whether it was his Lucky Star or her innate fortune. To fill the merchant's modest profits with substantial discounts, one must, in a sense, express gratitude to the little girl. Had she not come here, this album might never have seen the light of day. The system mentioned that rescuing the blood demon might yield treasures. Whether this counts as such remains uncertain. Regardless, the little girl has made a significant contribution, and tomorrow, she shall be rewarded with 2 bags of LeTV's large potato chips. Xin Yan, do you have any? A soft voice snapped Xin Yan back to reality. He had just been contemplating something. As he spoke, he picked a grape the size of his thumb and tossed it into his mouth, catching it effortlessly. What were you thinking? You needn't concern yourself with that. Not saying it means you were undoubtedly pondering something untoward, Xia Yanchun asserted. Since you've suggested it might be something untoward, I shall certainly refrain from mentioning it. Accusation without evidence, is it not? I've said nothing. And yet you've conjured your own notions, Xin Yan retorted, speechless. Observing the blush fade from Xia Yanchun's face, he raised his hand and swept her hair up, revealing her fair, delicate visage to the wind. His heart raced, each beat growing clearer. After a moment of critiquing Xia Yanchun's beauty, he hastily popped another grape into his mouth and stood up, leaving her with a simple good night as he returned to his own room. Once Xin Yan departed, the absence of this human heater rendered the room suddenly cold. Lazily, Xia Yanchun, too apathetic to don her shoes, went to close the window. She nestled onto her bed with a book, only to find the reading utterly dull after a short while. Chapter 141. If it's not imported. I went to eat it on Monday. The temperature was notably low. Xin Yan was no longer the person who valued elegance over warmth. Today, a cold wave struck, and the temperature began to drop sharply in the early hours. He had thought that the previous week's 18 degrees was unbeatable, yet this morning it plummeted to 14, marking the coldest day of the autumn season. With winter fast approaching, it seemed that in this region, the onset of winter was already evident. Even though the weather forecast indicated temperatures higher than what one would expect in late autumn, with autumn already this chilly, one could only anticipate breaking out the ancestral sweaters hand-knitted by his mother for winter. During his exercises, he ran a few steps, inhaling the frigid air which, though recoverable, still left Xin Yan feeling quite uncomfortable. Given the cold, he hadn't even bathed that morning. The wind stung his ears, without perspiration. There seemed little need for a shower. As was customary, he walked to school with Xia Yanchun. He procured a steaming char siu bun for her, which she cradled in her hands. Upon taking a small bite, puffs of steam escaped from within the bun, feeling something foreign in her mouth. Xia Yanchun discreetly extended her tongue to expel the accidental piece of paper she had bitten into, intending to discard it casually. Yet it inadvertently flew onto Xin Yan's pant leg. Precision targeting, are we? I'm barely half a meter away here. The Lucky Star felt fortunate to have been ejected by Xia Yanchun, questioning the purpose of its 5 luck attribute points. It was merely an accident, she replied. Somewhat apologetic, yet she hardly took it to heart. Dealing with Xin Yan often involved tossing a bit of trash his way. Wow, the wind is fierce today. This is the coldest year yet, I believe it now. If it's like this before winter has even begun, do you think we might see snow this year? He quickened his pace to catch up with Xia Yanchun, peering curiously from the side. How could it possibly snow in Sinan? The temperature rarely dipped below 11 or 12 degrees. Xin Yan remained silent, casting a glance at the trees lining the road. Perhaps due to the different species, some trees were left with merely a few pitiful leaves, while others clung to a handful of withered ones. When the wind blew, the dry leaves fell. Yet the trees still appeared vibrant, reminiscent of an energetic youth clad in tight-fitting onesie attire. It seemed he hadn't walked to school in quite some time. After returning from an outing yesterday, he had forgotten to charge his electric bike, and upon taking it out today, it indicated insufficient power. Thus, he was left to walk to school with Xia Yanchun after a long interval. Xia Yanchun exhaled, forming white mist in the cold air. She left the remaining half of her char siu bun in the bag, tying the handle into a small knot, and was about to tuck it into her pocket when Xin Yan tapped her shoulder. If you can't finish it, let me have it. You didn't eat? I had a serving of rice roll at the shop on the way back, but it wasn't enough. Xia Yanchun looked disdainful. Eating someone else's leftovers? Don't let anyone know you're my brother. Are you determined to insult me? Xin Yan retorted, feigning innocence. Then I might just have to share your embarrassing moment of eating cow dung. Can we not bring that up? I really didn't get to eat. I don't believe you, she replied, rolling her eyes in a rare display of annoyance, before reluctantly handing him the half char siu bun. After all, it was Xin Yan who had bought it. Since he began exercising, their coffee table had either been graced with 2 cups of century egg porridge, or Xin Yan would wait by the door to hand her something upon her return. She had spent not a single penny on any of it. Xin Yan never asked her for repayment, and she never volunteered to give it. Embracing a philosophy of enjoying the benefits while he bore the burdens, She discreetly glanced aside as Shun Nian effortlessly tore open the plastic bag and devoured the bun with gusto, before watching him crumple the bag into a ball and quietly discard it. I've had my fill. There's saliva on it. I want to eat anything that isn't imported. Xia Yanchun's cheeks were rosy from the cold, her lips chattering as she carelessly littered. Such a lack of civility. Don't say that, Shun Nian interjected, pointing at her like a husky, exuding an overwhelming presence. Humph. Xia Yanchun turned away, her hair tossed by the wind, instinctively tugging at her collar to envelop her neck and chin, feeling much warmer that way. Shun Nian thought she resembled a Zongzi, playfully lifting her hair and chuckling. How many layers are you wearing? 4. Xia Yanchun was bundled tightly, revealing only her face. In this weather, the school did not enforce the wearing of autumn uniforms. Yet she still donned a pair of school trousers, which were roomy enough to accommodate an additional pair of long johns. The outermost layer was a slightly thin, loose white jacket, with a hoodie underneath. Rather unwise fashion choices. Indeed, a true Zongzi, Shun Nian laughed. Mind your own business. How many are you wearing? 3. I've worked hard to cultivate muscles like knife-cut noodles, making me more resistant to the cold. Humph. You're just making noise, he teased, raising his hand to fasten her hood, making her even more bundled up, with her hands tucked in her pockets. When she bowed her head, only her nose and eyes remained visible. As they strolled towards the school gate, Shun Nian noticed a leaf had nestled itself on Xia Yanchun's hat, her backpack giving her the appearance reminiscent of a raccoon. His mood was slightly complex. He scratched his face and, in a sudden impulse, playfully flicked Xia Yanchun's nose. What was that for? She exclaimed, her nose capable of emitting a snort. Shun Nian grinned, wrapping his arm around Xia Yanchun's shoulder. She stiffened momentarily, contemplating the brevity of their embrace as they neared the school entrance. Ultimately, she chose silence, allowing Shun Nian his whims. Xia Yanchun felt an unwavering confidence in her ability to succeed at anything. If she could tolerate Shun Nian, a being of remarkable character, what challenge could possibly daunt her? Any other girl in her position might have reported Shun Nian to the authorities, condemning him to a diet of plain kanji. In the classroom, everyone donned warm attire. Li Shiyan had curled into a fluffy ball, resembling a cotton puff, obediently resting her head on the desk, although she had been present for quite some time. It's so cold today, she lamented, her hands retreating into her sleeves. She was of delicate constitution, intolerant of the chill. Even a temperature of 14 degrees felt frigid to her. If it's so cold, why not wear something thicker? She pondered, having neglected to bring warm clothing after 2 weeks away from home. Had I known, I could have brought you something, Xia Yanchun replied. Li Shiyan snuggled against her for warmth, reassuring her, it's all right, I'll have my family send it over at noon. Not long after, Xia Yanchun excused herself to wash her cup, as the previous user had drained the hot water. She handed her cup to Shun Nian, requesting him to refill it without mixing in cold water. Shun Nian nodded, shaking the empty cup slightly. The hot water was ready in no time. And as he returned the cup, he also offered some snacks, half of which were meant for Li Shiyan. These treats were not trivial. They included 6 yuan potato chips. The adorable girl was quite deserving of such a reward. Having just acquired 1,000 yuan the previous day, today's bounty of snacks left Li Shiyan utterly thrilled. Perceiving Shun Nian as a figure radiating golden light, there were an abundance of snacks, and during math class, Li Shiyan cautiously indulged in chips, glancing around to ensure no one was watching. If the coast was clear, she would quickly lick the seasoning from her fingertips. From this day forward, she resolved not to let Shun Nian live off mere scraps. Instead, she would ensure he enjoyed a proper meal of 3 dishes and a soup. Shun Nian's kindness was yet to be repaid. In chapter 142, did she remember to say thank you? Though Li Shiyan was clad in 4 layers of clothing, they were not as thick as Xia Yanchun's, her outermost garment being a moderately warm one. For most of the morning, she had curled up like a turtle, and upon the day's end, she rushed to the school gate to collect the warm clothes sent by her family, feeling comforted once she donned her insulated outerwear. For some girls with smaller appetites, a few snacks or a small bun sufficed to tide them over until afternoon. Shun Nian, however, would feel utterly famished without lunch. In a sense, he could be considered quite the glutton, expending energy at a rate surpassing that of the average high school student. He began to grasp why the system allocated him just the right amount of funds. It was to ensure he could afford his meals. Why did Qindong take a leave of absence? I'm not sure. I inquired via QQ and was told he accompanied a family member for a hospital follow-up. Shun Nian, his expression grave, took a bite of his meal, pondering anxiously. I hope nothing serious has happened. It is unlikely. Last night, while I was in the restroom engrossed in my phone, I nudged him, and he mistakenly thought I was seeking a website, tossing 3 links my way without a moment's inquiry. If he could send links, it surely wasn't of great significance. Did you save it? No. I have cultivated an extraordinary willpower, Mom Mingfan replied with a faint smile. Before watching Candy is super sweet, he never imagined that men could possess such beauty. Haha. I was merely jesting, truly. Shun Nian believed him, giving Mom Mingfan a thumbs up, then urging him to the convenience store to buy drinks, treating him to some refreshments. A 500 milliliters bottle of iced black tea for 45 yuan. Are you attempting to bribe me with this? Speak up. Whom do you wish for me to eliminate? Eliminate the market, or be gone. Foster father. Stand down. Shun Nian purchased a bottle of a prize-winning drink, opening it at the checkout. Well, no prize, unfortunately. The 5 o'clock luck attribute, it seems, has yet to favor him. At present, its effect pales in comparison to the 2 points of stamina. Luck, after all, belongs to the realm of the arcane. Perhaps at some point, it might shield him from misfortune. He does not aspire for improvement, merely for a cessation of decline. Let time bear witness. Upon ascending to the classroom, he found it sparsely populated. A few girls from the dining party were gathered around Xia Yanchun's desk, asking questions. Upon his arrival, another girl approached him with her test paper, seeking assistance in mathematics. At last, when mealtime arrived, the girls ventured out to eat together. And as the lunch bell rang, Xia Yanchun returned, clutching a bottle of nutritional drink. Huffing, Xia Yanchun exhaled, the windows tightly shut. A stark contrast to the biting cold wind outside. In a place like Siznan, even rain brings 100 humidity. On dry days, it hovers around 70 to 80. The wind, for some girls unaccustomed to the chill, is utterly bone-chilling. Is it truly that cold? Shun Yin rested his chin on his hand, offering, "Shall I lend you my jacket?" But then, wouldn't you be left with 2 garments frozen solid? Who do you look down upon? I'm wearing a sweatshirt underneath, Shun Yin replied, unzipping his jacket to reveal a hoodless sweatshirt. Xia Yanchun pursed her lips. She too owned a sweatshirt, albeit one less plush. Her 4 pieces of clothing were hardly warm, particularly her outer layer, which was quite thin, merely aesthetically pleasing. I see you're quite impressive. However, the jacket is unnecessary. Oh dear, the young lady is rather resilient. Call me sister. Shin Yin was taken aback, weary of the incessant sisterly addresses throughout the day. Such individuals epitomize the sister mentality, always yearning to designate others as elder sisters. Shin Yin, possessing a sense of dignity, had long ceased to be a plaything for wicked women. Should he have been permitted to gaze upon her legs, he would have refrained from speaking. Alas, Xia Yanchun was bundled up so tightly that viewing her legs was impossible, though one could glimpse her hands. Xia Yanchun twisted off the bottle cap, taking a small sip of the nutritional drink, then followed it with a mouthful of warm water. Shin Yin, curious, inquired, only to learn that the warm water was to prevent bad breath. Sugary drinks can lead to halitosis, and Xia Yanchun was particularly mindful of this. She paid attention to foods known for strong flavors, or those that might cause odor. Reflecting on it, she had mentioned in the morning that her breath was quite fresh. No wonder she was so exceptional. The details were indeed remarkable. I have come to acknowledge you. Let us embrace. Please refrain from casually finding excuses to sit beside me. In the classroom, could you avoid touching my hand? If you wish to hold me, let it be a proper embrace rather than a nudge with your head. Enough of this playful banter. In the afternoon, Sukashi arrived at the classroom and affixed the seating chart for tomorrow's examination on the back wall. It was time to begin organizing our books once more. Shin Yin, in a rather generous manner, stuffed his excess belongings into the boxes of Xia Yanchun and the petite girl. We were nearly out of space, yet he continued to encroach upon our territory. Did you remember to express your gratitude? Go away. Xia Yanchun huffed, crumpling a handful of miscellaneous papers and shoving them at Shin Yin. Shin Yin, in turn, gathered his unwanted trash into a small bag and enlisted Li Shiyan's help to dispose of it. Li Shiyan, already hesitant to refuse, willingly became the errand girl. Having received numerous favors from Shun Yin, Xia Yanchun remarked, "Hey, how peculiar." During evening study, Shun Yin glanced at the unprecedented sight of Ma Mingfan reciting classical poetry at his desk and gave a gentle kick to the back of Ma Mingfan's chair. Ma Mingfan made a soft grunt, a sound of rightful annoyance. Shin Yin nearly broke into a sweat, whispering, "Shall we play Gamoku? Aren't you reviewing?" Ma Mingfan looked puzzled. "Weren't you the one who loved to study?" "I prefer to study in places where you cannot see me. Care to play Gamoku? Isn't it rather distasteful to be so competitive? You once ace the multiple choice questions, and your guesses will all be wrong. Yet that still yields a higher score than yours. Will you play or not? If you perform well, does that grant you the liberty to do as you please? Are you going to play or not? Not a chance. Heh, I'm currently reciting literature. You should have mentioned that earlier. I nearly spit out my iced tea. Ahem. My apologies, Nyan Go. I truly need to brush up on my poetry. I've forgotten so much. Isn't it time I began to take things seriously? Since you've addressed me as Nyan Go, what more is there to say?" Shin Yin waved his hand dismissively, encouraging him to go on. He then turned his attention to Chuang Bao. Sensing this, Xia Yanchun swiftly turned her face, her beautiful large eyes sparkling. After a moment of observation, she opened a book and held it upright, blocking Shin Yin's view. Coldly aggrieved, Shin Yin lamented his fate, despite a life dedicated to kindness. He found himself alone and isolated. With midterms approaching, he had yet to find even a partner for a game of Gamoku. Is it true that good deeds are never rewarded? As the school day drew to a close, a heartfelt embrace with Chuang Bao was essential for him. Throughout the day, Shun Yin remained seated, engrossed in his own pursuits, crafting a spaceship from a pen cap. The school day has ended. Li Shiyan had already slung her little backpack over her shoulder. Since Xia Yanchun always accompanied Shin Yin home, she did not linger and promptly left the classroom with the other girls. "Shall we take our leave?" Shin Yin had little to pack. Just a few snacks in his bag, which felt light and effortless to carry. "Wait a moment while I organize myself. Are you taking books home?" "Well, I find myself unable to leave them behind. It's all your fault for cramming your books over here. Next time, keep your belongings to yourself." Xia Yanchun huffed. "Must you be so heartless? It is only right not to impose on others. I shall assist you with your backpack." "No need." Xia Yanchun, somewhat stubborn, insisted on carrying her own things. After all, it was merely a few books. Deceiving you, upon stepping out of the school gates, Xia Yanchun's demeanor shifted dramatically. She removed her backpack and tossed it to Shun Yin, instructing him to carry it for her. Just moments prior, when he had offered assistance, she had declined. Intent on establishing an independent persona among her classmates, Xia Yanchun paid no heed to this, leisurely strolling while they faced a 20-minute walk ahead. With a younger brother at her disposal, why not take advantage of him? What sister wouldn't enlist her brother's help? Despite the chill in the air, numerous street vendors lined the roadside. Observing Shin Yin, burdened with 2 backpacks, Xia Yanchun's heart softened, and she purchased 2 skewers of hot dogs, consuming both herself. "Look at you, still wanting to eat? Not only do you get to carry my backpack, but you also want hot dogs. You seem to be reaping all the benefits. Shen Yan found this scenario oddly familiar and, rather than being annoyed, nudged Xia Yanchun playfully with his elbow. I might just toss your backpack aside. Do you believe that? Go ahead and try. Ah, little fairy, you shrimp head. This is the societal oppression of men. Silence. And here, have a toothpick. Will you really give it to me? Chapter 143. It turns out Shen Yan can blush. Xia Yanchun merely regarded Shen Yan as a shrimp head, discarding the toothpick immediately. At this moment, it was inconceivable for her to offer him the remains of her skewer, with morsels of meat still clinging to it. Who would be so generous? Even if she were inclined to share, it was unlikely that Shen Yan would accept, as his earlier craving for the skewer was likely just a passing fancy. The more she pondered, the more she sensed his sincerity, prompting Xia Yanchun to dismiss such thoughts and walk ahead with her hands behind her back, her spirits buoyant, her short ponytail bobbing with each step. The roadside barbecue stalls were frequented by middle-aged men indulging in alcohol, some intoxicated, their faces flushed like monkeys. One man, having boldly stripped off his shirt, soon shivered as he felt the cold, awkwardly putting it back on. In a cursory survey of the patrons at the barbecue stalls, Xia Yanchun noted two distinct types, the slender men with brightly dyed hair and the stout fellows adorned with tattoos. It was rare to spot a woman among them, reinforcing her perception of Shen Yan's uniqueness. Indeed, comparison revealed the truth. Shen Yan had developed abs. He neither smoked nor drank, had no tattoos, and had recently distanced himself from video games, even taking up exercise with admirable discipline. Xia Yanchun could hardly find fault with him, save for his slightly awkward demeanor and penchant for getting close to her, sniffing, rubbing, and touching. Their shadows stretched long as Shen Yan caught up to Xia Yanchun, playfully nudging her until she stumbled slightly, losing her balance. Only then did he withdraw his hand from his pocket, warm and inviting, slipping it into her clothing. Xia Yanchun froze momentarily, her gaze snapping to Shen Yan, who wore a grin that suggested a complete absence of wrongdoing. How could he manage to appear so nonchalant while engaging in such mischief? His familiarity with such antics was unsettling. Once he acquired a car, he would undoubtedly be the type to rest his hand on the thighs of girls in the passenger seat. Indeed, he was quite the lecherous shrimp head. The girl's pocket was small, unable to accommodate Shen Yan's large hand. After a couple of attempts, he sought to extract Xia Yanchun's delicate hand from her pocket. Yet she resisted, pulling it deeper inside. What are you doing, acting like a rogue? Calling for Mom wouldn't help either, even though he had touched her yesterday. Was it so unreasonable for him to wish to do so again today? Shen Yan, frustrated by his inability to reach her, raised a finger, ready to wrap his hand. Yesterday was yesterday, and today is today. Xia Yanchun raised a finger and chattered. Those who parrot others often suffer from deficiencies, losing their hair by 20, nurturing their stomachs by 22, unable to hold their ground by 25, and by 30, grass grows a meter high on their graves. Is it really that dreadful? I beg you, Yanchun, I'm still a novice. Before I turn 22 and start nurturing my stomach, could you do me a small favor? Before he could finish, Shen Yan felt a jab at his waist. Even through 3 layers of clothing, Xia Yanchun's effort was merely a tickle. Her cheeks flushed with surprise at Shen Yan's words. What kind of person are you? Do you really expect me to acquiesce? Dreaming at night already, are we? Is this beneficial for you? If so, then continue dreaming. Let us not discuss this any further. Shen Yan, flustered, was taken aback. Are you seriously going to hurt me over a joke? It's not a topic I fancy. So let us drop it. Xia Yanchun quickened her pace, ignoring him, and only slowed down when she noticed he was lagging behind. Observing his silence, she felt her barbs had struck their mark. What are you staring at? Haven't you seen a handsome guy before? For the first time, Shen Yan found Xia Yanchun's gaze piercing. He recognized his embarrassment and felt she was being excessively mischievous. What handsome guy? Where? In this exchange, Shen Yan faced a significant defeat, feeling as if he had been bested. Are you done? You keep bringing up my past. Yet you can't help but grumble about yours. The two matters were not to be conflated. He had never tasted the bitterness she had, while he had witnessed her misdeeds. Xia Yanchun hung her head, her voice dwindling. I am now a disciplined young man. Those days are behind me. I'll report you for defamation. Have you truly ceased your mischief? I have indeed. Really? Xia Yanchun timidly raised her eyes, only to drop them again, biting her lip. Though she was not entirely naive, discussing such matters openly made her heart race, filled with unexpressed thoughts. A hint of resistance lingered. Yet Shen Yan's presence ignited her curiosity. Hesitant yet eager, she softly called out his name, Shen Yan. Say it again, and I might just die. What about before? Did you ever think of me? As the moon shone brightly, clouds delicately veiled its light, casting shadows in the night. Watching Shen Yan's expression shift from indifference to astonishment was a sight to behold. As she posed such a question, Xia Yanchun felt a warmth creep across her face. However, when she stepped beneath the street lamp, she distinctly noticed that Shen Yan's countenance had taken on an unusual hue. So, Shen Yan could blush too? Chapter 144. A modicum of decorum between rivals, combined. Upon hearing her words, Shen Yan's mind erupted with a cacophony of thoughts. What a ludicrous inquiry. Could this truly be a question that a girl would dare to ask? Had she implanted surveillance in his mind? Certainly not. Without a moment's deliberation, Shen Yan responded. Regardless of the truth, he felt compelled to answer thus, for even if he had indeed engaged in such acts, who among the sane would openly admit it? Shen Yan was merely a remarkable individual, not a lunatic. Yet, Xia Yanchun had already posed the question, and it could be said that his previous criticisms of her eccentricity were not unjustified. Fearing that Xia Yanchun might doubt him, he emphatically reiterated, I truly haven't. Xia Yanchun, hesitant to meet his gaze, covered her mouth with one hand and glanced away, her trembling eyes betraying a tumult of emotions. Speak, will you? Shen Yan felt a surge of frustration as he placed a hand on Xia Yanchun's shoulder. Startled, she shook him off and took a few hurried steps away. If there's nothing, then why are you touching me? How am I to discern your thoughts if you remain silent? I have nothing to say. Yet you are blushing, feeling guilty perhaps? Any individual confronted with such a question would struggle to maintain composure. Shen Yan scratched his face, consumed by a desire to confront Xia Yanchun about whether she had ever thought of him, just to see if she would blush herself. Not to mention, the notion of a singular individual occupying her thoughts. Never mind, he decided. He would not be the one to provoke her. Xia Yanchun, her ears flushed, moved ahead. Ignoring his words, she muttered to herself, I haven't thought of anything. It's for the best if you haven't thought of me, otherwise, I might just explode. Truly, I haven't. Shen Yan was a boy prone to fibbing. I believe you, just stop talking. She had insisted on asking yet refused to listen to his replies. It was quite the predicament. As they approached the entrance to their community, Xia Yanchun, without a backward glance, took off running. Shen Yan stood momentarily in a daze before hastily pursuing her. The elevator had already been summoned by an accompanying aunt, and just as the doors were about to close, a small figure darted inside, followed closely by a boy. Before Shen Yan could register his surprise, the little figure pressed the close button with fervor, and the door sealed tightly just before the boy could enter. Did you encounter a rogue? The aunt inquired with curiosity, peering in from the side. No, Xia Yanchun replied in a barely audible voice. The aunt, unaware of the full context, noted that while the girl appeared somewhat flustered, she did not exhibit overt signs of fear. Moreover, the boy who had missed the elevator had seemingly shared it with them before. Perhaps they were simply a young couple caught in a squabble? Otherwise, why would the girl's face be so flushed? Shen Yan felt increasingly perplexed, at a loss for words. To think that Xia Yanchun would run to seize the elevator, leaving him to wait for the next one, was one thing. But her backpack remained with him, and they would inevitably cross paths again in the corridor to reclaim it. Truly, one capable of asking such questions seemed to be far removed from the ordinary. As adults, it is rather perplexing that Xia Yanchun remains oblivious to what inquiries are appropriate and which are not. He genuinely suspects that her questions are designed to leave him utterly mortified. What a cunning tactic it is. If he responds in the negative, he finds himself in an awkward predicament, while Xia Yanchun carries on as if nothing has transpired. Conversely, an affirmative answer would spell disaster for him, as she would undoubtedly exploit the situation to her advantage. It seems he has been relegated to the role of a mere side dish in this affair. Oh dear brother, do you still have anything to say at this juncture? Hey, keep your distance, you repugnant classmate Shen Yan. How revolting. Having known you since childhood, it is likely you began your mischief long ago. Should he find himself in such a disgraceful situation, he would be unable to hold his head high for the rest of his life. Rather than providing a direct answer, he deflects to unrelated topics, which raises suspicions of his guilt. Ultimately, Xia Yanchun has said everything she wished to say. Regardless of how he responds, she incurs no loss, while he risks being crushed by her words should he mistakenly utter the wrong thing. Shen Yan entered the elevator, expecting Xia Yanchun to wait for him in the corridor to retrieve her backpack. However, the corridor was empty, and her door had long since closed. He forced a smile. No matter how he contemplated the situation, he was the most innocent party. He had barely spoken, and yet Xia Yanchun had already dashed away. It was infuriating. Upon returning home, he took a dispiriting shower, lacking the motivation to study. He lay on his bed, idly playing on his phone. Given his current circumstances, even an unprepared attempt at the college entrance exam would pose no challenge, let alone the upcoming midterm exams. At midnight, as he pondered whether to retire early for a more vigorous workout the following day, his phone buzzed suddenly. It was a message from Xia Yanchun on QQ. Xia Yanchun. Images of a steel pipe, muscular deer, alarm clock. Shen Yan. Shen Yan. What do you mean by that? Shen Yan was genuinely on the verge of losing his composure. When they were together, she wouldn't dare meet his gaze, and now, having vanished, she sends such images? Has the bad girl persona taken over? Shen Yan fool. He attempted to initiate a video call, but it was answered only for a second before being hung up. No matter how persistently he messaged her, Xia Yanchun remained unresponsive. The following day, Tuesday, Shen Yan slept from midnight to 4 in the morning and began his workout early. At 4 a.m., while some reveled in the nightlife, street vendors still operated. He decided against going to the park and instead ran near his community, effortlessly covering 12 kilometers in an hour. It wasn't until 6 o'clock, when dawn broke, that he purchased breakfast and returned home for a hot shower, his body radiating a gentle warmth. Xia Yanchun emerged from her home just as he was leaning against the wall, awaiting her arrival. Without exchanging greetings, she blinked at him. Do you still want your backpack? If not, I might lose it, Shen Yan said, handing her the small bag. Do you want it? If you want it, I'll give it to you, he retorted, snatching it back and flinging it over his shoulder. It was originally mine. I thought you didn't want it yesterday, he added. Xia Yanchun's small face puffed up in irritation. I never said I didn't want it. Give it back quickly. I want tea. Shen Yan pressed the elevator button, while Xia Yanchun attempted to reclaim her backpack, playfully nudging him. If you want tea, return it, then you must carry it for me. I will throw the trash into the bin when I get downstairs. You dare? Of course I do. Shen Yan smirked, saying you can watch how I toss it in later. Oh, why are you so naughty? Are you even human? I could bite you, you know. You are a dog, aren't you? That's more like it. Amidst the playful banter, Xia Yanchun's cheeks flushed pink again. She refrained from initiating conversation in the elevator, quietly linking arms with him. It suddenly dawned on her that Shen Yan hadn't bought breakfast for her, which left her feeling slightly disheartened. Was it because she hadn't waited for him in the elevator yesterday that she felt this way? Why did he walk so fast yesterday? Stepping out of the elevator, Shen Yan spoke nonchalantly, suggesting she couldn't face him. Could she? No, I simply didn't want to wait for you. Then why are we descending the elevator together today? Yesterday was yesterday, today is today. 666. Shen Yan observed her, rummaging through his backpack to retrieve a neatly packed corn on the cob. This is what I'm eating today. Huh, at least you're sensible. Do you think you can act all superior just because you have food? Shen Yan playfully poked her forehead, teasing. Ji Chun, I really need to rein you in. Show me your hands. No, hurry up. Xia Yanchun pouted slightly, letting out a cute hum without speaking, keeping her hands tucked in her pockets, unmoved. Shen Yan merely informed her, and before he finished speaking, his hand had already reached into her pocket. Their skin brushed lightly against each other, his hand enveloping hers, warmer than the corn on the cob. Whether it was the embarrassment from yesterday or the flirtation of today, she found it hard to meet Shen Yan's gaze, opting instead to feign indifference, glancing around as he held her hand. They both agreed not to mention the awkwardness of last night, which was painfully embarrassing. Immediately regretting her question from the previous evening, she couldn't control her curiosity. On her way home, she had even punished herself by eating 2 peanut candies. Yet, her curiosity remained, especially since Shen Yan had been particularly clingy lately. It wouldn't be so strange if he acted that way, right? Xia Yanchun felt she couldn't solely blame herself. Shen Yan had been holding hands and hugging her. He should also take responsibility for what happened yesterday. After shifting the blame back to Shen Yan like before, Xia Yanchun felt much better. What did the picture you sent yesterday mean? Confirming that Xia Yanchun had nowhere to escape, Shen Yan began his playful assault. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Xia Yanchun's voice was soft, finding an excuse to pull her hand back. I want to eat corn. Can you please not hold my hand? No. You'll eat it in the back of the car later, and you still haven't answered my question. The topic couldn't be avoided, and Xia Yanchun hesitated, saying, I just saw a really fun picture and thought I'd remind you. So, you need a girl to remind you of this, huh? Shen Yan's lips twitched, covering his face. I told you to quit. Did you do anything yesterday? I really quit. Can't you see I'm full of energy and in great shape now? Oh, Xia Yanchun replied emphatically, it's not my concern. Just hurry and push the cart, tightening his grip on her soft little hand. Shen Yan felt an impulse to intertwine all 10 of his fingers with hers. Suddenly, driving seemed rather dull. Why don't we walk instead? He cleared his throat. Don't be stubborn. Just go. All right, I got it. Shen Yan reluctantly relinquished the cherished object in his grasp, settling into the cart with an air of honesty. Patiently awaiting Xia Yanchun to secure herself by clinging to his shoulder before the small electric vehicle ambled forth from the neighborhood, fresh from a shower. His skin exuded a pleasant fragrance, prompting Xia Yanchun to stealthily lean in and inhale the warmth emanating from him. Is this what the novels of youth refer to as the essence of a boy? Chun Bao, stop sniffing, he admonished lightly. I'm not sniffing at all. She retorted playfully. All right, fine, perhaps I misjudged. In truth, she hadn't been sniffing at all. The unspoken awkwardness of yesterday's absurd inquiry was tactfully set aside, allowing Xia Yanchun to breathe a sigh of relief inwardly. Heaven knows how she had mustered the courage to voice such a question, even if, hypothetically, Shen Yan had entertained thoughts of her in that moment. What could she have done? Could she possibly invade his mind and deliver a punch? Had she ever pondered her own feelings? She simply cared, and it would be best if he hadn't ever thought about her. Should he have indeed fantasized about certain matters, all she could muster was a few scathing words branding him a perverse fiend, and beyond that, she would be rendered powerless. The dear emoji she had sent him at midnight was merely an attempt to convey her nonchalance, hoping he wouldn't dwell on it. If it were to be broached again, she would genuinely find it difficult to face him. Thankfully, Shen Yan spared her any embarrassment, for even rivals must maintain a modicum of dignity. The sweet aroma of corn lingered in the air, leaving her lips moist and her small head occasionally peeking over his shoulder, signaling her fluttering heart. Riding without a helmet this early in the morning would surely result in a half-hour of standing at the intersection with a sign if caught. Fortunately, the likelihood of encountering traffic police at this hour was minimal. If there were any, they would likely turn a blind eye, as many high school students habitually rode without helmets without consequence. After parking, Xia Yanchun tossed her finished corn cob into the trash and followed Shen Yan through the school gates. Upon entering the classroom, Shen Yan spotted Qindong, who was deeply engrossed in his rice noodle dish, the pungent scent of soy sauce wafting through the air. Qindong had taken a day off yesterday and, determined not to miss the exam, had arrived early today. His desk had been tidied up thanks to the efforts of Ma Mingfan and Shen Yan, and this realization prompted Qindong to offer Shen Yan a portion of steaming soup dumplings, 6 for 5 yuan, along with a cup of soy milk. Being the polite class monitor, Xia Yanchun also received a cup from him. Thank you, she replied, her smile gentle. No worries, class monitor. Just don't speak up when Ma Mingfan inquires about his share later. Ah, so this was merely a hand-me-down, she teased. Those who haven't graced the classroom by this hour don't deserve my breakfast, Qindong declared. Yet, he limited this sentiment to today. As he often arrived just in time, a wise man would never berate himself. Your rebuke encompasses half the class, Shen Yan remarked, unconcerned. It's fine. Just don't say anything. Hey, why are you here so early? I usually time my arrival perfectly. Shen Yan was seldom courteous to Qindong, quickly draining the soy milk bottle. I merely wish to organize my things ahead of time. No worries, I've taken care of it for you. Just give me 20 yuan, no need to be formal. You cheeky fellow. The classroom was still sparsely populated when Shen Yan stood in the aisle, quietly offering a soup dumpling skewered with a bamboo stick to Xia Yanchun. I don't want it, she replied, her small belly already filled with corn on the cob that Shen Yan had treated her to on the way here. I'm just showing it to you. Are you really going to eat it? Xia Yanchun pouted, defending her dignity. Shen Yan's teasing had left her somewhat flustered, yet in the bustling classroom, there was little she could do about it. Their interactions resembled the playful banter of a young couple, and Chun Dong observed with uncertainty, deciding to watch further. Since their separation into classes in the first year, Shen Yin and the class monitor had been bickering, and the fact that they had continued this for 2 years indicated a strong relationship. Those who truly had poor relations would hardly bother to exchange words, as evidenced by Shen Yin and Huang Chun, who, despite frequently encountering each other, maintained an unspoken tension. After all, who among them had not experienced a little romantic ambiguity? As the midterm exam approached, the Chinese language test commenced at 9 in the morning. Shen Yin was unable to share a class with either Xia Yanchun or Li Shiyan. With Ma Mingfan and Chun Dong stationed downstairs, he had no choice but